The story opens on the desolate ruins of a deserted city. A young man with weary, vacant eyes looks around as dust chokes the air, obscuring the sky. My name is Cao Lung. I was just an ordinary university student. My roommate unplugged my alarm clock so it didn't go off, and I was rushing to school. At 8 a.m., he was hit by a car and thrown 800 meters. He looked ahead with a sense of defeat, never imagining that when he woke up, the whole world would have changed. He was transported to a dangerous, post-apocalyptic world. Right in front of him was a chaotic scene, a group of people struggling to fight an octopus. A giant one. Its tentacles flailed about like the arms of death itself. A blond man leaped high into the air, his sword flashing as he sliced off a writhing tentacle. Everyone thought victory was certain, but then a new tentacle shot out from the wound in the blink of an eye. Someone in the group screamed in panic, "This is bad! This monster can regenerate. What do we do?" Cao Lung watched the terrifying scene from a distance, his heart as heavy as a stone. At first, he thought he was the chosen one favored by fate and destined for a glorious spotlight, like the main character of a novel roaming free and performing miracles. But he soon realized things weren't that simple. He began to sink into his memories, painful memories of his failures. The first time I led the survivors out of a zombie siege, but I was bitten and died. When I opened my eyes, I was back at the starting point. The second time, I used my past experience to help everyone avoid the zombies, but we starved to death from lack of food. The third time, I disguised myself as someone who'd been bitten to scavenge for food, but the army shot my skull open. The fourth time, I finally awakened a special ability and built a base, but I was betrayed by my most trusted brother, leading to a horrible death. Then came the fifth time, the sixth. Every time I died, and I returned to the first day I arrived in this world. This is the ninth time. All my hope has dried up, and all that's left is resignation. But fate wouldn't leave me alone. I was forced to enlist becoming a soldier in this brutal war. The situation was incredibly tense. The giant octopus's tentacles writhed like ghostly snakes, ready to snatch the life from anyone. The group was growing exhausted, unable to hold on much longer. Those who still had the strength were running for their lives. But what about Xiaoya and the food? The people back at the base are waiting for every last scrap to survive. We can't hesitate. If we don't run, we'll all die here. Xiaoya was wrapped tightly in a giant tentacle. She could only scream and cry, "Help me, don't leave me here." The octopus lifted her up, preparing to devour her. Xiaoya let out a piercing, desperate scream. Below, Cao Lung witnessed the scene. A reckless feeling rose within him, like a shattered vase he didn't care about getting another crack. He thought to himself, if I can't escape this damn world anyway, then at least this time, I want to do something worthwhile before I die. He let out a long roar and shot forward like a bolt of lightning straight towards the giant monster. The fleeing group turned their heads back, stunned into silence. What's that kid doing? Is he trying to get himself killed? Is he crazy? That's just running straight to his death. But Cao Lung paid no mind to their whispers. He swung his sword, his eyes burning with determination, and sliced the tentacle in two. Freed Xiaoya fell to the ground with a thud. Trembling and moved, she said, "Thank you for saving me. You're so brave." Cao Lung didn't have time for her. He just replied coldly, "Get out of here," and immediately dashed off, leaving a bewildered Xiaoya sitting there. His target was the convenience store behind the giant monster. Rushing inside, he was taken aback by the strange silence. Precious goods were still intact on the shelves, like a treasure trove on the line between life and death. Without hesitating, Cao Lung swept through the aisles, grabbing everything from hamburgers to potato chips. He devoured them ravenously, as if he'd forgotten the world. Then he found a bottle of soda and couldn't contain his joy. "Finally, I can finally have a drink." He took a gulp of the cola, and the refreshing feeling was like being reborn. Outside, the octopus was enraged at having lost its prey. It growled, its red eyes fixed on the person standing in the convenience store. Lost in the pleasure of his drink, Cao Lung was completely unaware of the giant shadow silently closing in. A massive tentacle swayed behind him, ready to strike a fatal blow. He let out a carefree sigh and smiled. No more regrets. Just as expected, a second later, his vision turned blood red. But then his eyes opened again. He was still lying in the convenience store, exactly where he was before he blacked out. He looked around in surprise and exclaimed, "Why am I still in the same place? But didn't I return to the starting point?" He frantically felt all over his body, wondering, am I not dead? Suddenly, a mechanical voice echoed from the void. "No, you died. And then you came back to life." Cao Lung jumped. "Who's talking?" The system replied, "Congratulations, host, for activating the system. I am your unbonded system code number 2333. A ball of light gradually appeared before Cao Lung. He stammered, system. Then he rushed forward and hugged it tightly, tears and snot streaming down his face. "Why did you only show up now? I waited so long the flowers wilted. Do you have any idea how miserably I died?" He sobbed loudly while rubbing his face against the orb. "Give me a reasonable explanation. If you don't, I'll file a complaint against you." The system, unable to take it, shot up into the sky and mumbled in reply, "Host, please come down. The reason I was late is, there was a small incident." He pressed, "What happened?" The system avoided his gaze, looking elsewhere. "You might not believe this, but the system in the room next to mine stole my charging cable, so my alarm clock didn't go off." The corner of Cao Lung's mouth twitched. He ruffled his hair and replied, "No, I believe you. There's no point in dwelling on it now." He immediately changed the subject. "All right, better late than never. Did you bring all the hacks and cheats?" The system replied matter-of-factly, "Of course." It held out a scroll on which there was a map and lines of text. It said, "But according to procedure, please allow me to read the mission to you. You are currently in an apocalyptic world. The host's mission is to save this world. Help it restore peace. As long as you complete the mission, you will be revived in the real world. If you fail, you will be completely erased." After explaining, it rolled up the scroll. "You have a total of 10 chances. You have already wasted 9 of them. This is your last one." Zhao Tiulong couldn't help but scream, "You're saying I wasted them?" The system laughed awkwardly. "Don't worry about those details. It's precisely because we don't have much time that we must cherish every precious moment." As soon as the system finished speaking, the space around them immediately distorted and twisted, as if manipulated by an invisible hand. It formed a shimmering teleportation gate. "Brave young man, prepare to receive your first mission." In a flash, Chao Tiulong appeared on a desolate street where the houses were dilapidated and ruined, as if they had just survived an apocalyptic storm. The system's mechanical voice rang out again. "First mission for today, sell snacks to earn 50 crystals. You will receive accumulation points to exchange for attributes, spatial area, and many other attractive rewards." Seeing this scene, Cao Tiulong was so angry he gritted his teeth. He shot up and yelled, "What kind of savior has to be a street vendor?" His shout echoed, attracting the attention of the zombies wandering nearby. They all turned their heads in unison, their cloudy eyes fixed on him. One of them was even gnawing on something. It looked like the remnants of a horrifying meal. Panicked by the zombies preparing to charge at him, Cao Tiulong stuttered, unable to speak. "And another thing. Did you pick this spot so they'd treat me like a snack?" His scream seemed to tear through the blue sky, but at this moment, he had no mind to think about business, only to run for his life to survive. Cao Tiulong sprinted, frantically trying to escape the horde of zombies. The system asked blankly, "Host, why are you running?" He yelled back, "What a stupid question. If I don't run, should I just wait to get bitten?" But as soon as he said it, he suddenly stopped, as if he had just remembered something important. His eyes lit up with excitement as he said, "That's right. I have a system now. What's there to be afraid of with these losers?" He stood up straight with his hands on his hips and called out, "Old 2. The system immediately responded, its voice annoyed, "Please call me number 2333. Chao Tiulong gave a dangerous, slightly smug smile. He clenched his fist. "All right, Old 2. What are my superpowers? The agility of a cheetah, the speed of an eagle, the strength of a bear? Let's see them all." A status screen suddenly appeared before his eyes. On it was written name, Chao Tiulong. Strength unrated. Speed unrated. Perception unrated. Intelligence 2. Storage space not yet opened. Stall area 2 square meters. A long list of stats all showed 3 words unrated. 4. Chao Tiulong muttered thoughtfully. "What does unrated mean?" The system replied nonchalantly. "It means the value is too low to meet the minimum standard score. Your current physical attributes are still in their initial state. If you want to improve them, you need to earn accumulation points to exchange." He frowned, summarizing, "In other words, the only thing on my body that's remotely usable right now is my brain." Before he could think any further, a zombie suddenly lunged at him. He screamed in panic and started running for his life again. As he ran, he roared at the system, "You liar. Didn't you say there was support software?" The system flew behind him and replied, "The support software has already been given to you. There was once a wonderful stall before you, but you did not cherish it. Only when you lost it did you regret it, but it was too late." Chao Tiulong was stunned. "Are you talking about that ragged piece of cloth?" The system snapped irritably. "What do you mean ragged cloth? That's your upgrade item." Hearing this, he immediately turned around and sprinted back the way he came. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" He bent down and hastily picked up a rusty iron bar lying by the roadside, intending to face the oncoming zombies head-on. Without hesitation, Chao Tiulong swung the iron bar, smashing it hard into the head of the nearest zombie. The closer he got to the cloth, the more ferociously he fought. Suddenly, a zombie lunged forward, aiming straight for his thigh. He was knocked down, tumbling several times before finally stopping right on top of the cloth. The zombies didn't miss the opportunity and swamped him all at once. Facing this desperate situation, Chao Tiulong gave a bitter smile. "I can't believe I'm dying this fast. In terms of speed, this must be a new record." His hand trembled and clenched as he spoke in a grief-stricken voice. "Even seeing snacks doesn't make me feel hungry anymore. This is probably really the end." But just as he thought the pain from the bites was about to hit, a brilliant light suddenly erupted. The zombies that touched the light immediately froze, stopping their attack, much to his astonishment. One by one, they turned and walked away. It was as if he were invisible to them. Cao Xiaoliang cried out in astonishment. "What's going on? Are those zombies blind?" The system sighed, helpless at his slow uptake. "I already told you it's a cheat item. How can it be just a piece of cloth?" He excitedly picked up the cloth to examine it. "So this is what protected me." He couldn't help but hug it tightly. "My precious, this is a true treasure, like my very own special gear." Suddenly, he remembered something and turned to ask the system, "Oh right, does this function only work on zombies? What if I run into other mutated creatures?" The system replied, "This item can block all forms of attack. As long as you are within the stall's range, nothing outside can harm you." Chao Xiaoliang's eyes widened in delight as he shot to his feet. He hummed a tune, spinning and dancing in his mind. I close my eyes. With this stall in my hand, I am invincible. The system immediately cut into his daydream. Don't get too happy just yet. The stall items blocking function can only be used 3 times a day. And if you don't complete the mission within the specified time, the function will become invalid. The sun will set in half an hour, it continued. After dark, the zombies will become more active. Please hurry, host. Chao Xiaoliang sighed. This place was just swept clean by zombies. There's no one left. So who do you expect me to make my first sale to? Suddenly a voice echoed from a distance. Today was really our lucky day. We managed to loot so much ammo. 3 men who looked like they were from the same group casually walked over. The one in the lead said, I didn't expect this extra haul. The boss is going to be in for a surprise when we get back. The man next to him chimed in. Yeah, if the boss is happy, he'll definitely reward us. Chao Xiaoliang celebrated inwardly. The heavens are helping me. When the 3 men noticed him, he quickly arranged his goods on the cloth, looking as professional as a real vendor. The 3 men asked curiously, what's that? They looked over the stall. Isn't this fruit candy? Why would something like this be out here? He smiled brightly and replied, my little shop doesn't just have fruit candy. I also have potato chips, shrimp crackers, and soda. Would you gentlemen like something to eat? The 3 men cried out as if they'd found a treasure chest. It really is potato chips, and there's beef jerky too. I haven't had a soda in 3 years. I almost forgot what it tastes like. Cao Xiaoliang continued his pitch. Gentlemen, it's my first day in business. Since fate brought you here, it's not 998, not 98, but for just 50 crystal cores, you can take all these snacks home with you. How about it? That's a great deal, isn't it? The 3 men suddenly went dead silent. Their eyes darted back and forth, and then they burst out laughing. This kid dares to ask us for money. Is he some kind of idiot? The masked man picked up a bottle of Coke while holding a pistol in his other hand. He spoke in a low voice. I'm in a good mood today. Leave the stuff and walk away. Or else I'll let you have a taste of hot lead. Chao Xiaoliang frowned at them, then suddenly stepped forward and snatched the Coke bottle back from the man's hand, muttering, and here I thought I'd found a savior. Turns out it was just a waste of time. The masked man immediately raised his gun and aimed it straight at Chao Xiaoliang, his killing intent as sharp as a cold blade. You're looking to die, kid. A loud bang echoed. But at the same time, Chao Xiaoliang's invisible shield activated. Not only did the bullet fail to touch him, but the gun also exploded right in the man's hand. The explosion stunned the masked man, sending his body flying several meters before he landed unconscious. His companions panicked, their eyes wide with shock. What happened? Why did the gun backfire? Could this kid be a superhuman? The other one shook his head, his voice trembling. No way. I've never heard of such a strange superpower. Paying no mind to their chatter, Chao Xiaoliang happily bent down and pressed his face against the cloth, cooing endlessly. So cool, my precious. You can even reflect bullets. The remaining 2 guys looked at his naive behavior and couldn't help but whisper, no matter how you look at it, he's just an idiot. One of them spoke up in a suspicious tone. Spit it out. Who the hell are you? And what kind of trick are you trying to pull? Cao Xiaoliang drew out his words in response. You fool. In this world, there are countless people with superpowers, but there's only one, chosen one. He rubbed his hands together with a sly grin. So for just 50 crystal cores, you get to take home a pile of snacks, and I'll even throw in a free photo and autograph. You're really not going to consider it. Feeling insulted, the 2 guys roared in anger. What chosen one? Do you think we're 3-year-old kids? It must have been a faulty gun. Watch me shoot you dead. Seeing how stubborn they were, Chao Xiaoliang sighed in resignation. They really don't listen, do they? Just asking for trouble. One of the men threw a powerful fiery punch towards him. But as expected, the punch was blocked by the invisible shield. The recoil sent the man clutching his hand, howling in agony. Oh no, my hand! Witnessing the miserable state of his 2 companions, the remaining blonde man began to hesitate, his feet stopping as if nailed to the ground. Seeing him falter, the other 2 shouted, What are you standing there for? Kill him! Cao Xiaoliang said nothing, just stared silently at the blonde man. His gaze was as sharp as a knife, making the man tremble in fear. He raised his hand, and a blue electric current crackled in his palm. Then he shouted, Hey! The blonde man flinched, took a step back, then turned and fled like a puff of smoke. This kid is a monster. I don't want to die. His 2 companions were stunned by his cowardice. They roared in anger, Don't leave us behind, you gutless traitor. And then the 2 of them said no more, running for his life. Cao Tiuluang yelled after them, Don't run! I just want to ask if there's anyone else around here. Suddenly he spotted something strange. A burlap sack was lying abandoned on the ground, obviously left by those 3 guys from before. He looked at it curiously. What's this? The mouth of the sack suddenly moved. He jumped back, exclaiming, It's moving! Unable to contain his curiosity, he poked the sack a few times. Is it some kind of animal? After speaking, he carefully untied the rope. A living creature immediately shot out of the sack. He stared stunned when he realized it was a woman. She had shimmering silver hair, like a sparkling waterfall under the orange sunset. Her body was alluring with a slender waist and full chest radiating a captivating beauty. She turned her head and her eyes met his. Cao Tiulong was dumbfounded, blurting out, So beautiful. But immediately the silver-haired woman's eyes widened, her pupils flashing with madness. She charged at him like an arrow shot from a bow. Terrified, Chao Tiulong turned and ran. "This is no time to admire pretty girls," he screamed, his voice cracking. "She's clearly a zombie." Her hand slammed down where he had just been standing. It unleashed a terrifying force that made the ground tremble. He nimbly dodged, narrowly escaping. Terrified, he looked up at this monster. He exclaimed, "What the? How can a zombie be this fast?" In his panic, his hand accidentally touched a black object on the ground. Without thinking, he threw it hard at her. The silver-haired woman raised her hand to block it, and the tense chase continued. But learning from his previous experience, Chao Tiulong ran straight for his stall. He hastily picked up his precious treasure, the cloth, and quickly packed up his goods. As he worked, he cursed, "Damn it, I've already used up all 3 chances. I should have saved one. If I get caught now, I'm toast." He was about to run again, but when he looked up, the silver-haired woman flew past his head, landing softly in front of him. He fell backward, in shock food, scattering all over the ground. The silver-haired woman glared at him. Energy gathered in her hand as she prepared to deliver the finishing blow. Facing an unstoppable force, Chao Tiulong could only scream in despair, "Don't come any closer." Despite his fear, he kept picking up the fallen food boxes around him and throwing them at her. As expected, this only made her angrier. He didn't give up and picked up another bag of food. Without looking, he threw it straight ahead, then closed his eyes and waited for his fate. But after a moment, nothing happened. He timidly peeked open his eyes, stunned to see the silver-haired woman chewing on dried squid. She swallowed it with a gulp, a satisfied look on her face, as if she had just enjoyed a delicacy. Chao Tiulong was astonished. This zombie likes to eat dried squid. After finishing it, she crawled frantically towards him, her eyes gleaming and drool dripping from the corner of her mouth, looking like she wanted more. He panicked, fumbling on the ground, his mind screaming, "Crap, there's no more dried squid. What do I do now?" His mind raced. He muttered, "I wonder if she'll eat other things." He awkwardly picked up a bag of snacks. He ripped it open and threw a piece forward. She immediately opened her mouth, caught it, and chewed with a satisfied expression. He sighed in relief. Great. While tossing the snacks, he slowly backed away until he reached a deep chasm. From below, a strange, bright red light glowed. It was a river of molten lava. Without hesitation, he threw the bag of snacks into the chasm. The silver-haired woman immediately dove after it without a second thought. Chao Tiulong stood on the edge. Wiping the sweat from his brow, he breathed a sigh of relief. "I'm saved. Now that you've eaten snacks, you can't eat me, okay?" As he was about to leave, he suddenly noticed something shiny on the ground. He picked it up and examined it closely. "This dagger is high quality." Then he gasped. "This is..." Engraved on the dagger's hilt was a golden gear symbol. He instantly recognized it as the mark of the Thunderclap Legion, a looting organization. The most notorious in the post-apocalyptic world. I remember their boss is an evolved human with terrifying power. His lackeys are all reckless thugs. They use their numbers to pillage and plunder so brazen they don't even care about the military. Thinking of this, Chao Tiulong broke out in a cold sweat. Could those 3 guys from before have been their people? No wonder they were carrying so many ammo clips. He put the dagger away and bent down to pick up the sack that had held the silver-haired woman. This bag isn't bad. It's sturdy enough. Might be useful later. While picking it up, he accidentally opened the mouth of the sack. He found another smaller bag inside. Curious, he muttered, "What's this now?" He opened it and was stunned to see the bag filled with sparkling crystal cores. "Talk about a lucky break," he exclaimed excitedly. "These are crystal cores. So many. There must be 50 of them." He hugged the bag tightly as if it were a treasure. "Happiness came so suddenly, I can't believe I completed the mission this fast." The system suddenly appeared, throwing a wet blanket on his joy. "These crystal cores were picked up by you. They do not originate from sales and therefore do not count towards your stall's income." Chao Tiulong immediately retorted, "Why not? Let me ask you that female zombie just now. Didn't she eat the dried squid and beef jerky? And didn't she leave these crystal cores behind?" The system encountered this situation for the first time. It stammered, not knowing how to respond. "But she's a zombie." Chao Tiulong paid it no mind and continued his argument. "You're just being petty. You never said the customer had to be human. How can I grow strong and achieve great success with such a narrow-minded approach?" Seeing the system remain silent, he threw himself on the ground and pretended to cry. "Besides, it's already dark now. I can't find anyone else. If you're going to break your promise and kill me, then so be it." Out of options, the system muttered under its breath, "Damn it, I'm stuck in a bug." Then it announced in a loud voice, "Congratulations, host, for completing the mission. You've received bonus points. The storage space is now open and the stall has been upgraded." A brilliant cart appeared before his eyes. It was a magnificent upgrade from the original tattered cloth. All the tools on the cart were clean and tidy. Chao Xiaoliang stared blankly for a long time. When he finally came to his senses, he opened the notification panel to check. So this is the legendary storage space. But inside, there were only 4 items: water, rice, meat, and vegetables. He turned to the system and asked, "Is this all there is? I've seen other people's storage spaces filled with all kinds of medicine weapons, even airplanes and cannons." The system replied scornfully, "We are a stall system, not an armory. You haven't even left the starter village, and you're already asking for a bicycle." Chao Xiaoliang muttered, "I'm screwed." He then changed the subject, asking, "What can I exchange these bonus points for?" The system replied, "The item catalog and attribute points." However, with your current points, your access to the space is at a minimum, so these are the only things you can exchange them for. The screen displayed current points 21, toothbrush 300 points, bowl 450 points, soap 200 points, scissors 250 points. Cao Xiaoliang scratched his head and sighed. Well, this is pretty shabby. He continued sadly. Although the stall can block attacks, I only get 3 users per day. Plus, I can't just hide in there 24 hours a day. Right now, the most important thing is to improve my ability to protect myself. Without hesitation, he said to the system, "Hey, number 2, exchange everything for physical strength points for me." The system cheerfully accepted the command. Acknowledged host, physical strength plus 1, exchange complete. The man and the system stared at each other, waiting for the result. But after a long wait, nothing changed. Cao Xiaoliang was disappointed. "I don't see any changes at all." The system made no comment. It just announced a new mission. Within 24 hours, earn 100 crystal cores and hire an attendant. Cao Xiaoliang's face twisted upon hearing this. 100 cores, that's too many besides what's an attendant. This stall is so small and I have to share it with someone else. Just then, a gust of wind blew by, slapping a piece of paper right onto his face. On it was a picture of a waitress in a maid outfit along with the words, "Welcome, valued customer." He looked at the paper and muttered, "This is from the milk tea shop across the street." Memories flooded back. I remember this girl. She used to come to the school to hand out flyers and even invited me to try a free sample. The memory made him wonder, I wonder how she is now. Is she still alive? But his seriousness didn't last long. His imagination ran wild, and he began to daydream about a beautiful blonde girl in a maid outfit calling him boss. That image got him as excited as if he were on something. Fueled with new energy, he cheerfully pushed the cart and shouted, "I feel motivated already." The scene changes to a ravine full of lava. A dark figure suddenly leaps into the air. It was the silver-haired woman he had tricked into jumping down earlier. She looked around, then slowly stood up, her expression sad as if deep in thought. Then, for some unknown reason, she ran off in a certain direction. The sun was up. Cao Xiaoliang had been pushing his cart all night. He finally stopped in front of a ruined shop. He cautiously poked his head in and called out softly, "Is anyone there?" 4 zombies heard the sound and slowly turned their stiff necks to look at him. Seeing that the situation was not good, he quickly closed the door and said respectfully, "My apologies for bothering you." Then, without another word, he turned and ran for his life. "Aren't these the same zombies I ran into yesterday? Why do they keep chasing me without letting up?" The system replied in a monotone voice, "They were here before you. You're the one who's the lingering spirit." The zombies, with their blood-red maws wide open, chased after him frantically. One of them, with incredible jumping power, leaped up and charged straight for the cart. Just as predicted, it was sent flying several meters by the defensive shield. But Cao Xiaoliang wasn't happy. He shouted regretfully, "The block function can only be used 3 times a day. I can't waste it like this." With that said, he scrambled to push the cart and flee. Where he wasn't looking, the zombie that had just been sent flying began a bizarre transformation. It let out a terrifying roar, its body bending into an unnatural posture. Then it crawled toward him at a terrifying speed, its mouth open, aiming for his heel. Cao Xiaoliang noticed in time and quickly dodged the zombie's snap. He cursed in anger. "Damn it! Trying to sneak attack me, are you?" As he finished speaking, he landed a powerful kick to its face. The zombie went flying through the air and slammed right into a vending machine on the street. The loud crash caused the other zombies to pause. The vending machine came crashing down, crushing the zombies that failed to get out of the way. Cao Xiaoliang was stunned by the scene. "Did I do that?" "I smashed its head with a single kick," he exclaimed in excitement. So the strength boost was real. The system spoke up. "Congratulations, host, on successfully eliminating your first zombie. Reward newbie gift package. A single-use raincoat." Cao Xiaoliang examined the item and muttered, "Isn't this just a piece of plastic sheeting? What good is this?" The system explained, "Don't underestimate this raincoat. It's made from high-tech materials. Not only is it waterproof and warm, but it also blocks all harmful substances. You could swim in radioactive water with it on and have nothing to worry about. But it's only single use." Cao Xiaoliang was skeptical. Is it really that magical? Suddenly the sound of innumerable hurried footsteps rang out. A horde of zombies was approaching. He jumped in surprise and looked around, seeing zombies everywhere. He exclaimed in panic, "There are this many zombies!" He thought to himself, this is not good. The noise from earlier must have attracted them. A feeling of despair washed over him. This is a dead end. There's no way to retreat. Just then, a soft voice called out from behind him, "Over here." It was a girl in a maid outfit hiding behind a door and beckoning him to come over. Cao Tielong glanced down and saw a few zombies squirming out from under a vending machine right in front of a dense horde, ready to charge at any moment. Without hesitating, he pulled his cart and dashed toward the girl. The door slammed shut, blocking the zombies outside. Panting, he said, "Thank you so much. If it weren't for you back there, I would have been in real trouble." But when he got a closer look, he exclaimed in surprise, "It's you!" The girl looked confused. "You know me." Seeing a familiar face in these chaotic times made him ecstatic. "I'm a student from school you used to come to my school to promote milk tea. You even gave me a free drink. Don't you remember me?" The girl smiled brightly. "Of course I remember. I even remember you were great at basketball and especially loved peach-flavored bubble tea." But inside, she thought differently. He's no heartthrob, just an average-looking guy. The university is full of guys like him. How could I possibly remember? Not realizing her deception, Chao Tiulong naively replied, but I'm on the soccer team and I don't like peaches. The girl quickly shut up, nudged his shoulder, and changed the subject. That's not important. Anyway, it's just so great to see you again. Chao Tiulong immediately forgot about the discrepancy. His only thought was, so soft. After chatting for a moment, he remembered to ask, oh, right. I still don't know your name. She replied, I'm Ngai Kam. He introduced himself. I'm Chao Tiulong. Ngai Kam gave a sweet smile and called out, Brother Luong. The way she said it moved him so deeply that he turned his back and began to sob. This is the first time in my life a girl has called me brother. And a girl this beautiful too. I'm just so happy. Ngai Kam was speechless. What the hell is he crying for? Suddenly a sound rang out. Chao Tiulong spun around cautiously shouting, Who's there? He walked over and picked up a can rolling on the floor, thinking to himself, What's... Just then, another noise came from a closed door nearby, making him jump. Chao Tiulong cautiously approached the mysterious door. As he reached for the doorknob, Ngai Kam's panicked voice suddenly cried out from behind him, A mouse! She threw herself into his arms as if to stop him from opening the door, whining, Brother Luong. I saw it. It was a mouse. She pulled Chao Tiulong away. He asked, Where's the mouse? Trying to distract him, she answered vaguely, It ran over there. I'm so scared. But in a blind spot, he couldn't see a head silently peeked out from behind the door, its eyes flashing with a dangerous glint. Ngai Kam let out a cry and fell backward, pretending to faint. Chao Tiulong frantically caught her and asked worriedly, Ngai Kam, what's wrong? She answered weakly, Brother Luong, I'm so hungry. I've been trapped here for 5 days with nothing to eat. He snapped his fingers and smiled. Oh, you're just hungry. That's an easy fix. He ran back to his cart and said, Wait a moment. I'll make something for you. He crouched down, rummaging through the goods in his cart and muttered cheerfully, What should I make? How about some noodles, buns, chicken wings, Coke? Sounds good too. Ngai Kam coldly watched his naive display, thinking to herself, Food. She stood up and looked at the cart, seeing eggs and oil, rare commodities in these chaotic times. She was secretly amazed. Where did this guy find so much food? A dangerous smile appeared on her lips. I didn't expect to find such a fat sheep. This is going to be a huge score. Ngai Kam reached out to grab an egg, but as soon as she touched it, it vanished. She tried a few more times, but the result was the same. This was a rule of the system. The food cart's ingredients could not be stolen and would automatically return to their original position without the owner's permission. Ngai Kam, unaware of this, started to get suspicious. What's going on? Am I hallucinating? But she didn't dwell on it and decided to change her approach. Whatever. I'll just deal with this guy first, and everything in this cart will be mine. She reached behind her back for the hidden knife, but she couldn't find it. She panicked. Where is it? Suddenly, Chao Tiulong spoke. Looking for this. Ngai Kam was stunned to see her knife in his hand. That's mine. How did you get it? He recalled the moment she pretended to faint. He had swiftly taken the knife from behind her back. He gave a sly grin and said, Well, you can't cook without a knife, can you? My little shop just opened, so I don't have the proper tools yet. I hope you don't mind if I borrow this for a bit? Ngai Kam forced a laugh. Of course not. But inside, she was terrified. How did he know I had a weapon? Has he been wary of me this whole time? Seeing the situation was not in her favor, she quickly explained. Brother Luong, please don't misunderstand. You know how hard it is for a girl to survive in the apocalypse. I just carry this knife for self-defense. Chao Tiulong replied casually, How could I misunderstand? Of course I believe you. Ngai Kam asked timidly, Then, when you're done with it, can I have my knife back? He nodded. Of course. He held the knife out to her, not forgetting to add, But this knife is really sharp. I'd advise you not to use it. Ngai Kam took the knife. A wicked smile spread across her face, contrasting with her gentle voice. Is that so? The moment she finished speaking, she sprang up, her initial weakness gone. She lunged at him with a knife, screaming, You stupid, gullible man. You deserve to die. But before the knife could touch him, a defensive shield activated, throwing Ngai Kam back. She screamed in pain. Chao Tiulong cleaned his ear and sighed. I told you not to use it carelessly. Why don't you ever listen? Ngai Kam fell to the ground, staring at him wide-eyed. He had special abilities. Even so, she didn't back down. In fact, it only fueled her rage toward this kid. You tricked me! I'm going to settle this with you. She leaped up, kicking up a cloud of dust as sparks flew from under her feet. Chao Tiulong, unfazed, calmly pulled out a can of defensive spray. He sprayed it right at Ngai Kam. Caught off guard, she got hit, squeezed her eyes shut, and screamed, It stings so bad. Ngai Kam rolled on the ground, clutching her swollen eyes, crying nonstop, My eyes. Chao Tiulong laughed gleefully, holding up the mustard jar. Why didn't you say you couldn't handle spicy food sooner? I'd have definitely taken my customers' preferences into account. He continued to sprinkle mustard on Ngai Kam's face, saying, Do you like your food grilled? How about we add a little more mustard? Ngai Kam begged in agony. Stop. Please stop. Chao Tiulong raised his voice, shouting towards the door. Are the people in there still not coming out? If you don't, your little accomplice here is going to be pickled. The door remained shut open just a crack before suddenly flying wide open. 2 children, a boy and a girl, brandishing clubs, rushed out, shouting in unison, Let our boss go. Chao Tiulong was a bit surprised by the scene. The little boy said aggressively, Boss, don't be afraid, we're here to save you. The little girl, though her eyes were welling up with tears, bravely shouted, You bad guy! You're not allowed to hurt our boss! It took barely any effort for Chao Tiulong to grab them both. He lectured them sternly. You're so young, yet instead of studying, you've already formed a gang to hurt people. The two children yelled in unison, Let us go! Anicap struggled to get up, shouting, Don't hurt them. If you have any guts, then come after me. Chao Tiulong replied coldly, You're the one who said it. He threw the two kids toward her, and all three of them tumbled to the ground. He stepped into the secret room and saw it was filled with food and drinks. He listed them off. Well now, instant noodles, cookies, canned goods. He stroked his chin and smiled, looking at the three culprits tied up in the corner of the house. It seems I'm not the first person who's been tricked here. Seeing how calm he was, Anicap asked, I've never slipped up once this whole time. How did you find out? Chao Tiulong replied. I can only say that those other people were incredibly stupid, he explained. You said you were stuck here for almost 5 days without eating anything, but there was still some soup left in that can. It was clearly just open. On top of that, there's a fresh blood stain on the ground over there, but you don't have any injuries. He concluded, so there's only one possible answer. Someone else here is hurt or dead. After his analysis, he muttered just loud enough for himself to hear. That was dangerous. I almost became one of them. The little boy said angrily, Those people got what they deserved. If they weren't trying to take advantage of others, they wouldn't have been tricked. The little girl added, That's right. We've never scammed a good person. All the people we tricked were bad guys, just like you. Being called a bad guy. Chao Tiulong was stunned, thinking to himself, How do I look like a bad guy? Anicap spoke up, In this chaotic world, everyone is just trying to survive. They can't blame me for what I did. Chao Tiulong nodded. That has a certain logic to it. But then his tone shifted and a ferocious grin spread across his face. Which means now that you've all fallen into my hands, you can't blame me for whatever I decide to do to you, right? Anicap's face turned pale. What do you want to do? Chao Tiulong stared at the three of them and laughed. Well, it has been a long time since I've had fresh meat. Looks like today's meal is going to be delicious. The two kids panicked and started wailing. He's a cannibal. No, I don't want to be eaten. Despite his ferocious expression, Chao Tiulong was inwardly delighted. You two brats dared to question my appearance. Are you scared now? Have you learned your lesson? Anicap shielded the two children, pleading, If you have to eat someone, then eat me. They're still just kids. Please let them go. The little girl cried, No, don't eat our boss. The boy said defiantly, Grown-up meat doesn't taste good. I'm a kid. My meat is tender. You should eat me. But Chao Tiulong had only meant to scare them. He never expected the situation to turn out like this. He thought to himself, What is happening? These three scammers actually care about each other this much. This is making me look like the real villain. Suddenly, the little girl began to cough violently. The boy cried out in worry. Sis, Anicap said urgently, Xiaoling is hurt. If she stays tied up like this, she won't be able to breathe. Chao Tiulong prided himself on being sharp and not easily fooled. Are you trying to trick me into loosening the ropes just to stab me in the back, right? Xiaoling continued to cough non-stop. Seeing this, he wavered slightly but kept up his tough exterior. This little girl's acting is even better than yours. The boy shouted, We're not tricking you. Anicap pleaded, It's true she'll die like this. Seeing how frantic they were, he didn't immediately untie them. Instead, he whispered, System run a scan. The system emitted a beam of light that scanned the girl and then reported, This girl is suffering from a severe internal infection that has turned septic. Without immediate medical treatment, she will only live for another 3 days. While the two were talking, Xiaoling suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. The startled Chao Tiulong quickly used his knife to cut the ropes. As the ropes came loose, the little girl slumped forward. Anicap and the boy cried out in unison, Xiaoling, sis! After removing her outer shirt, he saw a blood stain slowly spreading across the gauze. On her chest, seeing the wound, Chao Tiulong cursed angrily. That's a gunshot wound. Who could be heartless enough to do something like this to a child? Anicap replied with resentment. It was the Thunderclap Legion. She lowered her eyes and began her sad story. Their mother was a regular customer at my shop. When the world descended into chaos, her family was buying milk tea inside. I've watched a lot of apocalypse movies, so when I saw people on the street attacking and biting each other, I knew the situation was bad and immediately locked up the shop. Shortly after, the news reported a zombie virus outbreak, warning everyone to stay indoors. So the customers who were here stayed. At first, everyone was united, encouraging each other while waiting for rescue, but as time went on and food ran out, human nature began to show its true colors. One man didn't hesitate. He snatched a packet of bread from the hands of a mother of 2 children. The helpless mother said, Who are you? Your share was already taken. That's ours. He answered scornfully. They're so small, how can they get the same share as an adult? 1 portion is enough for the 3 of them. The mother tried to explain, My daughter is sick. She can't go without food. Please, sir, give it back to me. The man looked down at the little girl. His voice cold. Looking at her, she won't last 2 days anyway. Eating it would just be a waste. Better to give it to someone else. The little boy leaped up and bit the man's hand hard. That's for my sister, you monster. The man flew into a rage, hoisting the boy into the air and yelling, You little brat, you dare bite me. Fine, I'll throw you to your death. It'll save on food anyway. The horrified mother lunged forward, screaming, Tulak. Cam, unable to stand it any longer, stepped out and lightly tripped the man. Caught off guard, he tumbled to the ground. Cam caught Tulak and scolded the man. Food is limited. What gives you the right to steal from others? The man furiously cursed. You call this food? Who can even get full from a piece of bread this small? Do you want us all to starve to death? Cam was speechless at his reasoning. That's ridiculous. I don't owe you anything. You want food? There's plenty outside. Go find it yourself. She looked at him as if he were a coward who didn't dare fight zombies, but only knew how to bully orphans and women. The man got angry. You bitch, how dare you talk to me like that? A middle-aged woman in the shop chimed in. Miss, there are so many of us here. This little bit of food really isn't enough. Could you share one more? Another customer added. That's right. When the chaos in the world is over, we'll pay you back double. Cam explained, this is a milk tea shop, not a supermarket. This is all the food there is. I've already taken everything out. A young woman pointed at a room, questioning her. Have you really taken everything out? Then why is that door locked so tightly? What's inside? Cam replied calmly. That's my changing room. There's nothing in there. The other woman wouldn't let it go. I don't believe you. Not unless you open the door and let us see. Cam frowned. Why should I? But she couldn't stand against the hungry crowd alone. People started shouting, she won't prove it. That means there's definitely food inside. Letting everyone starve while she eats all by herself? How can you be so selfish? The mother of Tiolak and Tioling stood up to intervene. Everyone, please don't be like this. If it weren't for the kind Miss Cam taking us in, we wouldn't have survived this long. We can't be so heartless. But when hunger overpowered reason, these words had no effect. Someone yelled, if she hadn't been so meddlesome, I would have been home long ago. Someone else added, that's right. If we had left earlier, we might have met the rescuers and retreated to a safe zone with the government forces. Cam gave a cold laugh. A bunch of ungrateful fools. If you want to leave, it's not too late to go now. The aggressive man shouted, you bitch. You think you're something special, don't you? The crowd rushed forward to restrain Cam. He announced grandly, don't pay any attention to her. Break down the door. Without waiting, the man moved forward to break the door, yelling, you'd better hope I don't find any food, because if I do, you'll see how I deal with you. After a few strong shoves, the door burst open. Inside were only women's dresses. The man, stunned, uttered, It really is just clothes. He stepped inside, looking around and muttering, isn't this a milk tea shop? What's with all these dresses? A middle-aged woman spoke with venom. I've long thought she didn't seem like a decent woman. A young girl chimed in. Good girls don't dress like that. She's definitely trying to seduce someone. Cam shouted in anger, you've all gone too far. Suddenly a deafening crash echoed from outside. An off-road vehicle smashed through the main entrance and charged straight into the shop. The front of the vehicle bore an emblem of a gear and a lightning bolt. A man stepped out laughing loudly. Well, look what we have here, people. Everyone in the shop immediately became wary. Who are you people? The man's menacing appearance made everyone guess he was here to rob them. Sure enough, he announced, we are the Thunderclap Legion. Anyone who doesn't want to die, hand over your food. The man who had been yelling at Cam was now trembling and begging, please, please don't hurt me. I was just passing by. He pointed at Cam. The resources are all in her hands. She's the one in charge here. The members of the Thunderclap Legion broke into sinister smiles, saying one after another, there are women, and not just one. It's been a long time since I've seen a woman this beautiful. Looks like we're eating well tonight, boys. Cam only had time to scream, run, before grabbing the two children's hands, turning and fleeing to the other side. Two of the robbers had cornered a young couple. The young man cried, I'll give her to you. Please don't kill me. Spare me. The girl screamed in terror. No, save me. Help. A blonde man was hot on Cam's heels. He reached out to grab her shoulder. Don't run, little girl. I'm going to show you a real good time. Cam twisted her wrist and a dagger appeared in her hand. She swung the dagger at him, cursing, in your fucking dreams. The blonde man, taken by surprise, roared, you bitch. You were hiding a knife. He pulled out his gun and fired a shot. Die. The bullet should have hit Cam, but Tioling suddenly lunged in front of her. The bullet pierced the little girl's shoulder. The incident horrified Cam Tiolak and the children's mother. They screamed in unison. Tiolin! The leader of the robbers yelled, you idiot, who told you to fire your gun? Don't you know that'll attract zombies? He turned and shot the young woman who had confronted Cam in the shop right in the head. Seeing the situation was turning against them, he no longer cared about the women and just wanted to grab all the supplies and retreat. He ordered them to take everything and leave nothing behind. Anyone who tried to run was taken down with a single bullet. In the end, only Nyai, Kam, Xiaoluo, and Xiaoling were left cornered against a wall. With no way out, the two children's mother suddenly rushed forward, grabbing the man's waist to hold him back and screamed, run! Xiaoluo cried out in terror, Mom! The brute smashed her on the head. Damn woman, let go. But she didn't loosen her grip one bit. Don't worry about me. If you don't go, everyone will die, the weak mother said, speaking her last words. Miss Ngai, please, take care of Xiaoluo and Xiaoling. Ngai Kam held back her tears, grabbed the stunned Xiaoluo, and gritted her teeth as she jumped through the window to escape. As she saw the three of them run out of the shop, the mother pulled the pin on the grenade at the man's thigh. The explosion blew the milk tea shop to dust. Back in the present, Ngaikam sat dazed on the ground saying, I promised Sister Lee I would protect them, that I'd help them survive. But this was the only way. She couldn't stop herself from sobbing. I'm sorry, I'm so useless. Xiaoling woke up and reached out to wipe her tears, saying obediently, Boss, don't cry. It doesn't hurt, Xiaoling. If Xiaoling dies, does that mean I'll get to see Mom? Ngaikam quickly comforted her. Xiaoling, you're not going to die. Xiaoluo panicked. I don't have a mom anymore. Little sister, please don't leave me. Hearing the story, the system sniffled. They're so pitiful. Xiaoliang shot at a glance. Pitiful now, but they didn't show me any mercy when they were trying to kill me earlier. He thought to himself, in this chaotic world, bringing along two children isn't just a burden, it also causes a lot of trouble and increases the risk of death. The fact that she's stuck with it this long means she has a conscience. He turned and asked the system, Little Two, don't you have medicine in your space? Is there anything that can cure this kid? The system replied, well, yes, but you need to unlock the high-level space to use it. Your clearance level isn't high enough, he scoffed. A moment ago, you were saying how pitiful they are, and now you're just going to watch her die. You're a system. Can you be a little more flexible? The system saw through his intentions and replied flatly, are you trying to trick me into giving you a clearance upgrade? Is that it? Xiao Xiaoliang's face darkened. To be seen through so easily. This system is pretty smart. Although the system couldn't grant him clearance, it offered another completely inflexible solution. But it's not like there's no other way. The second function of the snack stall is that food, personally made by the owner, has healing properties. Xiao Xiaoliang was thrilled. Why didn't you say so earlier? This precious thing. Are there any other surprises I don't know about? The system replied calmly. The specific effect is related to your level. The higher the level, the better the effect. At your current level, you can only rely on luck. Cao Xiaoliang rolled up his sleeves determined. Well, I have to at least try. He looked at the eggs, flour, and oil on the table and wondered, with only these ingredients, what can I make? An idea flashed in his mind. He cheered, I've got it. He cracked eggs into a bowl, mixed the batter, added seasoning, and cooked it in a pan. The fragrant aroma spread, making Ngaikam's group curious. Xiaoluo wiped his drool and praised, it smells so good. A moment later, Cao Xiaoliang held up the freshly made pancake and said, it's ready. Ngaikam asked warily, what are you trying to do? He smiled. Relax, it's not poisoned. He handed the pancake to Xiaoling. This is an egg pancake. It was my favorite when I was a kid. Xiaoling, give it a try. The little girl took the pancake and gave a bright smile. Thank you, big brother. She took a bite and while chewing praised, it's savory, sweet, and so delicious. Suddenly, Xiaoling's eyes widened and she jumped to her feet. Ngaikam was shocked. Xiaoling, you can't get up yet. The little girl looked bewildered. It's like I'm not in pain at all anymore. Ngaikam couldn't believe it and touched the girl's forehead. Really? The fever's gone. Even the wound is starting to heal. Really? Xiaoluo was ecstatic. Does that mean my little sister isn't going to die? This is amazing. Ngaikam noticed something was off. She looked at the pancake and asked, what did you put in that egg pancake? There's no medicine that can break a fever that quickly. Could it be your special ability? Xiao Xiaoliang replied. Of course, I can't tell you that, but Xiaoling has only made an initial improvement for now. To fully recover, she'll need to eat the egg pancakes I make for a long time. He grinned slyly. This one was just a free sample. Next time, I'll definitely have to charge. Ngaikam pointed to the pile of food on the floor. No problem. As long as you can cure Xiaoling, all of this is yours. Xiaoluo nodded. Yeah. Xiao Xiaoliang waved his hand dismissively. I have enough food. I don't need any of that. He pointed at Ngaikam and declared, I need you. Xiaoluo shouted, you bastard. I knew you had bad intentions toward our boss. Xiaoling also said, I don't want to be cured anymore. Don't you hurt our boss? Cao Xiaoliang was exasperated. What are these two kids thinking about all day? Is there nothing else in their heads? He turned and explained, I'm saying I want you to work for me as a snack stall employee. As for employee benefits, I'll provide you with food and shelter. That's it. Ngaikam didn't answer right away, conferring with the two children. Xiaoluo said, even though we don't know what this guy's ability is, he seems very strong. Ngaikam added, besides, if we follow him, we get to eat for free. We won't have to worry about food, all right? Xiaoling added, it's a good deal. After a moment, all three agreed. I'll agree to your terms, but I have to bring Tiolak and Tioling with me. Cao Tiolong looked at them, a flash of regret crossing his face. Why? It felt like I'd made a huge mistake. Ngaikam presented a contract with a cunning smile. Even though the world is in chaos now, we still need to lay out the working conditions clearly. Everything will follow the contract. Cao Tiolong skimmed it and broke into a cold sweat. Work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 types of insurance, a pension fund, and paid holidays. Overtime pay, an attendance bonus, and a 13th month salary. He shouted in frustration. You might as well just say you're taking a paid vacation. Ngaikam, unfazed by his sarcastic jab, demanded more. Also, the compensation for child labor needs to be calculated separately. Suddenly a voice boomed from outside the door. That amazing smell is coming from this place. A metal axe smashed through the glass door, shattering it. 4 burly men stepped inside. The tallest one spoke, just as I thought someone's in here. Dazhuang had just stepped inside and immediately eyed the egg pancake in Tiolin's hand. Lajon Thong Fuxi, I told you I have a good nose. Tiulak stood protectively in front of the little girl and shouted, "This is my sister's pancake." Chao Tiuluong stepped forward to face Da Zhuang. The big man placed a hand on the weapon behind his back threateningly. "Why are you looking for a fight?" Contrary to the big man's expectation, Chao Tiuluong rubbed his hands together and smiled warmly. "Hey, brothers. The kid doesn't know any better. I'm the owner of this food stall. Whatever you'd like to eat, I'll make it fresh." Da Zhuang turned to the man behind him. "Boss, I want to eat." The boss, whose name was Lei Hong, thought for a moment in silence, then stepped forward and asked, "How much are you selling these egg pancakes for?" Cao Tiulong's mind raced. This group doesn't look ordinary. They must have a ton of crystal cores. This is my chance to complete the mission. He smiled and presented a menu. "Here's our menu, sir. Please take a look." Lei Hong looked at it and was shocked. What one egg pancake costs 10 crystal cores? Cao Tiulong replied, "It's the apocalypse, times are tough. We have to risk our lives for rice and flour. This price is already a bargain." Lei Hong nodded in agreement. "That makes sense," he said generously. "Give me 10 of them." Cao Tiulong replied cheerfully, "Coming right up." Da Zhuang threatened, "If they're not delicious, I'll smash both you and this food truck." Cao Tiulong pouted and muttered, "Whether it's delicious or not, this isn't up to me." Lei Hong heard him and glared. "What's that supposed to mean? Are you implying we're going to rip you off?" Just then, Ngai Kam stepped forward, took Lei Hong's arm and said in a sweet voice, "Our boss isn't very good with his words. Please don't be angry with him, sirs." Seeing such a beautiful woman make a move on him, Lei Hong's face flushed, bright red. Ngai Kam, seeing her tactic was working, continued to flatter him. "Oh, sir, your chest muscles are so big, you must be incredible at fighting zombies." Completely flustered by her, Lei Hong stammered, Well, that's, of course it is." His three underlings watched this unfold. They snickered. There goes the boss's old weakness acting up again. He gets all dumb and starts stuttering whenever a pretty girl is around. Ngai Kam led Lei Hong away. "Making that many egg pancakes will take a little while. Everyone please be patient and come wait inside." Lei Hong replied stiffly, like a robot, "Oh, okay." As she walked past Chao Tiuluong, she gave him a wink. He thought to himself with admiration, the boss lady is on another level. Hiring her as an employee was definitely the right call. Cao Tiuluong went behind the counter, fired up the stove, and started cooking. Lei Hong's three men sat nearby, drooling as they watched. A short while later, the fragrant egg pancakes were ready. They each took a pancake and bit into it. Chao Tiuluong and Ngai Kam held their breath, waiting for a reaction. As expected, Lei Hong exclaimed, "This is delicious." Da Zhuang was stunned. This tastes just like my childhood." The green-haired woman was moved. "So nostalgic." The last man sighed. "My old desk mate Xiao Fang used to love these." As promised, Lei Hong tossed him a large bag of crystal cores. He praised, "Not bad, boss. You've got some real skill." Cao Tiulong happily accepted the bag. "You're too kind," Lei Hong asked. "I see you have more than just egg pancakes on your menu. What else can you make?" He replied, "A lot," and began listing them off. Fried chicken. The meat skewers, spicy, oden, grilled squid skewers, sausages, fried cakes, fried dough, sticks, tofu in soy sauce, Coke, beer, plum juice, and also Lei Hong cut him off. "Say no more. Give me 10 servings of everything." Cao Tiulong looked troubled, "But all I have right now is flour and eggs. I'll need a lot more ingredients to make all those things, and in this day and age, I'm afraid they're not easy to find." Lei Hong said confidently, "That's simple. Whatever ingredients you need, just name them. There's nothing I can't get my hands on." Cao Tiulong frowned, thinking he talks a big game. Ngai Kam leaned in and whispered, "Judging by the looks of these guys, they might as well be doomsday merchants if we let them be our future suppliers. We won't have to risk searching for materials anymore." He nodded. "Exactly." After their discussion, Chao Liang put on a friendly smile. "Boss, I was wondering, what are your prices for the materials? Perhaps we could have a long-term partnership." Ngai Kam chimed in sweetly. "Oh, please give us a good price, sir. In return, the next time you guys stop by, your food will be on the house." Lei Hong and Da Zhuang glanced at each other, surprised to be called boss. The underlings burst out laughing. "That's right, our big brother is a boss, all right, but the kind who runs a business with zero startup capital." Hearing this, Cao Tiulong and Ngai Kam's faces darkened. Lei Hong suddenly remembered something. He turned to Da Zhuang. "Why is Ahu's group taking so long?" Da Zhuang replied, "I've already sent men to find them. I left markers on the road. They'll find their own way here." Outside, an off-road vehicle pulled up. A man rushed inside, panting. "Boss, it's bad news." "It's bad," he said. "Ahu's group. They're injured." Everyone looked grimly towards the door. 4 people, tattered and torn, stumbled in while supporting one another. Cao Tiulong recognized them instantly and got a bad feeling. So these punks finally dragged themselves back. Lei Hong was stunned by the pathetic state of Ahu and his men. One was practically crippled, another had his arm bandaged, and their clothes were filthy and stank. He demanded, "Who beat you all into this state?" Ahu looked at his boss as if he were his savior, his eyes welling up with tears. "Boss, you're here." A little fox was beaten so badly its tail fell off. Another one in agony raised its arm and described the kid who set up a food stall claiming he was some chosen one. Lei Hong furiously shouted, "Bullshit! That's something out of a novel. There's no such thing as a chosen one in this world." Da Zhuang, full of fighting spirit, clapped his hands. That's right. Even if there were, our boss would have to test him out to find out for sure. The subordinate side pointed at his own miserable state and said resentfully, "We didn't believe it at first either, but that kid is really strange." All of our attacks were reflected back at us, leaving us with internal injuries like this. Lei Hong looked at Da Zhuang puzzled. His attacks were reflected. Is he an ability user? Da Zhuang pondered for a moment, then shook his head. I've never heard of an ability like that. On the side, Ai Jin was stunned after witnessing Gao Xiaoliang's performance, thinking to herself, what a bizarre power. She suddenly remembered the force from his cloth, a power like a sound wave that almost blew her away. After hearing the men from the Thunderclap Legion, Ai Jin secretly observed Gao Xiaoliang, then glanced worriedly at Lei Hong. What they're saying, could it be that he's about to be discovered? The men from the Thunderclap Legion have found their way here. Gao Xiaoliang tiptoed, taking light steps, intending to sneak away. He muttered, gotta bail, gotta bail. Ai Jin suddenly pointed at him and yelled, going somewhere, you traitorous piece of trash. Lei Hong trembled with rage, his eyes bloodshot as flames of fury erupted. He roared, I don't care who he is. Anyone who dares to touch my man must die. Ai Jin froze as if struck by lightning. Gao Xiaoliang stood perfectly still, not daring to move. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo, with tears welling in their eyes, said, we've heard that name before. It's Lei Hong. Ai Jin stepped forward and asked directly, are you Lei Hong, the leader of the Thunderclap Legion? Da Zhuang answered for him, that's right. The subordinate who had just been thrashed looked at her smugly. So we're that famous, huh? Lei Hong blushed. Seeing a beautiful woman made him forget his main objective. He laughed heartily. As a favor to you, miss, if you ever run into trouble in the future, just look for me. Before he could finish, Xiaoling and Xiaoluo charged forward. Raising their fists to hit him, Xiaoling shouted, you're the leader of those people. Xiaoluo added, you bastard. It was your man who hurt my sister and my mom. Lei Hong grabbed one in each hand, lifting them up as they struggled and asked in surprise, what are you kids freaking out about? Who killed your mom? Da Zhuang and the blonde-haired guy were also bewildered. Da Zhuang rubbed his head. This is a misunderstanding. We may be bandits, but we've never laid a hand on women or children. The blonde-haired guy nodded. That's right. A minute later, Ai Jin's aura exploded. She lunged forward, throwing a kick at Lei Hong, her voice cold. I'd have to be a fool to believe you let them go. Lei Hong leaned back to dodge throwing. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo to the side. The two kids landed safely, but Xiaoluo was nearly crushed when Xiaoling landed on him. Lei Hong and Ai Jin fought fiercely. Her barrage of kicks flew past him, but Lei Hong just nimbly dodged and moved. Growing more furious, Ai Jin poured all her energy into her attacks. The subordinates watching cheered enthusiastically. The blonde-haired guy nodded. This woman is really skilled, Da Zhuang laughed. Now, this is a good show. But he worried, the boss has a weakness for going easy on women. What's he going to do? The entire group shouted, go boss, go! Lei Hong's face turned beet red as he mumbled, this weakness is just being shy around girls. What else is there to it? He only blocked Ai Jin's leg, looking angrily at his gossiping underlings. You brats, seeing me in this mess, why aren't you coming to help? The green-haired girl said cheerfully, boss, this is a psychological problem. You need to overcome it yourself. Lei Hong and Ai Jin continued their chase, dodging and draining their spiritual power. The sound of the battle attracted a mysterious creature in the hole in the roof. Its giant tentacles covered the hole as slime dripped onto the floor. Gao Xiaoliang watched with glee. Enemies crossing paths, such a familiar scene. But he suddenly flinched. Oh crap! He counted on his fingers. 1, 2. I've only got one chance left today. Panicked, he rushed towards his cart, intending to sneak it away and get back to the safe zone. Ahu spotted him and shouted along with the bald guy. It's him! He's the chosen one! Lei Hong turned towards where his men were pointing. So it's you. He grabbed Ai Jin's leg and threw her aside without a second thought. She cried out in pain as she fell. Da Zhuang moved in and grabbed both of Ai Jin's hands. She struggled, but he held her tight, saying wearily, just behave, will you? Today's your last. Lei Hong blocked Gao Xiaoliang's path, cracking his knuckles, his voice filled with venom. You beat up my brothers and you took my course. It's been a long time since anyone has messed with me like this. Going home, you're going to your grave. Gao Xiaoliang feigned ignorance, propping up his chin and smiling. Big bro, this is all just a misunderstanding. His confident smile made Ahu and the bald guy jump up in frustration. Boss, don't listen to him. This kid is a master at pretending to be weak to prey on the strong. We only ended up like this because we let our guard down. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo ran over, fiercely defending him. The two kids shouted, Big brother isn't a pig. Big brother is super strong. Xiaoling added, that's right. He's 100 times stronger than your boss. From afar, Ai Jin chimed in, our boss is a real man, not like some people who act tough on the outside but are weak on the inside. Can't even bring himself to hit a woman. Hearing both sides gossiping about him, smoke practically billowed from Lei Hong's ears. He thought to himself, this is hopeless. Gao Xiaoliang, exasperated, pulled on his ear and shouted, can you all please shut up? Lei Hong's demonic energy exploded. He clenched his fist and charged forward. Enough nonsense. Let's see what you've really got. A powerful dark energy radiated from him as he slammed his fist into the floor. In an instant, the ground shattered and cracked. Terrified, Gao Xiaoliang scrambled backward. From the cracks, a torrent of demonic energy surged up along with blazing flames that scorched the entire area. Just as his name implied, Lei Hong was surrounded by an oppressive aura of fire and thunder. Amidst the black smoke, his towering figure cast a large shadow. Every breath sounded like a crackling fire, causing the flames before him to flare even higher. No one dared to get close, not even his own men. After a moment, as Lei Hong's anger subsided, the flames also gradually died down. Jin was frozen, unable to speak or move. He gaped and uttered, "This floor is solid concrete." And it was shattered to pieces by a single punch. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo huddled together in fear. How terrifying. Is he a monster? Dazhuang laughed smugly. The power of an ability user is already monstrous, not to mention our boss is the best of the best, Ahu said proudly. Now do you know who you've messed with? Gao Xiaoliang quietly observed Lei Hong, stunned by the move he had just witnessed. Is this the power of an ability user? If that punch had hit me, yeah, even a light touch would have shattered my bones. Before he could regain his composure, Lei Hong lunged forward, throwing a punch as hard as steel. Gao Xiaoliang nimbly dodged it. Lei Hong sneered. What are you spacing out for now? Weren't you so arrogant just a moment ago? Show me what you've got, you useless trash, who only knows how to run. He angrily channeled his spirit energy, intending to finish it with one punch. Honestly, who's the real woman here? Lei Hong threw a continuous barrage of punches at Gao Xiaoliang. Powerless, he used both hands to block the fiery fists. The immense power made him tremble, sonic booms echoing with every impact. Gao Xiaoliang coughed up blood. Although he survived, his internal injuries were severe. Lei Hong watched in surprise. This kid took so many of my hits and didn't turn into mincemeat. He really is stronger than a normal person. This only strengthened his resolve to take him down. He threw a few more punches, his voice mocking. But you're still far from being my opponent. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo cowered in a corner, terrified. Xiaoling cried loudly, tugging on her brother's shirt. Big brother, Gao, can't take it anymore. Gao Xiaolu said sadly, does this mean we won't get to eat chicken testicles anymore? Anicap stood still, his face dark, thinking to himself, if that bastard dies, everything on that cart will be ours. Gao Xiaoliang angrily dodged Lei Hong's iron fist. From the beginning, he hadn't intended to fight back, but his opponent's crazed actions infuriated him. He roared, you're the ones who are scum. Lei Hong burst out laughing, completely unimpressed. The chosen one, just as I thought, a lunatic who's read too many novels. An iron fist slammed into Gao Xiaoliang, pinning him against the wall. He grimaced in pain, struggling to open his eyes and look at Lei Hong. The wound on his stomach bled, soaking his shirt. The pain made him collapse to his knees. He raised a hand to cover the injury and slowly got back up his clothes, torn to shreds, revealing numerous wounds. Struggling to walk, he thought running away isn't the answer. But facing him head-on with his body, even if I increase my strength, I can't even scratch him. I have no chance of winning. Suddenly, he looked towards the food cart, a glimmer of hope in his mind. But if I can just borrow that thing. The stronger the attack, the greater the rebound force. Gao Xiaoliang immediately dashed towards the food cart, ignoring Lei Hong's surprise. He thought to himself without a trace of fear, there's only one chance. Lei Hong muttered smugly, so you're finally done running. Now that's more like a man. Die. He unleashed a flurry of punches, but he never expected that Gao Xiaoliang had no intention of fighting. He suddenly ducked and slid between Lei Hong's legs, shouting, with a cool attitude, oh damn! He violently yanked Lei Hong's pants down to his ankles. Lei Hong froze, a strange cool sensation on his lower body. His mind went blank. WTF, Lei Hong's junk is out. Anicap was frozen in place, eyes wide open, not even blinking. Xiaoling and Xiaoluo were stunned, their legs trembling. Lei Hong's underlings witnessed their boss being publicly humiliated and tried to stifle their laughter. Ahu and Dazhuang turned their faces away. But the blonde guy and the green-haired girl burst out laughing. So embarrassing, hilarious. Gao Xiaoliang shouted excitedly, it worked! Lei Hong's eyes were bloodshot, radiating killing intent as he roared, you bastard! He lunged towards him. I'm going to kill you. Seizing the opportunity, Xiaoluo spotted the dagger on Dazhuang's hip. As if possessed, the boy rushed forward and struck Dazhuang in the crotch. He cried out in pain, pushing Gai Cham away. Xiaoluo swiftly snatched the dagger and ran towards Lei Hong, shouting, you evil leader, I'm getting revenge for my mother. Gai Kam and Xiaoling were horrified by this scene. Xiaoling said worriedly, oh my god, Xiaoluo has gone crazy. Dazhuang immediately raised his gun and fired at Xiaoluo. Boss, watch out. Both sides attacked at once. Gao Xiaoliang looked angrily at Dazhuang's actions. You bastard. And you dared to say you don't hit women and children? He threw all his strength into pushing the food cart towards Xiaoluo. Just as the bullet was a few steps away from the boy, the cart rushed forward, blocking it and protecting him. The bullet hit the cart, creating a deafening screech of metal. Xiaoluo cried out in fear, but the one in real danger was Gao Xiaoliang. Lei Hong, blazing with fire, charged at him, the flames churning like molten lava. He roared, die! Gao Xiaoliang lay there lamenting his fate. It was so hard to finally get a chance to be the main character. I guess this is the end for me. He thought of Xiaoling and Xiaoluo with bitterness. Sure enough, troublesome kids are the absolute worst. He closed his eyes, bracing for impact. But just as the fiery fist was about to hit his face, it suddenly stopped. A loud explosion rang out as the entire house was blown to bits. From within the black smoke, Bai Feifei appeared. She walked forward, her cold eyes filled with killing intent as she looked at everyone. Without a word, she charged straight at Ah Hu and Da Zhuang's group. Her first target was Lei Hong. Bai Fei launched a kick at him. Lei Hong was both surprised and terrified. Seeing the fair white legs approaching his face, her eyes radiated a deadly aura, as if warning him for attacking Gao Xiaoliang. Lei Hong looked down at her bouncing chest and muttered, "I'm a goner." His mind reeled. He was both blushing with embarrassment and fuming with anger. A woman. Gao Xiaoliang recognized her. It's her, he thought in surprise. Bai Fei, she unleashed her spirit technique, sending Lei Hong flying with a kick. Her spiritual energy moved as swiftly as a flash flood, making him cry out in pain. With just one move, Bai Fei had slammed Lei Hong into the wall, causing the room to explode completely as black smoke billowed up. A massive explosion shook the heavens and the earth. Bai Fei stood there majestically. Her gaze was fixed on the fire where Lei Hong was. His underlings realized the situation had turned against them. The green-haired girl hurriedly exclaimed to her comrades, "Where did this person come from?" The guy next to him was stunned. The boss was taken down. How could that be? The blonde guy recognized Bai Fei, pointed at her and said to his cronies, "Isn't that the person we captured? She's a zombie." They immediately formed a battle line. 2 heavy guns were quickly loaded and aimed at Bai Fei. The sound of gunfire roared as the blonde guy ordered, "Brothers, get ready to fight. Be careful. Don't let her bite you." Hundreds of bullets rained down on Bai Fei like a frantic storm, but with her nimble body, she gracefully dodged every single one without getting hit. The blonde guy started to panic, dropping his weapon in astonishment. She's so fast. This isn't an ordinary zombie. It's a mutated one. Bai Fei jumped onto the roof of Cao Xiaoliang's food cart. Da Zhuang immediately rushed forward, raising a sharp steel blade and swinging it at her, trying to take her on alone. Witnessing this, Cao Xiaoliang was heartbroken. Not because he was worried about Bai Fei, but because of the fate of his food cart. He screamed, "Fight all you want, but don't you dare damage my cart." He mustered all his strength and rushed over to push the cart away. Thanks to this, Bai Fei easily dodged Da Zhuang's slash. Another guy took advantage of the chaos, secretly grabbing a sniper rifle and aiming it right at Bai Fei. He yelled, "Everyone get out of the way, this monster's about to eat one of my bullets." Cao Xiaoliang ran over from a distance, desperately trying to stop him. "Don't." The gunshot rang out, shattering his heart. The bullet flew towards Bai Fei, who was sitting casually on the roof of the cart. She looked at the bullet as if it were just a toy. Suddenly, she jumped up, dodging the bullet's path. At first glance, it seemed the bullet would hit Cao Xiaoliang's cart and destroy everything, but Bai Fei still had a bit of a conscience. She grabbed the cart's handle, and gently pulled it back just as the bullet zipped past, saving the cart from the blast. Cao Xiaoliang almost fainted with joy, giving her a thumbs up. Beautiful. The bullet flew straight into a wall and exploded violently. Lei Hong slowly sat up from the rubble, his body aching. He cursed, "Damn it, how dare you sneak attack me?" Before he could finish, a piece of wood flew out of nowhere and smacked him on the head. Lei Hong collapsed in pain. I'm down. It's over for me." The green-haired girl and the masked guy prayed silently, frantically calling out, "Boss!" Lei Hong, with a lump on his forehead, was too stunned to even cry. He looked at the blonde guy and yelled, "Where the hell were you aiming?" The other guy looked confused, scratching his head and playing dumb. I wasn't paying attention. His game was all too obvious. Lei Hong jumped up, regaining his composure, and ordered a full-scale attack. "Damn it, get her for me." A bald guy quickly reloaded and fired a volley at Cao Xiaoliang. "You think you're the chosen one, huh? Watch me turn you into a sieve." Lei Hong's men opened fire in unison, hundreds of bullets flying like rain. Bai Fei reluctantly took cover, while Mr. Jin Cao Xiaoliang Xiaolei and Xiaoling were scared out of their wits. The 4 of them clung to each other, running frantically amidst the chaos under a dense rain of bullets. Yet Cao Xiaoliang still couldn't stop worrying about his beloved cart. He was determined to drag it with him, life or death. He casually asked, "My cart's not damaged, is it?" Mr. Jin rushed forward without even looking back, shouting in annoyance, "Do you see what time it is? Why are you still worrying about this stupid cart?" The whole group was in a desperate situation with no idea how to get out. Cao Xiaoliang replied indignantly, "Of course now is the time. While they're distracted by that zombie, we need to get away fast. Are we supposed to stay here and get shot at?" Even though she was trembling with fear, Bai Xiaolei still managed to curse at the bandits. "These scum. I hope they get eaten alive by that zombie." Bai Fei suddenly turned and looked back at Cao Xiaoliang's group fleeing in disarray. She puffed her cheeks in annoyance, thinking to herself, "They run pretty fast." Suddenly, she gripped a steel bar at her feet. Turning it into a deadly weapon, she decisively knocked away every incoming bullet with extraordinary strength. Then Bai Fei threw the steel bar hard into the air. Under the force of her terrifying throw, the bar spun like a giant pinwheel, piercing through the rain of bullets and hurtling straight towards the enemies. One of the leaders was hit by the bar, the pain so intense he dropped the gun in his hand. One by one, their guns were sent flying into the air. Their aim was thrown off, causing the rain of bullets to spray chaotically across the platform. Cao Xiaoliang, Mr. Jin Xiaolei, and Xiaoling could only huddle together and hide. Behind the food cart, breathing a sigh of relief. "We're finally safe." Da Zhuang and his underlings turned and fled without daring to look back. With firepower like that, they were afraid of getting their butts kicked. One of them screamed in a panic, "Hurry up and stop this stupid gun. Dying by the hands of your own teammate would be the worst luck. You don't fear a strong enemy, you fear a stupid ally." After a series of fierce bursts, the gun finally lay still on the floor. The gunpowder smoke slowly cleared. The disheveled group cautiously raised their heads to survey the scene. People were hiding here and there, striking all sorts of 7,749 cool poses. The blonde guy cheered excitedly. The shooting stopped. The green-haired girl looked around in surprise. Hey, where'd she go? The biggest question on their minds right now was, where did that female zombie go? Meanwhile, Xiao Xiaoliang's group, Mr. Jin and the two kids, Xiaole and Xiaoling, also slowly got up, sneaking a peek to check the situation, especially where the enemies were. Xiaole and Xiaoling reported cautiously, "No movement." The group breathed a sigh of relief, finally able to relax a little. Xiao Xiaoliang turned to everyone, his voice urgent. "Now's our chance. Let's run." But he never expected that Bai Feifei had already appeared right in front of them. Her hair fluttered in the wind, looking like a hovering ghost as she dangled from the cart's awning. She playfully swung a fist towards Xiao Xiaoliang, planning to give him a little scare. It was just a joke, that's all. The four of them stared blankly, thinking Bai Feifei was about to eat them. 1 minute and 30 seconds later, the whole group took off running faster than a speeding train. Xiaoling and Xiaole cried and begged. "Kids don't taste good." Out of sheer reflex, a terrified Mr. Jin grabbed the two kids' hands tightly, not even knowing if anyone was actually chasing them. "But just scream first, don't bite me." Qiao Tiolung sprinted ahead in a panic, glancing back at the other three and thinking, when did they start chasing us? But in reality, Bak Fifi had no intention of eating them. She was a vegetarian zombie after all. Watching Qiao Tiolung's group fleeing for their lives, she chuckled. It was actually quite amusing. But the real danger was just now revealing itself. A monster was stealthily observing their every move. Using its tentacles to cling to the ceiling, it moved slowly overhead. Looking down at the panicking Qiao Tiolung, Bak Fifi suddenly heard a strange noise from the roof. With her keen senses, she immediately sensed the lurking danger. Without a word, she shot like a bolt of lightning toward Cao Tiolung, who was now running like mad. Cao Tiolung glanced back and screamed in horror. "Oh my god!" His legs felt like they had grown wheels as he kept bolting, wailing, "I don't have any problem with you. Why are you only chasing me?" Just then, giant tentacles pierced through the ceiling. They shot down with a whoosh, sticky slime, dripping everywhere like spider webs. The monster attacked Cao Tiolung with its tentacles. He screamed, "Help me, guys!" Bak Fifi saw hundreds of octopus-like tentacles. She was surprised for a moment, but immediately realized they were in trouble. Her beloved Cao Tiolung was in danger. With a snap, Fifi accelerated, moving even faster than the monster. Disregarding the danger, she intercepted the beast. Just as the tentacles were about to reach her, the monster feared nothing and no one. It simply flung out several more giant tentacles, wrapping tightly around Bak Fifi and lifting her into the air. She struggled in agony, but it was useless. Cao Tiolung rushed over, trying to help. But he couldn't pull her free from the monster's grip. In a moment of despair, Bak Fifi reached out to him, her eyes pleading helplessly. Cao Tiolung's heart felt like it stopped beating. He stood there terrified, not knowing what would happen next. This giant octopus was such a nuisance. After it had had its fun, the malicious creature simply retracted its tentacles. It let Bak Fifi free fall from high above onto the cold tile floor. Slime from its tentacles dripped through a hole in the wall, splattering onto the floor and releasing a strong, foul stench. Finally, the monster emerged completely. It descended from above like a majestic bird, landing its chubby body, making a heavy thud on impact. Cao Tiolung was nearly crushed flat. The giant octopus blotted out the light, emitting a strange, thick black smoke. Its crimson eyes glowed like two fireballs. Burning with rage, it stared intently at Cao Tiolung. Loi Hong suddenly dashed forward, roaring a warning to his teammates. "It's a mutated creature." The entire group immediately got into ambush positions. A series of sniper rifles were loaded, ready to fire on Loi Hong's command. The moment the order was given, a continuous barrage of shots rang out, aimed directly at the monster. The enraged giant octopus swung its long, iron-like tentacles, forming a solid shield. In an instant, it deftly caught hundreds of bullets. Its thick, coiled skin inflated like an armored life vest, blocking every attack. Bak Fifi lay motionless in a pool of blood by the wall. Her severe wounds had caused her to lose consciousness. Cao Tiolung and Ngai Kam rushed to the girl's side, their hearts filled with worry. Bak Fifi grimaced, gasping for breath. Blood from her wounds soaked her body, leaving her even more exhausted. Ngai Kam stammered, turning to Cao Tiolung. "It looked like she was protecting you." Cao Tiolung knelt down. He gently supported Bak Fifi, looking at the girl who had ended up in this state, all because she protected him. His heart clenched with an indescribable pain. While the weak Bak Fifi recognized Cao Tiolung's voice, she struggled to open her eyes, her blood-covered hands trembling as they clutched something. She held it out towards him. In her small bloody hand was a long crumbled candy wrapper. Cao Tiolung immediately recognized the familiar wrapper. He paused, lost in thought as the memories flooded back. This was from that time. He remembered the first time he met Bak Fi when he had tossed that piece of candy to her. Taking the wrapper from her hand, a move Chao Tiolung asked, "Did you come all this way just to give this to me?" Bak Fifi nodded weakly, only able to make a few faint sounds. Her strength was gone. She couldn't say anything more. Her eyes slowly closed from exhaustion. Standing nearby, Tiolak stared with wide, astonished eyes. "She can understand what we're saying." Chao Tiolung immediately contacted the system, his voice urgent. "Hey, number 2, she's a zombie, so why is she acting so human?" The system quickly analyzed the data from Bak Fifi's body. A stream of spiritual energy flowed through her. After sending out continuous analysis signals, it replied to Chao Tiolung in surprise. Based on the analysis, the target's body does indeed contain the zombie virus. Research indicates that certain special evolutionary mutations can restore partial brain function. This results in intelligent behavior with an intelligence level equivalent to that of a smart animal or a child of about 4 years old. Bak Fifi moaned in pain, coughing violently as tears streamed down her face. Unable to contain his pity, Ngaikam spoke up worriedly. "She seems to be in a lot of pain." Tiolak asked innocently. "Zombies can feel pain." Tiuling also looked confused and wondered, "But isn't she already dead?" Countless questions spun in the two kids' minds. Tiolak scratched his head in bewilderment. "Don't zombies only die if their heads are destroyed?" Tiulin shrank back, refuting everyone's ideas. "She's a good zombie. She doesn't bite people and she saved the boss. I don't want her to die." Ngaikam observed Bak Fifi's wounds. He shook his head sadly. "But it looks like her spine is broken. Even for a zombie, if she can't move, then..." Xiao Tiolun clenched the candy wrapper in his hand, bowing his head in anguish and shouting, "She's like this because of me." He ran and held Bak Fifi in his arms, silently wondering how he could help her recover. But could the recovery elixir work? The system immediately reminded him, this function is only effective on humans. To treat other creatures, the host must complete a mission in exchange for a special item. A determined Chao Tiolung didn't hesitate for a second. "Fine," he said decisively. "Give me the mission." The system immediately issued a new mission: obtain 1 level 2 crystal core within 24 hours. An unprecedented resolve flashed in Chao Tiolung's eyes. A level 2 crystal core is worth as much as 100 normal crystals and can only be found in evolved zombies or mutated creatures. He looked towards the giant octopus behind him. He said decisively, "In other words, I just have to kill that thing." Lei Hong also rushed over to support his men. The whole group fired wildly at the monster, but with its enormous size and skin as thick as a fortress wall, the octopus was nearly invulnerable. Dozens of long tentacles blocked its front, absorbing every bullet and shell that flew its way. Hu Dai Trang complained wearily, "This thing is too damn big. The bullets can't even get through." The bald guy aggressively hoisted a large gun and charged to the front. "Let me..." He fired a massive shell that shot like an arrow, aimed straight for the monster's head. The monster seemed to sense the danger. It immediately wrapped its numerous tentacles around its body, forming an impenetrable fortress. A gap opened up, revealing blood-red eyes that gleamed with cunning slyness. The air grew tense, suffocatingly suspenseful. The shell flew straight at the octopus. Everyone expected it to explode, but it didn't. Dozens of long tentacles surged like ocean waves, wrapping tightly around the shell. The octopus curled up and stood perfectly still, as if challenging the entire world. The underling who had just fired, thinking the foolish monster was defeated, began to boast gleefully. He declared with confidence, "If that doesn't blow it to smithereens, then I'll quit being a man." Lei Hong, providing cover from behind, suddenly felt a sense of unease. With his extensive combat experience, he knew things couldn't be this simple. Anxiety welled up inside him. He muttered impatiently, "Why isn't anything happening?" The two underlings in front looked back at the weapons in their hands, utterly bewildered. "No way. Is the cannon out of ammo?" Suddenly the octopus stirred. It opened its red eyes, which glowed like two hellfires, and looked down on the tiny people at its feet with a triumphant gaze. Its tentacles began to slowly spread apart. Thick black smoke poured out like ink, covering the entire area. The monster slowly rose up, using its tentacles as legs, standing tall, like a massive and menacing mobile tower. What was its purpose? The black smoke gradually dissipated, revealing the cannon shell held snugly in the octopus's giant mouth. The shell its ability to detonate lost was held tightly, like a harmless toy. Hu Dai Trang, witnessing the scene, roared in fury, "Get me more ammo!" The remaining underling jumped in fear, stammering, completely speechless from fright. Lei Hong, unsteady on his feet, slowly approached. His eyes went wide and his jaw dropped. He exclaimed, "It actually sucked it in with its mouth. What the hell?" As if to taunt them, the monster held the shell tightly in its mouth. Suddenly, its tentacles shot out swiftly like giant vacuums. 1, 2... Then 3 tentacles slammed into everyone, sending them flying to a corner. Lei Hong's group was scattered like dry leaves in a storm, thrown into a state of utter panic. The monster spat out a large amount of stinking green slime as hot as lava. The slime gushed out, sticking tightly to anyone it touched like a glue trap. Lei Hong's men screamed in agony. The blonde-haired guy was unlucky enough to be hit by the slime on his arm. The limb was immediately seared as if by fire, and it quickly began to rot. The bald guy didn't escape either. His back was covered in the slime, which ate through his clothes. He yelled, "It hurts so much," watching his men get injured. Lei Hong's heart swelled with furious indignation. He screamed a warning, "Get back, this liquid is corrosive." Quick as a flash, Lei Hong found a large stone slab nearby. He propped it up as a temporary shield to protect the group from the monster's assault. The giant slab became their makeshift shelter with Lei Hong resolutely holding the line. A moment later, Hu Daitrang and another man hastily hid behind the rock, but the monster was relentless, continuing to spit its venomous fluid toward their hiding spot. With his extraordinary strength, Lei Hong lifted the rock onto his back and began to move forward step by heavy step. Hu Daitrang was so scared he curled up, covering his head and trembling. Suddenly a giant tentacle swung towards them. It smashed hard against the rock. The monster struck repeatedly, trying to break their defense. Slime trickled down through the cracks. The pressure from the monster grew more and more terrifying. A putrid stench filled the air and smoke billowed from the corroding rock. Hu Daitrang broke out in a cold sweat and said to his comrade in a panic, "The concrete is completely dissolving. At this rate, we won't be able to hold out for long." Though trembling, Lei Hong stubbornly held the rock, trying to protect his comrades. He roared, furious with the monster and frustrated with his useless men. "Damn it! You guys need to cover for me." The monster's strength truly exceeded Lei Hong's limits. No matter how strong and resilient he was, being overwhelmed and defeated by the monster was only a matter of time. Lei Hong trembled, his hands losing control, his legs growing weak. Suddenly, he buckled under the immense pressure. The giant rock could no longer hold. A tentacle pierced straight through it. A deafening blast came from above as the giant tentacle, massive as a pillar, slammed violently into the ground. One of Lei Hong's men was unlucky enough to be caught by the tentacle and was dragged high into the air. The monster squeezed its prey tightly, aiming for the hole in the ceiling, preparing to deliver the finishing blow. The underling screamed in terror, "Boss, save me." Though he couldn't let go of the rock, Lei Hong's heart was filled with anxiety and fear as he watched the monster's shadow. He sighed helplessly. Damn it, there's no other choice. Lei Hong resolved to save his comrade. Once more he gathered all his strength, his firepower flaring up like a surging flame. Facing the terrifying pressure from the monster, Lei Hong roared, using his inner energy to lift the massive rock and hurl it straight at the enemy. "Let him go!" The rock shot through the air like a meteor. Quick as lightning, Lei Hong appeared before the octopus, intending a direct confrontation. He was tiny as he bypassed the monster's defenses and grabbed one of its tentacles. He roared in anger, "I'm going to rip you to shreds." True to his word, Lei Hong placed his hands on its body and unleashed his overwhelming divine power. But after struggling for a moment, he couldn't even scratch a single piece of the monster's skin. He cursed under his breath, "Damn it! The slime is too slippery, I can't use my strength." The octopus, irritated by Lei Hong's provocation, immediately swung a tentacle and hit him hard, sending him flying. Lei Hong screamed in pain, "You bastard!" But it wasn't over. The monster continued to spit its venomous fluid from its tentacles, like giant hoses. Lei Hong was nearly knocked unconscious, standing frozen like a statue with his eyes wide and jaw dropped inside his divine energy shield. But he couldn't hold on and began to fall freely to the ground. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared. Cao Tio Luong, wearing a protective suit that covered his entire body, charged coldly toward the octopus. Taking advantage of his distraction, he ran along a tentacle, approaching from behind. Cao Tio Luong's eyes glowed a deep blue as a terrifying surge of power coursed through his body. Even as tens of thousands of waves of venomous slime shot out, he dodged them with fluid grace. Lei Hong's men slowly got to their feet, staring in utter disbelief. "Up there, that's that kid. Why isn't he hurt?" A question echoed. "Is that a superpower?" Lei Hong, who had just landed safely, couldn't believe his eyes. Impossible. There's no fluctuation of superpower energy on him. He suddenly remembered something and shouted, "Don't tell me he really is." The monster, thinking Cao Tio Luong was an easy target, continuously swung its giant tentacles to attack, but he fought back barehanded, swiftly dodging every blow, leaning left and right. Like a perfect dance, the monster could barely touch him. Cao Tio Luong leaped high into the air, aiming for the tentacle in front of him. Using his superhuman strength, he moved as fast as lightning. He performed a vanishing act straight out of an action movie. In just a second, he disappeared without a trace. A cold aura washed over the area. Cao Tio Luong, his hand tightly gripping a dagger, burning with vengeance. Yipri charged straight at the monster, aiming for the cannonball stuck in its mouth. He yelled, "Got you!" In a life-or-death gamble, Cao Tio Luong plunged the dagger into the cannonball. It was all or nothing. It was only then that everyone realized Cao Tio Luong was a chosen one. Under the impact of the dagger, the cannonball immediately emitted intense sparks, successfully detonating. A deafening explosion rang out. Flames erupted, engulfing the monster's body. An earth-shattering blast blew it to pieces. The fire grew larger and larger, black smoke covering the sky. Pieces of the monster's corpse rained down in a gory mess. What was left of the octopus's body lay motionless, burned by the flames into grilled octopus. Blood pooled everywhere, and the thick, fishy stench assaulted the nostrils. The black smoke gradually cleared. Cao Tio Luong took off his protective suit, smiling with satisfaction. "This raincoat works pretty well." He was pleased with his treasure. Even the shockwave from the explosion was completely nullified. High-tech stuff really is amazing. He called out to the system. "Hey, system, next time can you give me a few more of these?" The system chuckled at the ridiculous request and replied, "Rewards are all drawn randomly, but as long as the host performs well, there will be many opportunities." Cao Tio Luong suddenly remembered his main mission. The monster was defeated. He immediately began searching through the pile of rotting flesh. Beneath a layer of slime, he picked up an object emitting a warm golden light. Just what I needed. He cheered joyfully, found it a level 2 essence core. The system announced, "Congratulations, host, for completing mission 1. You have received a level 2 essence core. Reward, healing candy. Effect, instant healing, unlimited use. Bonus, item 1, apocalyptic cooking guidebook." Chao Tiu Luang stared blankly at the book and asked, "What's a cookbook good for?" The system explained, "In the apocalypse, there are many mutated creatures and plants. As long as the virus-infected parts are removed, they can be eaten. But ordinary people don't know that and don't dare to eat them. This book details their body structures and preparation methods. It's indispensable for anyone who wants to open a restaurant and cook delicious food in the apocalypse." Hearing this, Cao Tiolong's anger subsided and he happily accepted the reward, thinking to himself, "Well, this is pretty good stuff. I'll just put it away." But the most important thing was to save people. He hurried over to the weakened Bak Fifi and gently lifted her head. He fed her the essence core he had just found. Bak Fifi winced, struggling to swallow the medicine with a look of discomfort. But just a few seconds later, her eyes shot open, staring at Chao Luang. Her once frail body was now completely healed. She joyfully stood up, stretching and moving her arms and legs with confidence. Tueling beside her cheered excitedly. "Awesome, sis, you're back to life." Miss Cam watched the scene with a sense of unease. She swallowed nervously, thinking, this guy took care of that mutated octopus all by himself. The more she thought, the less she understood. He was terrified just a moment ago. In the blink of an eye, he was like a different person. Could it be he was hiding his strength? After stretching for a moment, Bak Fifi looked up at Chao Tiu Luang, pointed to her mouth, and let out a few cute ah sounds, as if waiting for something. Seeing Bak Fifi's childish antics, Chao Tiu Luang suddenly got annoyed. His voice was full of frustration. "What's wrong with you? Don't tell me you're that addicted to the game." Hearing this, Tueling ran over excitedly, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "What game?" "Tueling wants to play too." Miss Cam stood there watching Chao Tiu Luang and thinking to herself, this guy doesn't seem trustworthy at all. Chao Tiu Luang had no choice but to replay the old game. He clutched the bag of candy just like before. When Bak Fifi wasn't looking, he quickly tossed the candies behind him for her to chase after and pick up. Tueling smiled brightly, clapping and cheering as if watching a fun performance. Seeing the three of them playing around, Miss Cam found herself smiling. Well, anyway, she thought, this guy's heart isn't in a bad place. Maybe he can be trusted. But Tiolak remained vigilant. He crept up behind Tioling and whispered, "Hey sis, stay away from her." He looked at Bak Fifi with suspicious eyes. "She's a zombie. Are you sure she won't bite people?" Bak Fifi suddenly turned around and stared at the two siblings. Her eyes shone with a particular fondness for the chubby Tioling. She smiled, trying to show her interest in the little girl. Tioling stood frozen, looking nervously at Bak Fifi, who still had some candy crumbs on her cheek. Bak Fifi excitedly pounced forward and licked the crumbs clean off Tioling's cheek. The little girl giggled, "That tickles." After she finished laughing, Bai Fei Fei pouted slightly, turning to Xiao Luo with a mischievous expression, making him jump in embarrassment. She spread her arms and lunged at him. Tulak, his face drained of all color, turned and fled, screaming, "You're evil. You scared the soul right out of me. I'm a boy. Have you no shame?" Tuling giggled from behind him. "Big brother is blushing." Loi Hong suddenly shouted, striding quickly towards Chao Tioluang. His voice was filled with anxiety. "You can even cure a zombie. You can definitely save my men, right?" Chao Tiolong looked at Hodai Trang and the bald guy, who were lying on the ground in agony, clutching their bloody arms, poisoned by the octopus's venom. Another one was already unconscious. He observed the wound on Hodai Trang's arm. It looked extremely serious. The flesh was rotting, even exposing the bone as if it had been corroded by acid. His internal organs are probably severely damaged too. A large hole in Hodai Trang's arm revealed the bone within. The wound was horribly infected. Loi Hong nodded, his voice urgent. "I can see that. Hurry up and heal them." Cao Tiolong glanced at Loi Hong, slightly annoyed. "Are you ordering me around?" "Oh, so that's how it is." He stood up abruptly, crossing his arms reproachfully. "After you hit me so hard just a moment ago, model, why should I help you?" Lei Hong understood Chao Liang's implication and cut straight to the chase. "How many crystal cores do you want? Just name a number." Hearing the words crystal cores, Chao Liang's eyes lit up. His attitude changed in an instant and a cunning smile spread across his face. "Well, then I won't hold back." Suddenly a hand landed on Chao Liang's shoulder. It made him jump. Lord Jin coldly threw him aside. His pathetic scream echoed through the area as Lord Jin roared at Lei Hong. "It doesn't matter how many you offer. He won't heal them." Xiaoling and Xiaole spoke up in unison. "That's right. You're all just bandits, demons, murderers," Lei Hong replied wearily. "I've already told you. We may be bandits, but we have principles. We don't kill those who can't fight back." He squinted and shook his head. "If my men really killed your mother, then she certainly wasn't some innocent person." But Xiaoling and Xiaole immediately flew into a rage, retorting, "Nonsense. Our mother was a good person. You're the bad guys." Lord Jin held the two kids' hands and scolded Lei Hong. "Stop making excuses. You're just saying that so we'll heal your men and then you'll kill us, right? We're not that easily fooled." Cao Zhaoliang slowly walked over, interrupting the argument. What he's saying might actually be true." Lord Jin, Xiaoling, and Xiaole were stunned. "What?" they shouted in unison, dissatisfied. After the exhausting chase, Cao Xiaoliang gently presented a tattered old red headband. He asked Xiaole, "This fell out of your pocket, didn't it?" The moment Xiaole saw it, he became agitated and yelled, "Yes! This is the mark of that group. I always carry it to remind myself never to forget what they look like." He recalled his mother's killer, a middle-aged, one-eyed man wearing a red headband. He looked a lot like Lei Hong. Cao Xiaoliang then took out the dagger he had picked up. "This is their dagger, isn't it?" The two compared the evidence. The symbols on the headband and the dagger were nearly identical, but mirrored. Lord Jin took the dagger and examined it closely. He noticed some different details. Xiaole said in disappointment, "This one looks way more stylish." Xiaoling looked at the symbol on the headband and judged, "Compared to that, this one looks like it was drawn by an elementary school kid." Standing nearby, Lei Hong blushed with anger as he listened to them critique his group's logo. "Huh. What do you mean, simple drawing? This is called a strong and free-spirited style. If you don't get it, then shut your mouth," Cao Xiaoliang sighed, trying to mediate. "I've run into quite a few gangs before that rob people under someone else's name. They do it to stir up trouble and make enemies for them." He looked at Lord Jin. "The gang you encountered must have been imposters." Lord Jin, Xiaole, and Xiaoling were stunned. "Imposters," they said in unison. Lei Hong now understood the full picture. He looked sympathetic but couldn't hide his indignation. No wonder some people have suddenly attacked us as if they had a deep-seated hatred for us. It turns out a third party was pulling the strings. Xiaole angrily cursed the other group. "How could we be so easily led by the nose? Damn it. So they weren't the Thunderclap Legion at all. Those damn imposters." But Xiaoling looked up at her brother sadly, her voice full of despair. "Then, who are we supposed to get revenge on now?" The two poor children, their eyes filled with the pain of losing their mother. Lord Jin looked down gently at the two kids, trying to comfort them and soothe some of their pain. "Revenge isn't a burden you two have to carry. Compared to that, I'm sure your mother would rather see you live healthy and happy lives." Xiaole and Xiaoling looked at Lord Jin in silence, their eyes still filled with sorrow. Just then, Hu Dazhuang, his body wrapped in white bandages, and angrily stomped over and roared, "Those bastards, how dare they tarnish our reputation if I ever get my hands on them? I'll chop them into 100 pieces." Suddenly, Hu Dazhuang coughed up blood, his anger likely having aggravated his wounds. Lei Hong's eyes widened in panic as he watched his beloved subordinate in pain. He rushed to support him, then turned to Cao Xiaoliang, his voice pleading, "Everything is cleared up now. Can you please treat my brothers? If we wait any longer, they'll die." Cao Xiaoliang nodded but didn't forget to state his fee. "All right, 10 crystal cores per person. That's a real bargain, you know." Lei Hong agreed at once, immediately handing over a bag of crystal cores. "No problem. Here's the payment." Cao Xiaoliang cheerfully gave an order. "Could you please step aside? This will be over in a flash." On his beloved cart, a few eggs had been smashed to pieces, their bright yellow yolks pooling everywhere. Cao Xiaoliang looked at the tragic sight with a broken heart, as if he'd lost a precious treasure. Such delicious eggs all ruined. He remembered the fiery clash with the Thunderclap Legion and glanced sheepishly at Lei Hong, giving a foolish laugh. About that, something came up. "How about I just give you the crystal cores back?" Hearing this, Lei Hong's eyes turned red with anger as he roared, "Are you messing with me?" Cao Xiaoliang scratched his head with an awkward laugh and quickly pushed his cart away. "How could I do that? I just thought the mood was a little tense, so I was just kidding." Inside, he swallowed his bitter tears, thinking, even the eggs are gone. What am I going to use to make egg cookies now? No good deed goes unpunished. Not letting his emotions get the better of him, Cao Xiaoliang took out the cookbook he'd just received and flipped through the pages. His eyes lit up as if he'd struck gold. When he found a suitable recipe, he thought, all right, let's save them first. He grinned triumphantly and snapped the book shut. Perfect. The only ingredients he had on hand were flour, oil, and some spices. After racking his brain for a moment, he exclaimed, I've got it. He ran over to the octopus carcass, chose the best cut of meat, and hauled it away. He carefully cut away the outer membrane and suckers, keeping only the clean meat. Then he marinated it with spices to remove the fishy smell, rinsed it with water, and the pristine white meat was gradually revealed before being minced. He mixed it with flour to form a batter, stirring and stirring and stirring until a pot of fragrant octopus meat was ready. He poured the mixture in small portions onto a griddle. Sizzling and steaming, he flipped them over once they were golden brown. He added tomatoes and salad dressing, arranging the octopus pancakes like a work of art. As for the dish's soul cells, I used mashed potatoes as a substitute, and ta-da, the hot and delicious octopus balls are ready. Cao Tiolung proudly finished his work. Ajia Kai will bring this food to Lei Hong's group. Eat this all up. Your bodies will recover immediately. The bald guy and the blonde guy shouted in horror. Using a mutated octopus to cook. What are you trying to do? Telling us to eat this thing. You must think we're not dying fast enough. But Lei Hong was captivated by the alluring aroma, sniffing it deeply and hesitating. Can this thing really be eaten? A weary Cao Tiolung shook his head and explained, have you ever read any wuxia novels? Within 5 steps of a venomous snake, there's bound to be an antidote. I've already taken the crystal core, no refunds. Eat it if you want. Unable to bear the pain, Hu Dazhuang stepped forward, sniffing the aroma. It smells so good, but it hurts so much. I'll just risk it. He popped the food into his mouth, thinking, even if I die, I might as well enjoy this first. Suddenly, Hu Dazhuang's body froze and began to change. He was shocked. What is this? Then he clutched his stomach, coughing violently. The underlings panicked and yelled, Dazhuang. Lei Hong worriedly warned Chao Tiulung. What did you do? If anything happens to my brother, I won't let you off. Before he could do anything, Bai Feifei rushed forward, blocking Lei Hong. He backed away in fear, stammering, Miss, don't come over here. This is bad. Hu Dazhuang covered his mouth, letting out a few strange moans, then exploded with excitement. This is delicious. He blissfully described the batter is fragrant and soft like a cloud, and the octopus meat is chewy and fresh. Every bite is like a little fairy dancing on my tongue. A flavor as vast and powerful as the living ocean crashing into my very soul. He praised it effusively. It's seriously out of this world delicious. Hu Dazhuang's answer left the bald guy and the blonde guy stunned. For real? This thing is actually delicious. Lei Hong and his underlings immediately rushed to Cao Tiulung's food cart, scrambling to order. Oh, whatever. I'll have some too. Give me an order. Slow down, calm down. There's enough for everyone. They savored the food, bursting with happiness as cries rang out. This is so good. I'm so happy. You're a good brother. The blonde guy quickly brought a takoyaki bowl to Ahu. Ahu, you try one too. Ahu snatched it and devoured it, chewing as if he was swallowing the very stars in the sky. He yelled, his eyes sparkling. My wound has healed. The pain is gone too. It's a miracle. He lifted his shirt to show off his muscular six-pack. Even my old scars have healed. Excited Ahu ran up to ask Chao Tiulung, is this also an effect of the octopus meat? Cao Tiulung was stunned, not knowing how to answer Ahu. He could only force a smile. I added some special seasoning to your portion. Consider it a special gift. But inside he was worried sick. Oh crap. There's a bug here. My current power isn't enough to fight against special abilities. If this group finds out about the system, they'll probably capture me and exploit me to death. Cao Tiulung was so lost in thought that he didn't notice someone calling him. Suddenly he flinched and dodged, thinking to himself, have I been found out? It was just Lei Hong who walked up and patted his shoulder, his eyes filled with gratitude. I didn't realize you were actually a pretty good guy. Cao Tiulung silently thanked his lucky stars. Phew, this guy is all brawn and no brains easy to fool. He laughed loudly. So about that partnership we discussed earlier, Lei Hong nodded. I'll consider it. But his underlings immediately protested, shouting, Boss, don't listen to him. Yeah, we're injured like this because of him, aren't we? He should be the one taking responsibility for this. Chao Tiulung immediately retorted, you guys were robbing my food stall. Am I not allowed to fight back? Lei Hong's group burst out laughing as if they'd heard a joke. The blonde guy offered a reason that was both absurd and logical. We're robbers. We saw you with so much food. So of course we had to rob you. Every profession has people who are passionate about their work. You get it. Hu added, it's called professional ethics. Lei Hong laughed heartily and nodded in agreement. Well said. Chao Tiulung pointed towards Bai Feifei, puzzled. Then what about that girl? Didn't you guys say you don't rob women and children? He ran over to Bai Feifei and lectured them. Even if she's turned into a zombie, she's still a girl. You guys tied her up in a sack and were sneaking around. What were you planning to do? Lei Hong's men looked left, right, up and down, then said in unison, we didn't do anything. Didn't even touch her. The bald guy said shyly, well, who told her to be so beautiful? We only did it for our boss. Cao Tiulung smirked smugly. Uh-huh. The truth comes out. So what's this about? What kind of weird hobby is this? Mr. Cam covered his mouth in horror. They won't even spare a zombie. That's disgusting. Xiaolak covered Xiaoling's ears. Xiaoling don't listen. Hu Dazhuang looked at Lei Hong shyly. Boss you? The underlings roared with laughter. I saw the boss talking privately with someone earlier, so it was a red-faced and indignant Lei Hong yelled, this is a total frame-up. My reputation is spotless. There's no way to clear my name. He shook his head frantically. This has nothing to do with me. Lei Hong shot a furious glare at the three troublemakers and yelled, what the hell is going on? Explain it to me. The blonde guy hesitated, then confessed, you guys are getting the wrong idea. This was all our idea. We did it ourselves. Hu put on a tragic expression, his eyes glistening. Our boss gets shy whenever he sees a pretty girl. He's never even had a real relationship. We just wanted to find a beautiful zombie for him to try interacting with. We thought maybe it would cure his fear of women. The bald guy chimed in. We only meant well. Enraged, Lei Hong rushed over and beat the three of them senseless. Good intentions, my ass. How could you even think of such a twisted idea? Do you take me for some kind of pervert? The blonde guy wailed, I told you the boss wasn't that kind of person. We almost died for nothing, boss. Suddenly the system displayed a message. Mission time has expired. Host, please hire an employee quickly to complete the mission. Cao Tiulung looked at the notification panel anxiously. That fast? Has it already been 24 hours? He wondered, if I've already hired the proprietress as an employee, shouldn't the mission be complete by now? The system calmly delivered a bombshell. It does not count yet. Hiring an employee requires a contract signed by both parties, and the employee must wear a special uniform to be valid. Chao Tielung jumped. A uniform? He imagined all sorts of uniforms. A seductive maid, a sexy doctor, or even a lewd bunny girl. His nose almost started bleeding as he thought excitedly, this could be good. As if reading his mind, the system shot him a sidelong glance. Host, please do not have inappropriate thoughts. We are a respectable system and do not provide such outfits. Chao Tielung gave a wicked grin. He turned to look at the completely conservative maid outfit, a far cry from his imagination. A murder of crows flew over his head. Annoyed, he mumbled, it's just a plain old design like this. My hopes were all for nothing. He handed the uniform to Miss Cam with a pitiful expression. I forgot to mention earlier, as an employee of this shop, you're required to wear clean, tidy, and easily identifiable attire so customers recognize you. That's why uniforms are necessary. These 3 are for you guys. Miss Cam and Xiaolei looked at the outfits, their faces twisting in dismay. Xiaolei complained resentfully, even kids like us have to wear them. What a pain. But Xiaoling was happily admiring the new dress, excited that it was brand new. Cao Tielung spoke up to remind them, time to put on the new clothes. Go on, change into them now. In broad daylight, Ms. Cam casually lifted her shirt to change. Cao Tielung hurriedly stopped her, pointing to a hidden corner. You don't have to be in such a rush, he said seriously. There are a lot of people out here. It's fine to go inside and change. Lei Hong's group shook their heads, gulping as they said in unison, no need to worry about little details like that. Miss Cam ignored them and tried on the white shirt, but because of her oversized chest, she struggled and complained, this outfit is too tight, I can't even fit my chest in. Do you have a larger size? Witnessing the titillating scene before him, Lei Hong couldn't react in time. Blood sprayed from his nose and he fainted. His underlings panicked, shouting, Boss, the boss, fainted. Cao Tielung angrily rushed over to shield Miss Cam, yelling, have some decency, people. Close your eyes. Suddenly something soft fell onto his head. He looked up and saw something soft, like a dumpling. He held it in his hand, wondering, what is this? Then he looked brazenly at Miss Cam. He was utterly shocked. Oh my god, good heavens, a muscular body, six-pack abs. He screamed, are you messing with me? Surprise, turns out we're the same kind. Cam took off the rest of his get-up, smiling at Chao Tielung. Scared out of his wits, his limbs went weak. He looked heartbroken at the person before him and stammered, you... It was as if he'd fallen from cloud 9. He yelled, a man, you're a man. Why would you dress like that and mislead people? Cam laughed heartily and replied cheerfully, well, I never said I was a girl. Why are you so surprised? The blonde guy's jaw dropped in astonishment. Could it be you were pretending to be weak to lure the enemy into a trap? Ahu exclaimed excitedly, so cool. Cam rubbed his head, shyly looking pleased with himself. Not really, it's just a personal hobby. Meanwhile, Xiaole, who wasn't too surprised, whispered to Xiaoling, the boss said this is called being a master crossdresser. Xiaoling nodded. The boss loves pretty dresses the most. He has a lot of them, but it's a pity he couldn't bring them out. Cao Tielung cried, internally cursing Cam. You damn scammer, my beautiful female employee, the sexy uniform, my dreams of an office romance, they've all gone up in smoke. Hearing this, Cam immediately understood and cursed back in his mind. This guy really is a lecher. Who could understand this pain? The system suddenly announced, beginning countdown. Host, please complete the mission quickly. Do you confirm hiring this person? Cao Tielung perked up, asking sarcastically. Do I even have another choice? After a moment, he looked at the pre-drafted employment contract for Cam. Reluctantly, he signed it with a grimace. Bai Feifei stood by, happily watching him hand the contract to Cam. Please sign here. Cao Tielung almost dropped the paper. Feeling conflicted, he turned his face away. Cam shot him an indignant glare. What's with that look on your face? If it weren't for the food who would want to be your employee, Cao Tielung looked at the contract and lamented internally. When other people get forced by a system, they get a harem of beauties and rise to the top. Me, I'm stuck raising kids with another man. Cam quickly took the pen to sign the contract, thinking to himself, at first I thought nothing could be more tragic than this, but I was wrong. Suddenly, Bai Feifei darted in like a flash, snatching the contract in its mouth before Cam could finish signing and bolted away. Cao Tielung and Cam stared blankly after it. He yelled, "You've got to be kidding me." While the two stood there stunned, Bai Feifei kept the paper clamped tightly in its mouth and ran. Left with no choice, Cao Tielung tried to pry the contract from Bai Feifei's little mouth, yelling, "You can't eat this." The employment contract was now riddled with hidden traps. As Bai Fei stood by looking dazed, the system suddenly confirmed the signing was complete. A swirling divine aura enveloped Bai Feifei. Her eyes began to glow, radiating a strange power. In the blink of an eye, she transformed into a beautiful, magnificent maid, as if she'd stepped right out of a painting. Gao Xiaoliang stood frozen and helpless, silently cursing the heavens before letting out a sky-shaking scream. "I don't want to work with a zombie." Sometime later, Lord Jin was still stewing over it, scolding Gao Xiaoliang, "You have no taste passing over a beauty like me to choose a zombie as an employee." He haughtily stated his terms, "But because of the contract's penalty fee, I won't hold it against you." On the surface, Gao Xiaoliang smiled, but inside he was falling apart. "We haven't even signed a contract, so where is this penalty fee coming from? You're forcing my hand. If I don't pay up, you'll wreck my car." He looked at the dilapidated building and sighed. "We can't stay here anymore. What are you guys planning to do now? Lord Jin replied cheerfully, I've already spoken with the people from the Thunder Legion. They're willing to take us with them. Xiaolei and Xiaoling hugged their small pillows, their faces beaming. Xiaolei grinned and boasted to Gao Xiaoliang. Lei Hong said he'll teach me how to fight and shoot. That way I can protect you, boss, and my little sister. Gao Xiaoliang chuckled. That's great. He thought to himself, even if they are bandits, they're not bad people. With them protecting the two kids, they'll be safer. Xiaoling ran up and gently tugged on his shirt. She handed him a card with Bai Feifei's picture on it. Mr. That big sister dropped this when she was changing. Gao Xiaoliang looked at the card, recognizing the ID number and name. So her name is Bai Feifei. It's an employee ID card. He couldn't take his eyes off the card. Lei Hong handed Gao Xiaoliang a map and said sincerely, Kid, this is where we're camped for now. We won't be moving. If you run into trouble, just come find me. Gao Xiaoliang looked at the map in surprise. Linyu City, Shanfa Prison. The law is vast and the net of heaven is wide. No one escapes. He shook his head in admiration. You guys sure know how to pick a spot. Lei Hong laughed, clapping him on the shoulder decisively. So what if it's a prison? No one wanted to get in here before, but now there's nowhere safer. Lord Jin excitedly ran over and threw his arms around Lei Hong. Exactly, big brother Lei. You're a genius. Say, can I get a private room later? Lei Hong's fear of women flared up. The moment he saw Lord Jin, he ran for his life. Stay away from me. He turned back and yelled, Someone get him a set of men's clothes. Lord Jin shook his head, chasing after him. I refuse. It's called freedom of expression, you understand. I just like wearing women's clothes. Finally, the whole group got into their vehicle and left. Xiaoling and Xiaolei looked at Gao Xiaoliang and waved goodbye, their clear voices calling out, Goodbye, mister. The Thunder Legion waved enthusiastically. Hey, kid, don't let the zombies get you. We'll come back and visit. Gao Xiaoliang felt a warmth in his heart as he smiled and waved everyone off. He looked down at Bai Feifei's employee ID and let out a sigh of relief, even though he had no idea what the future held. But you never know until you try. He turned to look at Bai Feifei. Well, I'll be in your care from now on. But then he was startled. Where'd she go? Bai Feifei was right here a moment ago, and now she had vanished. He looked around and spotted her climbing onto his beloved cargo cart, gnawing on something. He roared in anger. You can't eat that! The sound of gnawing mixed with his cursing echoed through the deserted city. Bai Feifei, as if her teeth were itchy, bit down hard on the wooden plank on the cart. Gao Xiaoliang ran over furiously and tried to pull her away. I told you that's not food, spit it out. But Bai Feifei stubbornly growled and bit down harder on the wooden plank. Gao Xiaoliang yanked with all his might and the cart's handle came off with the force. It caused the entire cart to collapse into pieces. He stared at the wreckage in horror, unable to believe his eyes as he screamed, Oh my God! Bai Feifei sat there like a little kitten, innocently gnawing on the handle. She looked at him innocently. Gao Xiaoliang suddenly remembered. Wait a minute. Wasn't this thing supposed to have the resilience feature? How did it break after just a few bites? He quickly contacted the system. System, why I suspect this card is defective. I demand a new one. The system replied immediately, Host, please be patient. I will request this from my superiors. But then it returned with a sad announcement, request denied. Gao Xiaoliang was indignant. On what grounds? The system explained, according to the item description, the resilience feature only protects staff and property from external attacks. It is not effective against personnel from inside the store. Bai Feifei is an employee. Any damages she causes must be borne by the host. Gao Xiaoliang roared in fury. Something that important. Why didn't you tell me earlier? He looked at Bai Feifei and sighed. If I had known, I swear I would have chosen the cross-dressing big shot over this husky in human form. Heartbroken, he sat down and stared at the pile of wreckage, lamenting. Damn it, it's broken like this. How am I supposed to fix it? The system appeared and cheerfully consoled him. Host, do not worry, you only need 100 more points to upgrade the store. Completing missions will allow you to upgrade your items. Gao Xiaoliang impatiently cut it off before he could finish. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give me a mission. A ding sounded. The system announced, new mission within 24 hours, collect 500 kilograms of edible meat. Completing it will earn you a reward. Gao Xiaoliang pondered. 500 kilograms. In this apocalypse, finding even 5 kilograms of fresh meat is hard, let alone 500. But then his eyes lit up and he slapped his hands together in excitement. I've got it. He remembered a large chicken farm nearby. He flipped open a cookbook to do some research. Among mutated beasts, mutated chickens have low combat strength. The virus is concentrated in the brain, internal organs, fat, and feet. Removing these parts leaves the breast and thigh meat, which is delicious, rich in protein, and perfect for replenishing stamina. He said enthusiastically, All right then, you little chicks in the coop, you're about to have a very bad day. A mutated rooster entered combat mode, its eyes glowing red as it let out a deafening crow. Hiding behind a rock, Gao Xiaoliang thought to himself, mutated chickens are just bigger. Overall, they're not much different from regular chickens. The problem is their numbers. I have to separate them and deal with them one by one. He looked at Bai Feifei. It's time to put you to use. Gao Xiaoliang came up with a plan using 7,749 gestures to make Bai Feifei understand. He then asked her, Got it. her. Bai Fei nodded cheerfully. He ran into the middle of the flock of chickens and ordered, "Xiao Bai, go!" Upon receiving the command, Bai Fei grabbed a wooden board and launched herself into the air. But she forgot the plan and ran straight towards him instead. Cao Tiolong screamed, "Not over there, over here." This wasn't a game anymore. Sensing something was wrong, the flock of chickens all turned at once, their eyes blazing with murderous intent as they charged toward Bai Fei. Terrified, she bit down hard on a wooden plank and leaped up into the attic, looking down at the ferocious horde of chickens. Cao Tiolong stumbled back in a panic. "I'm so dead." He turned and ran for his life. A giant monstrous rooster gave chase, targeting him like prey and pecking relentlessly. He screamed, "Oh my God, somebody help me." Its razor-sharp beak nearly took a chunk out of his butt. He yelled as he ran. Its talons are so sharp, one scratch could tear up the floorboards. The rooster was quickly gaining on him. Ahead was a solid fence, a dead end. Tiolong mustered all his strength and sprinted toward the fence, overjoyed to spot a hole that someone had already dug. "I'm saved." He dove through the hole to safety. Cao Tiolong sat in the pit, sighing in relief, his heart pounding. The roosters charged forward like a horde of rabid zombies, furiously clawing at the iron fence. They glared at him, their eyes filled with hatred, and began digging frantically at the dirt. Cao Tiolong held his breath and waited. Exhausted, he leaned back and thought to himself, "Good thing this hole was here, or I'd have been pecked to death." Suddenly, a slimy liquid got on his hand. He muttered in confusion, "What is this? It's so gooey and sticky. Gross." Looking up, he was stunned to see broken eggshells scattered everywhere. Cao Tiolong wondered, "Why are there so many eggshells in here?" Then, trembling, he realized what was happening. Oh no. This was a mother hen's nest. A massive shadow fell over the pit like a spotlight shining down on him. Cao Tiolong gulped, trembling as he looked up at a gigantic, monstrous hen standing over him. Its eyes blazing red, as blood shot down toward him like an arrow. Scared out of his wits, he scrambled out of the nest. Whoa! A fully grown mutant chicken. The chase was on again, and Cao Tiolong took off like a shot. He screamed as he ran. Of all the places to fall, it had to be a mother hen's nest. My luck is the absolute worst. Oh, for crying out loud. He ran for his life, complaining, "Why isn't my elasticity function working now of all times?" The hen pecked at him relentlessly. He clutched his butt and screamed at the top of his lungs, "Ow, ow, ow!" The hen circled him, its eyes filled with a triumphant glee, as if to say, "Now you see how tough I am, don't you?" Cao Tiolong was cornered with the same fence from before right behind him. Panting with exhaustion, he thought about the eggshells. The chicks are definitely going to want revenge. The hen advanced its razor-sharp beak aimed straight for his crotch. He bit his lip and roared, "You filthy chicken!" Just as it lunged, Cao Tiolong executed a masterful twisting maneuver. Like a yoga pro, silently cursing, "My family jewels, I haven't even gotten to use them yet." He leaped up, wrapping his legs around the hen's neck. He thought angrily, "I can't die in a place like this. Take this leg scissors." The man and the chicken were locked in a fierce battle. With his flexibility, Cao Tiolong tightened his grip around the chicken's neck. He grinned triumphantly. "See how tough I am now." But the chicken just lowered its head and opened its eyes, furious. Cao Tiolong panicked. "It's not dead." It flung him into the air. He screamed, "Oh, sweet mother of... Heaven help me." By some miracle, he landed on the chicken's back. It started bucking wildly, making him want to throw up. "Oh God, somebody help me." After 7,749 spins, the chicken snapped its own neck. With a final flap of its wings, it threw him off, but Cao Tiolong quickly grabbed onto its tail feathers. He screamed in terror, "Oh my God, can someone please put its head back on?" So gross. The scene changes to a forest where a military vehicle is rolling along slowly. A voice comes over the radio from inside. "Team 3, this is command. Team 1 and Team 2 have returned to base. What's your status?" It was a group of soldiers communicating with their commander. The one on the radio replied, a hint of weariness in his voice. "We're on our way back. Barring any surprises, we should make it back today." The others cheered. "I heard the other 2 squads came back empty-handed this time. We found so many supplies they're going to be green with envy." Another scoffed. "Serves them right. Their captain is too much of a coward to venture out that far." Captain Hua is the resourceful one. It was his brilliant idea to check the cellars for food. A young soldier added with regret, "It's just a shame that entire village turned into zombies. Not a single person made it out." Still making it back safely is cause for celebration. Suddenly the vehicle hit a wooden plank and came to an abrupt halt, a wheel wedged tight. The man in front yelled, "We've got a problem." The whole team disembarked to investigate. The tire was flat. A bearded soldier inspected it anxiously. "Looks like we've got a blowout." A blonde-haired subordinate laughed. "Don't worry so much, Captain. We've been down this road 100 times. If there were any zombies, we would have seen them by now." The young man in the lead, the captain quickly reminded him, "It's better to be safe than sorry. We're seeing more and more types of mutants these days, especially in wide open areas like this. You can't let your guard down. We have to stay on high alert." Guoming and Guzhen quickly got to work changing the tire, while the others along with Uncle Chu kept watch. As Guoming focused on fitting the new wheel, he muttered, "Still on a main road like this? How many zombies could there really be?" His blonde friend Guzhen nodded cheerfully. "Exactly. And even if we did, all I'd need is one bullet to take it down." Suddenly, thwack! Uncle Chu came over and smacked both of them on the head. "Quit your yapping. You two have been on, what, a few missions, and you already think zombies are that easy to handle. Guming and Gujan chuckled sheepishly. In unison, they said, "Sorry, Uncle Chu, we were wrong. Don't be mad. We're just rookies. We don't know anything yet. Please take care of us." Uncle Chu sighed and took a drag from his cigarette. His voice turned serious. "Of all the teams, our Team 3 has always had the highest success rate and the lowest casualty rate. Do you two know why?" Guashmin and Gujen shook their heads. Uncle Chu said smugly, "Captain Huo is experienced and cautious. If idiots like you were on any other team, you'd have been dead countless times by now. Your ancestors must be smiling down on you for getting to join our team." Guashming and Gujen patted each other on the shoulder, swallowing their pride and laying on the flattery. "Wow, Captain Huo is that incredible. We're so lucky. We'll learn a ton from now on." The blonde guy scratched his head sheepishly. Uncle Chu? I need to go take a leak." Uncle Chu grumbled in annoyance. "Damn pain in the ass. Hurry up, don't keep everyone waiting." The blonde guy quickly ran off. Suddenly, the surrounding bushes rustled as if something was rushing through them. Huojiji sensed it. Instantly on alert, he gripped his gun and turned to ask, "Did you guys hear that sound?" The two of them shook their heads in surprise. The blonde guy, having finished his business, was mumbling happily. Much better." But behind the bushes, a giant python lay in wait, its eyes greedily fixed on him. He vaguely sensed the danger and looked all around, but seeing nothing, he relaxed and turned to go back. Suddenly, the ferocious python lunged down from the canopy above. The blonde guy looked up in terror as the enormous monster dove at him with its mouth wide open. Gujen was so scared he collapsed to his knees. Fortunately, a bullet hit the python's eye just in time. It writhed in agony and fled. Huojishi fired, continuously ordering, "There's a mutated creature, get back to the car." He then asked Gujen, "Is the tire changed yet?" Uncle Chu reported anxiously, "It's done." The group wondered why there was a mutated snake here. "The thing doesn't make a sound. It's too hard to detect." Gujen bowed his head. "Captain, I'm sorry. It was my fault. I was careless." Huojiji said urgently, "Enough talk. That shot wasn't a serious wound. It'll be back soon. Get in the car now." The car immediately sped away, but the python reappeared, slithering after it. It easily got under the car and tossed it into the air like a toy. As the car went into a freefall, the python coiled around it, squeezing as if to crush it. Inside, Chuko-chan and his comrades were thrown about, suspended in the violently shaking space. Huokechi gave the order, "It's trying to crush the car. Get out now." Guoming and the team tried to push open the emergency exit, but the door was jammed shut and wouldn't open. They panicked. "Captain, what do we do now?" Huokeji, observing from above, yelled, "Find a way to break the window." He was about to open fire and kill the monster, but Chuko-chan frantically stopped him. "Don't! Captain, the gas tank is leaking. If you shoot, we'll blow up." Guoming cried in despair. "Are we going to die here?" Suddenly, a strange figure shot past. Chuko-chan quickly shouted, "Everyone look over there. Something's coming." A giant bird soared through the air with its wings spread wide. Guoming, terrified out of his mind, pounded on the car window, wailing, "Looks like we're really going to die." "But I think I just saw an angel." Chuko-chan snapped, "What nonsense are you talking about?" "That's clearly a chicken." Huokeshi squinted, observing it closely. "How can a chicken be this big?" He looked again, shocked. "Wait, no. It's a person." Gao Xiaoliang was clinging tightly to the giant hen, his face streaked with tears as he screamed, "Damn it! How do I make this thing stop?" Inside the car, two men were stunned. The pink-haired man pressed his hand against the glass, curious. "Who is that?" "He's controlling a mutated creature." The other man replied, "Is it a special ability?" The blonde man with the scar over his eye shook his head. "No. It looks more like he's just hanging on." Gao Xiaoliang was still clinging to the chicken. His tears were streaming down when suddenly another giant creature appeared. It had glowing red eyes, sharp teeth, and a long tongue that hung down to the ground. It looked extremely dangerous as it lunged toward the mutant chicken. The chicken was thrashing about, trying to throw him off. It turned back and growled in annoyance at Gao Xiaoliang, clinging to it, then opened its beak as if to peg him. He looked at it and screamed, "I only sat on a few of your eggs." "What's the big deal?" You really think I wouldn't dare kill a chicken? With that, he leapt up and wrapped his arms tightly around the chicken's neck. He declared firmly, "Let me show you the professional quality of a chef." He squeezed hard. A loud, crisp crack of bone was heard from the chicken. It collapsed, but just then the snake-like scaly creature lunged forward and sank its teeth into the chicken. Blood sprayed everywhere. Gao Xiaoliang, not yet aware of the danger he was in, breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it's over. He sat on the chicken and looked around, wondering, but why am I still in the air? He realized he was on the snake's back. He'd mistaken it for a utility pole and mumbled, "Just my luck. I'm stuck on a utility pole." He jumped down and hugged the creature, casually squeezing it, surprised when it squirmed and moved. The snake lowered its head, looking at him with hungry eyes. Gao Xiaoliang froze in terror, as if struck by lightning. A mutant snake. He jumped back, shouting, "Big bro, snake, you just ate that huge chicken. You must be full, right? Please don't eat me, okay?" The snake, as if it didn't hear him, leaned in closer. Gao Xiaoliang fell silent, not knowing what to say, then turned and ran for his life, complaining as he went. Why is everything going wrong today? What kind of day is this anyway? The snake swung its tail, knocking Huokeishi's group's car away. The car crashed down from a great height with a loud bang. Inside, everyone's spirits lifted. The guy with the backward cap cheered, "Hey, we're saved." The middle-aged man nodded. The heavens were watching over us. The driver reported, "The car can still start." "Great, let's get out of here fast." But the blonde man with the scar over his eye objected, "We can't." The others spoke up at once. "If we don't go now, this car definitely won't survive a second attack when that snake comes back." The pink-haired man added, "That's right, Captain. We still have a lot of food in the car. If we lose it, we'll be court-martialed." Huokeishi was resolute. "That person lured the mutant snake away for us. If we abandon him and run now, what kind of soldiers would we be?" The people in the car fell silent, pondering Huokeishi's words. One of them spoke up. "The captain's right. Food isn't as important as a person's life. We can always find more if we lose it." Another person added, "Even though we're rookies, we've had professional training. Are we really going to run away when things get dangerous?" The driver slammed his foot on the gas and spun the steering wheel. "Hang in there, kid. We're on our way." The vehicle turned around. The whole group said in unison, "If it comes down to it, we'll risk our lives to fight it." At the chicken farm, Bai Fei jumped down from somewhere, landing as gently as a falling leaf. She glanced around, searching for something. Suddenly, 3 ferocious chickens charged at her. Bai Fei thought, "If I defeat them, Gao Xiaoliang will be so happy." She clapped her hands in excitement. "Oh!" Grabbing the fence, she lifted it high. She leaped up and, in the blink of an eye, used the fence to trap all the chickens. In the dense forest, the mutant snake was still frantically chasing Gao Xiaoliang. He was running for his life. He called out, "Lao Air, save me." The system flew alongside him and replied, "Host, I'd really like to help, but my functions are blocked and the props are unusable. There's nothing I can do." As it spoke, the snake bared its fangs and wrapped its tail around Gao Xiaoliang, making him uncomfortable. It opened its mouth, letting out a foul, hazy breath. "I smell it. My head's spinning." "Ugh, the smell is disgusting," he muttered. "Fine, passing out would hurt less." As the snake's mouth got closer, the stench grew so strong he almost collapsed. Suddenly, an ear-splitting crow rang out. He roared in anger. "Why is this damn chicken here again? It's so loud, I think my eardrums are going to burst." Bai Fifi appeared carrying a giant chicken tangled in some fencing. She leaped up and landed right on the mutated snake's head. The snake lost control and fell backward, sending the chicken flying to one side. It collapsed, its eyes spinning completely still. Qiao Xiaoliang was overjoyed, as if he was seeing plum blossoms bloom all around him. He called out, "Xiao Bai!" He grabbed her shoulders gleefully. "You came at the perfect time." I was almost knocked out by that smell. He continued seriously, "But in the future, I need to teach you the difference between work and play. Something like, today can't happen again." The system displayed, "Congratulations, host, for completing the mission." The snack stall leveled up. A blinding light flashed, forcing them both to cover their eyes. The reward, a large, fully equipped vehicle, appeared before the astonished Qiao Xiaoliang and Bai Fifi. He was ecstatic. It's an RV." He looked it over in awe. The neat layout, the modern equipment, a shiny, high-class toilet. He grabbed Bai Fifi's hand, raised it high, and jumped up and down. "Old too. You're finally generous for once. It's like upgrading from a BB gun to a cannon. We won't have to rough it anymore." The system replied, "I have always been generous." The system continued, "Previously, the host completed the hired help mission. There is also a special reward. A skill card appeared. Flashy entrance significantly increases combat power. Duration 3 minutes. Unlocks the primary weapon arsenal." Gao Xiaoliang curiously tapped on the arsenal to see what was inside. The system displayed 3 kitchen utensils, a cleaver, a spatula, and a slotted spoon. He was stunned. "How am I supposed to use these? What am I supposed to stir-fry zombies with these?" The system explained, "Do not underestimate them. They come with accompanying skills that upgrade with the host's abilities. User reviews are excellent." He cracked his knuckles, intrigued. "Really, I can't wait to find out. Let's try it out right now." In the dense forest, Qiao Xiaoliang gave a wicked smile as he looked at the mutated snake. "You ate my chicken. I'll use you to break in my new knife." The system interjected, "Host, please don't smile like such a creep." He snapped, "Cut the crap," then turned to Bai Fifi. "Yeah, bye, I want to play a game." He swung the cleaver towards the snake, yelling, "This time you can play all you want. Watch this." With lightning-fast slashes, he carved up the snake. As he chopped, he yelled, "Butcher's technique. Carve the snake, dislocate the tendon's final move, bone and flesh, separation." The snake meat fell into perfectly arranged piles. Bai Fifi gracefully leaped up to catch the meat, her expression blank. He looked at the cleaver in amazement. "Wow, this thing is incredible." The system added, "See, I told you so." A new mission notification popped up from the system. Use available ingredients to create 3 new snack dishes. Find customers to try them and receive 100 5-star reviews. Time limit none. However, if you receive a single bad review, all of the host's accumulated points will be erased. Zhao Xiaoliang yelled, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," erased. "Doesn't that mean all my work for the past few days will have been for nothing?" He argued with the system, "You're being ridiculous. Everyone has different tastes. Even if I were the best chef in the world, I couldn't please everybody." The system laughed. "Host, do not worry. With great challenges come great rewards." It whispered, "Let me tell you a little secret. If you complete this mission. Besides the standard reward, there's also an incredible surprise waiting for you." Zhao Xiaoliang was skeptical. "I suspect you're just bluffing, but I have no proof." He rested his chin in his hand, thinking. "No time limit. Okay, I can work with that. In this apocalypse with so many survivors scattered around, there's no way I can find enough customers in 1 or 2 days. I'll take this opportunity to relax a bit." The system shrieked in alarm. "Master, you have to do your best." "Giving up won't get you anywhere," he replied. "What do you know?" "A great master named Lu once said one must rest in order to work better." The system turned away and muttered, "For the record, I never said that." Zhao Xiaoliang put his hands on his hips. He admired the RV. "Seriously, this thing looks incredible on the outside. I wonder what it can do." He gave Bai Fifi a helpless look and added, "Mainly, I wonder if it's tough enough. If this one falls apart after a little bump like the last car, I don't think I can handle it." Despite his words, he climbed in. "Let's go, Xiaobai, I'll take you for a spin." Bai Fifi happily ran into the RV. Her eyes sparkled. The scene changes. A military vehicle was speeding down the road. A man with blonde hair asked, "Where did that snake run off to?" The driver replied, "We're heading in the right direction." "This is the only road? Maybe it went into the forest?" A man wearing a backward cap pointed and yelled, "Everyone look over there." The group got out of the vehicle, guns at the ready. In front of them was a large pile of bones, the blood still fresh. Someone knelt to examine it. "The blood is fresh. It must have been eaten recently." Another person surmised, "Could it be that guy?" A woman with pink hair added, "We were too late." Huo Jiji observed the scene and shook his head. "No, that's not right. A person's leg bones are the biggest and strongest in the body, but this bone is even larger. It's definitely not human." Someone else made a discovery and yelled out, "Captain, look, another pile of bones." The group began to murmur. One of them identified, "These are the bones of a mutated snake, and those look like bird bones." The bones were picked clean without a single scrap of flesh on them. It sent a chill down everyone's spine. One of them trembled. What could devour such a large mutated snake so cleanly in such a short amount of time? It's terrifying. The man stroked his chin. Even so. Thus, these bones aren't human. Maybe that person isn't dead after all. Huo Jiji stared at the bones deep in thought. This is clearly the site of an intense battle. Could he have possibly escaped on his own? Or is he somehow connected to the deaths of these mutants? The scene changes. Zhao Xiaoliang is driving the RV with Bai Fifi happily sticking her head out of the passenger seat window next to him. She whooped with delight. He laughed heartily. "This is the life every college student dreams of, and I got it before I turned 25. If I had a signal, I'd totally be posting this moment." He asked, "So Xiaobai, how's this pretty awesome, huh?" Bai Fifi nodded, her eyes sparkling. Suddenly he spotted a horde of zombies up ahead. "Huh, why do they look so familiar?" It turned out to be some old acquaintances. He grinned slyly. "Well, since fate brought us together. You can help me test out this new ride. I'm sure you won't mind, right?" He slammed on the accelerator and the vehicle shot forward, plowing straight into the horde of zombies. It sent them flying like fallen leaves. They hit the ground growling furiously as they scrambled to give chase. Zhao Xiaoliang commanded, "System Alt 2, turning off the rebound function. I want to test the car's explosion-proof capabilities." The system was pleased. As the car sped forward, Bai Feifei excitedly looked back at the zombies being sent flying. A horde of zombies surrounded the car, clawing at it. Gao Xiaoliang shouted, "Time to show off my real skills." He spun the steering wheel, swerving and sending zombies flying everywhere. Bai Feifei laughed brightly. "This is so fun." Inside the vehicle, the lights were bright. The bathroom was filled with hot steam and the scent of body wash. Gao Xiaoliang was happily showering, lathering shampoo into his hair. He sighed in contentment. "Since the apocalypse began, it's been ages since I've had a shower this comfortable. Hot water shampoo, body wash. This feels first class." Suddenly a dark shadow appeared behind the curtain. He pulled it aside but saw no one. He muttered, "Who? There's nothing there." He checked the other side of the curtain before continuing his shower. But he still felt uneasy. "Why do I feel like a pair of eyes is staring right at me?" The dark shadow appeared again. He yelled, "Stop sneaking around," and yanked the curtain open. Standing before him was Bai Fei. Startled, he used a towel to cover himself, below the waist, stammering, "Little Bai, when did you get in here?" Bai Fei moved closer, stammering, "Abba, Abba." Gao Xiaoliang panicked and yelled, "What are you doing?" "I'm taking a shower. Don't come over here." The system suddenly piped up, teasing him, "You can't figure this one out. She's craving your body." His heart leapt into his throat. He yelled, "Lao, are you some kind of pervert? Are you peeping on me while I shower?" The system retorted angrily, "Who's peeping? I'm working overtime out of responsibility for your body. If you're not going to praise me, don't you dare slander me." As Bai Fei moved even closer, Gao Xiaoliang blushed and thought to himself, "Even though little Bai is a zombie, she really is beautiful." He closed his eyes, telling himself, "Well, if there's no other way, I could reluctantly..." But then he waved his hands, shaking his head frantically. "No, I can't. This is basically doing it with a zombie. It's completely shameless." Bai Fei bared her pearly white teeth and chomped down on him. He stumbled back in panic. "I've been bitten. I'm infected." He checked the spot and was surprised to see he wasn't bleeding. Looking closer, he saw a blob of foam and sighed in relief. Phew! The body wash cushioned the bite, so she didn't break the skin. Bai Fei spat out the foam and turned to look at him with a terrifying smile. He bolted, and Bai Fei gave chase. He yelled to the system, "Lauer, what's going on? Why did little Bai suddenly lose control?" The system replied, "Didn't I tell you she's craving your body?" It explained a zombie's stomach is never full. They constantly need to eat to satisfy their hunger. What has she even eaten today with a big delicious piece of fresh meat, like you, right in front of her? Of course she'd lose control. He roared, "You could have been more specific that you meant craving literally." While running, he shouted, "Stop chasing me. I'll get you food." A table full of meat appeared. Bai Fei happily began to wolf it down. Gao Xiaoliang watched her, sighing in relief. "Good thing I had that snake meat. Otherwise, I have no idea how I would have satisfied her hunger." He rested his chin on his hand, worried. "I was lucky this time, but if I don't deal with this, little Bai is like a ticking time bomb. What if I'm sleeping one day and she eats me?" He asked the system, "Lauer, isn't there any way to keep me safe?" It replied simply, "Just feed her before she gets hungry." He sighed. "That's easier said than done." Suddenly his eyes lit up and he clapped his hands together. "That's it. I'll use that." Rummaging through a cabinet, he found a set of dentures and smiled slyly. The next day, the RV was ready for a new journey. Gao Xiaoliang was dressed smartly, dashingly handsome and confident, a total heartthrob. The vehicle sped along. Inside, Bai Fei happily admired herself in the mirror now, wearing braces. The system commented in awe, "I can't believe dentures turned out to be so useful." "Host, you're a true genius," he replied. "As long as I keep my wits about me, there are always more solutions than problems." He grinned. "Braces are the ultimate solution for zombies." The system nodded. "This is a major discovery. I will report it to my superiors." Suddenly, Gao Xiaoliang spotted a parked military vehicle. He got out to investigate. He opened the door, no one. He looked underneath the car. He was shocked. Why are there so many sharp spikes here? Gao Xiaoliang dusted off his hands and saw Bai Fei mimicking his actions. He concluded, "It seems someone deliberately set a trap to stop this vehicle." From the woods, a loud noise and birds scattering in panic. Gao Xiaoliang was startled and turned. "Gunshots!" Behind him, Bai Fei unleashed her power, growling. He raised a hand to calm her. "See, little Bai, easy now." He analyzed the sound. It sounds like a sniper rifle, all from the same gun. The two of them cautiously approached the source of the noise. Looking through his binoculars, Gao Xiaoliang saw a woman fighting. Bai Fei stared blankly, not understanding the situation. The woman who had cold purple eyes was aiming and firing at the zombies. Not a single miss. He murmured in admiration. "Her marksmanship isn't bad. Plus, she's a beauty. A shame she won't last long," he explained. "That kind of rifle only holds 10 rounds and reloading is slow. It's great for long-range combat, but once the enemy closes in, its weakness becomes obvious." He suddenly remembered being eaten by zombies in his past life due to that very same mistake. The woman kept firing, her ammunition dwindling. The zombies charged forward relentlessly. Gao Xiaoliang hesitated, wondering if he should help. He smacked himself on the head, scolding himself. "Lust is a blade over one's head. I just got tricked by Lord Qin. How could I forget so fast?" Seeing him do it, Bai Fei copied him and also smacked her head. The zombies were getting ferocious. With mouths agape and tongues lolling, the zombies closed in on her. She aimed confidently and pulled the trigger, but the gun only clicked. She froze, out of ammo. A zombie lunged forward, nearly biting her. Without hesitation, she dropped the rifle and drew a dagger from her back. Gao Xiaoliang was stunned. Whoa, she's that skilled with a blade. She jumped, slicing one zombie dead, then spun around and swiftly finished off 2 more. The bodies of slain zombies piled up at her feet. She held her dagger proudly like a war goddess. Then she walked away down to a river. Closing her eyes, she removed her outer shirt, revealing a seductive black bra and her stunning figure. Gao Xiaoliang's nose started bleeding profusely. He covered his eyes, muttering, "Mustn't look at improper things, mustn't look..." He thought to himself, a woman who can slaughter zombies that viciously. If she mistakes me for a pervert, she'll definitely tear me to pieces. He put away his binoculars and called to little Bai, "Let's go." But Bai Feifei, engrossed in admiring a purple butterfly, accidentally elbowed Gao Xiaoliang, causing him to lose his balance and tumble down the cliff. She, however, just innocently chased after the butterflies. Gao Xiaoliang rolled down the slope like a ball face-planting straight into the dirt. His body flipped over, sliding painfully. Furious, he jumped up and roared, "Xiao Bai, you!" Suddenly, he felt something strange on his head. "What is this?" When he pulled it down, he was stunned to realize it was a pair of white panties adorned with a small, pretty purple bow. It was so cute it made his nose bleed. Glancing to the side, he saw a few familiar articles of clothing strewn across the green grass. They clearly belonged to that woman. Flustered, Gao Xiaoliang's eyes darted around. He thought to himself, "It's just my luck my worst fears are coming true. I better run before she comes back." Just as he finished the thought, a cold blade was pressed against his neck, accompanied by an intense, murderous aura. The woman had appeared, her eyes sharp and cold. "There's still a fish that slipped through the net." Gao Xiaoliang's face went pale. Trembling, he turned to the girl and quickly raised both hands in surrender. He tried to explain. "I'm a human. If you don't believe me, you can check." But he forgot that his hand was still clutching the white panties. The girl trembled with anger, her eyes blazing. Realizing his mistake, he quickly threw the panties away and hurriedly explained, "Don't misunderstand. I'm not a bad person. I was just passing by. I didn't see anything." But his clumsy words only made her even more furious. When a man says he hasn't seen anything, it means he's already seen everything. Without hesitating, she swung her knife and screamed, "You pervert, go die!" Gao Xiaoliang quickly covered his head, screaming for help. From the cliff above, Xiaobai did a flip and shot down like a flash, launching a powerful kick at the other girl's back. But her opponent quickly blocked it with a knife. Clasping a piece of a scale in one hand, the girl looked up in astonishment. "You have help!" The two of them charged at each other, engaging in a fierce duel. They were evenly matched, which made the girl even more curious about Xiaobai. What's this girl's background? Every one of her slashes was sharp and precise, but Xiaobai was not one bit inferior, dodging with agile grace. Her face was still beaming with a smile, as if she were just playing a game, yet still determined to catch her opponent. Standing to the side, Gao Xiaoliang's eyes followed the two as they swayed back and forth. His nosebleed started flowing uncontrollably. The other girl noticed and yelled at him, "What are you looking at?" "Keep looking, and I'll gouge your eyes out." Taking the hint, he quickly wiped away the blood and mumbled, "Girls are so brutal when they fight. I should stay a little farther away to be safe." With that, he turned tail and ran off, shouting back, "Xiaobai, I'll be waiting for you in the car." In Xiaobai's eyes, her opponent's full, soft breasts looked like two giant melons, making her crave them, and like a curious child with a new toy, she lunged forward. Startled by the sudden touch, the other girl shrieked in panic, "Aren't you a girl? Why are you acting like such a perv?" Just then, a bullet suddenly ripped through the air, forcing them both to jump apart and dodge. A bizarrely dressed man with slick back hair stepped forward, casually retreating, even while facing the zombie horde. As expected of Gu Yue, one of the henchmen drooled, his eyes greedily scanning her. "Boss, he really knows how to pick 'em. Tisk, tisk, tisk. What a smoking hot body." The girl shot the man a disgusted look, bluntly accusing him. "Hey, Jian, what are you doing here? I was wondering who was messing with me on the road, so it was you guys. And that horde of zombies. You led them here on purpose." "Am I right?" Jian didn't even bother to deny it, just smirked. "That's right. When you rejected me, you never thought this day would come, did you?" His eyes flashed with a cold red glint. "If you had just been obedient and handed the bays over to me, I might have kept you around to live a life of luxury. But since you decided to disrespect me, then don't blame me for being impolite." At Hejian's command, his men simultaneously drew their guns and aimed them straight at the girl. "Light her up!" he roared. The girl flinched, her eyes flashing with horror as a volley of bullets ripped through the air toward her. With only 2 pieces of fabric for cover, she was forced to scramble and defend herself as the men fired relentlessly. Every bullet was aimed perfectly, but with her swift movements, she did a flip, skillfully weaving on her bare feet as she slipped into the dense jungle. A girl with garish makeup yelled, "She's getting away!" Hiyan remained unperturbed, a sinister smile playing on his lips. "There's no way out over there. She can't escape." He sneered, his voice dripping with cunning. But letting her die so easily would be too good for her. His voice boomed as he yelled, "Take her alive!" His men immediately fanned out with their guns, giving chase. Suddenly, one of them stopped and turned back to report, "Boss, there's another woman over here." Xiaobai was looking around helplessly, a dazed look on her face, as if she had no idea where to go. "She doesn't look very smart. You think she's got something wrong with her head?" A man bundled up in clothes beside him whispered, "What's the plan? Should we go get her?" Higien's eyes were cold and merciless. "We've got so many guys here. Of course we have to share the spoils. Just wait a little while. After I'm done playing, I'll give this one to you as a reward." The henchmen immediately roared with cheers. "Thank you, boss. Long live the boss." Sick. 3 of them now surrounded Xiaobai, their eyes filled with greed. Her beautiful face remained innocent, unaware of what was happening. This only stoked the evil intentions of 2 of the men, who grinned lewdly. "That innocent look? Just my type." One of them crept up behind Xiaobai. He cooed in a sickly sweet voice, "Hey there, beautiful. Don't be afraid. Big bro's going to take real good care of you." But the instant his hand touched her, Xiaobai smoothly turned and snapped his wrist with a clean break. The unfortunate thug shrieked in agony, "My hand!" as he stumbled backward. The other two immediately drew their guns, yelling, "You bitch! You dare make a move! You tired of living!" Just then, the screech of tires echoed as a truck barreled forward. Its front bumper slammed right into the two men with a deadly impact, sending them and their guns flying. Gao Xiaoliang leaned out of the truck, stuck up a defiant middle finger, and yelled, "You goddamn bastards! You dare to touch Xiaobai. You're the ones who want to die." Seeing him, a radiant smile spread across Xiaobai's face as she jumped onto the truck's roof, holding a strange object in her hand. Gao Xiaoliang, still oblivious, looked up and asked with concern, "Xiaobai, are you all right?" She hung upside down, showing it off, making him scream, "Where did you get a human hand? Throw it away now." From deep within the forest, the rustling of leaves echoed, signaling someone's movement. The girl from before, drenched in a cold sweat, forced herself to keep running along the path, but just as Hak Kian had said, the end of the road was a bottomless chasm, impossible to cross. The girl whispered in a trembling voice, "It's bad. It's a dead end." Two Hak Kian and his lackeys had caught up right behind her. He roared triumphantly, "Don't bother with a useless struggle anymore. You can't escape." A woman 5'5" swung her weapon fiercely at her, forcing her to fight back with only one hand. Her opponent skillfully tripped her, sending her tumbling to the ground. A cold gun barrel was pointed straight at her beautiful, now completely helpless face. Hak Kian bared his teeth in a sharp, mocking grin. "See, this is how useless women are. Hesitating and getting scared like this over a single piece of cloth to cover yourself." The girl gritted her teeth and screamed in anger, "You truly are despicable." Hak Kian's lips curled into an even wider, arrogant smirk. "I haven't been despicable for just a day or two. Are you only just figuring that out now?" He roughly grabbed her hair and pulled it hard. "What I hate most is that high and mighty, untouchable goddess act of yours." He whispered in her ear, his tone sickeningly perverse. "Today, I'll show you what true depravity is." With one hand still gripping her tightly, he forced her towards his crotch. "I'll enjoy myself first, then I'll tie you to the front of the truck and drive back to base, so everyone can get a good look at just how slutty their goddess really is." The girl's face contorted, her eyes blazing with indignation. "This bastard!" Just then, Chao Tiolong's truck suddenly rushed forward, appearing before them. Tiubak leaped from the roof of the truck, swift as a tornado, landing straight on Hak Kian. This sent him tumbling to the ground. Out of habit, she grabbed him and mercilessly tore his clothes to shreds. Hak Kian panicked and screamed, "Where did this crazy woman come from? Somebody help me!" The two other girls stared in shock, exclaiming, "Boss, boss!" Two massive trucks sped past, blocking their path. Chao Tiolong expertly maneuvered the wheel. He spun the truck around in a screech. The car door slowly opened to reveal her still looking dazed. The man in the driver's seat pointed inside and said curtly, "Get in." Startled, the girl reflexively replied, "Huh? Okay." Before leaving, she quickly snatched the gun from the ground. Hak Kian was still pinned flat by Xiaobai, leaving her free to act. She looked down at him, her voice cold. "You wanted to get comfortable, right? Then I'll help you." A bullet fired from the gun aimed straight at his groin. "Let's make you as comfortable as possible." The bullet went wide, only piercing the dirt, but it was enough to make Hutch care. The girl clutched the scrap of fabric to her. To be scared enough to piss your pants over something so small. With that, she turned and got into the truck. Gao Xiaoliang called out loudly, "Xiaobai, you get in too." Xiaobai leaped, landing softly on the wooden floor of the truck bed. The vehicle immediately roared to life, shooting forward like an arrow. The two men, snapping out of their stupor, began to roar in fury. "Son of a bitch! You dare mess with me, fire." His underlings immediately opened fire. Bullets rained down, hitting the grass and trees on either side of the truck. But even with a clear shot, the rounds only slammed into the system's solid protective shield. The bullets ricocheted back. A blinding light flashed from the shield, making the men clutch their heads in panic. Why are the bullets being shot back at us? In the midst of the chaos, the truck escaped. Gliding smoothly down a quiet road, Gao Xiaoliang called out from the driver's seat, "There are no women's clothes on the truck. There are some of my things in the drawer you can change into. But they're a little torn. If you don't mind, you can wear them." The girl glanced at the wooden cabinet beside her and replied, "Well, then I won't be shy." She casually pulled out a dark-colored shirt and mumbled, "I guess this will have to do." Looking at the strange tear on the shirt, she suddenly exclaimed, "That really is a weird tear." Without hesitating, she tore another piece of fabric from the cabinet, then buttoned up the shirt bit by bit to cover part of her body. Once she was decent, she pulled back the curtain and stepped out, her scorching hot figure practically burning the eyes. Gao Xiaoliang glanced back and was startled. "Whoa, you're wearing a shirt like that?" "A figure like that is enough to tempt a man to sin." The girl smiled and walked closer, her voice full of gratitude. "Thank you for the clothes." But suddenly a cold, sharp blade was pressed against Gao Xiaoliang's neck, causing his face to darken. The girl whispered threateningly, "Now if you don't want to die, do as I say. Pull over to the side of the road." Before this, she had carefully observed that Xiaobai was busy playing with a pile of fabric. She paid him no mind, a sinister smile on her face. "If you shout, 'Who do you think is faster, my knife or her?'" But Gao Xiaoliang's jaw dropped as if he wanted to scream. Why is it like this again? Is there no one normal left in this world? Has everyone's humanity become twisted? Their morals completely decayed? He silently begged the system in his mind, System 2, eject her, but the system replied in a helpless tone, Host, that is not possible. Because the other party was personally invited into the vehicle by you, the protection program has defaulted her to a VIP guest. The system's props will not harm a VIP guest. He screamed in despair. What kind of rule is that? The girl behind him heard something and asked suspiciously, Who are you talking to? Trembling Gao Xiaoliang quickly replied, No one. No one, beautiful, just calm down. I'll do whatever you say, okay? The truck swerved and pulled over to the side of the road. As he drove, Gao Xiaoliang cried, internally vowing to himself, Gao Xiaoliang, I swear, if I ever meddle in other people's business again, I'm a dog. The girl, now sitting comfortably in the passenger seat, still held the cold, sharp knife to his neck. In a frigid voice, she said, Drive. Why did you save me? Chao Tiolong replied, his eyes welling up. If I told you I was a good person, would you just let me go? The girl pressed the blade closer, her eyes sharp. You must have heard the saying in the apocalypse, you kill the saints first. He panicked and quickly denied it. A good person, who's a good person? In any case, it's not on me. Chao Tiolong coughed a few times, composing himself, and explained seriously. All right. Actually, I'm an apocalyptic chef. I saw how well you fight. You must have quite a few crystal cores on hand. So I want you to become my customer. The girl froze, muttering, an apocalyptic chef. But then it started to click. She glanced at the back of the vehicle. No wonder. There's a whole kitchen set up back there with so much cooking gear. She nodded. This is actually great timing. All the previous chefs are dead. Just when the damn chef at our base ate a poisonous mushroom and died. Stroking her chin, the girl considered his proposal. If what you're saying is true, I can consider making arrangements for you. Hearing what he'd hoped for, Chao Tiolong's eyes lit up. He leaned in and asked immediately, How many people are in your base? Is it 100 people or... The girl gave a proud smile, her tone full of disdain. Who are you looking down on? Our steel mill is the largest base within 100 miles. We have at least 300 people. He clenched his fists, overwhelmed with excitement. This is amazing. I can't believe I found 100 customers so quickly. Even if only 1/3 of them give a good review, completing the mission is a sure thing. He began to daydream about grand prospects, a satisfied smile on his face. It's true that good people get rewarded. But the girl's face suddenly turned serious, her voice suspicious. But this could all be a front. Maybe you just stole this vehicle. Why should I trust you? Just then, her stomach growled with hunger, making her blush in embarrassment. She blurted out, Unless you make me something to try. If it's good, then that will prove you're really a chef. Cao Tiolong looked at her, immediately seeing through her facade. This woman is clearly starving, but is trying to save face. He nodded, rolling up his sleeves aggressively. Fine. Let me show you a little taste of my craft. The girl was seated in a waiting area while he enthusiastically entered the kitchen, ready to show off his skills. Chao Tiolong quickly swiped through the screen. He was looking at the dishes for reference, but he suddenly scratched his head in confusion. It's develop a new dish, so I can't make anything on the menu. Worried, he muttered, egg tarts takoyaki. I've already made all of these. Cao Tiolong, flustered with his plan, thought to himself, I'm just an ordinary student. I only know how to make a few things like this. I'm not really a talented chef. Suddenly, a shadow darted behind him like lightning. Startled, he jumped and swung the kitchen knife, shouting, Oh my god, a mutant snake. How did it get in here? But then Tubak emerged from the snake skin and even let out a little boo to scare him. Chao Tiolong stared at the skin in surprise. He suddenly remembered, that's right. Earlier I saw Tubak's pants were torn, so I grabbed a piece of cloth to wrap her in. Turns out, it was the skin of that snake. She seemed to be having fun playing with the skin. He sat down, gently stroking her head, and said softly, Sorry, I forgot. I remember there's a needle and thread in the drawer. Let me help you. Patch it up. Outside, the other girl was growing impatient, muttering in anger. What kind of chef takes this long to make one dish? The customer is about to starve to death. Suspecting he was a fraud, she stormed down the steps, determined to confront Chao Tiolong. Meanwhile, he was meticulously threading a needle with skilled hands. The thin thread passed through the eye of the needle, his hands moving deftly. Soon enough, he had finished a pair of boots for Tubak. All right, he put the boots on for her. Tubak looked down at her feet with interest. She kicked her feet a few times and cheered happily. This isn't a problem anymore. The other girl's voice suddenly rang out, full of surprise. I didn't realize you could mend clothes. Chao Tiolong smiled brightly and waved his hand modestly. It's nothing. When I was little, my dad didn't have time to take care of me, and my mom was busy with work. I was raised by my maternal grandmother in the countryside. I just watched her and learned. Recalling these old memories, he smiled happily. If my grandma were still alive, she'd be over 100 years old by now. With her fighting spirit, anyone who crossed her would be in for some bad luck. The girl chuckled and nodded in agreement. People often say that children raised by their grandparents are very blessed to be loved by so many. It really makes others envious. Chao Tiolong pouted in dissatisfaction. Every time I caused trouble, I had to eat a double portion of bamboo shoots stir-fried with pork. You want that kind of blessing? Unexpectedly, the girl replied frankly, her voice low and sad. My brother and I are orphans. We grew up in an orphanage. We never met our parents. If I could, I would really want that. Cao Tiolong was stunned, his face frozen in surprise. Then, feeling guilty, he turned away. The girl immediately brought the conversation back to the main point, her voice serious. Don't get all sentimental on me. When is the food going to be ready? Cao Tiolong quickly replied, a bit flustered. You were the one who asked. The girl suddenly sneezed from the cold. Quickly, he took a warm snakeskin and draped it over her. Here, put this on. He stood up and advised her with a sincere voice. You're wearing so little, and you were just out there fighting. It'd be a miracle if you didn't catch a cold. After some idle chat, a cooking idea suddenly flashed in his mind. I've got it. I want to make this. Before long, he placed a pot of food on the table. The girl looked curiously at the strange, shimmering golden dish. Is this porridge? It doesn't really look like it. Cao Tioluang smiled warmly and explained, This bowl isn't porridge, it's snake soup. The girl jumped, exclaiming in horror, Snake! She glanced at the snakeskin draped over him and suddenly understood his suspicious look. Could it be... She questioned, her voice full of caution. The meat from that mutated snake, isn't it infected? Eat it. Of course you can. He confidently puffed out his chest, guaranteeing, Don't worry, the infected tissues of the mutated snake have been removed. It's completely safe to eat. Even so, her heart was still filled with doubt. Can you really eat this stuff? Cao Tiolong leaned and closed, his eyes twinkling provocatively. What's wrong? You scared? Then he picked up the bowl of soup, pretending he was about to take it away. All right, then don't blame me. My cooking skills speak for themselves. It's just you who's too scared to eat it. He called out loudly, Xiaobai, come here, time to eat. Gewabai was nearby. Seeing the food, it broke into a goofy grin and rushed right over. But the girl suddenly snatched the bowl back, her voice firm. Who says I don't dare? Then trembling, she took the spoon, scooped up a mouthful of soup, and brought it to her lips. Instantly, her expression softened, filled with satisfaction. The hot, tender snake meat melted in her mouth. It made her question her own thoughts. It's just a mutated snake, right? I'm not even afraid of live snakes, let alone a dead one. Mustering all her courage, she put the whole spoonful in her mouth, determined not to be looked down on. A sensation like an electric current shot through her head. It startled her. A soft, smooth, and sweet flavor exploded in her mouth. This texture, it's so tender, like jelly. She blushed and murmured, completely captivated. So soft and smooth, fresh and sweet. A single bite fills my mouth with flavor. My tongue feels like it's being wrapped in silk. It made her imagine relaxing in a warm milk bath. A blissful smile spread across her face. This is bliss. But suddenly she froze, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Wait, underneath it feels like there's something there. The imaginary milk bath in her mind suddenly began to stir, as if it contained a potent life force that stimulated her body. A hazy white mist swirled around, making the scene even more mysterious. The surface of the water grew warmer. Suddenly an egg from an unknown source cracked open, and from within, countless tiny snake tails shaped like Cao Tioluang burst out, wriggling with life. The girl, horrified, tried to cover herself, but Cao Tioluang rushed forward, doing something unexpected that stunned her. Countless snakes shaped like him bit into her body all at once. Her face flushed beet red as a miraculous sensation washed over her. What is this incredible feeling? It was a tingling ache, yet searingly hot. Every pore felt like it was opening up. The chill vanished, and her entire body felt like it was about to melt. She leaned back, panting heavily, and cried out, No, no more. I can't take it anymore. Returning to reality, her legs were trembling. The snakeskin cloak slipped off without her noticing. She struggled to her feet, panting after the intense wave of pleasure. Cao Tiolong stood beside her and asked with concern, What's wrong? Are you feeling any warmer now? The girl looked down at her hands, shocked to realize that the chill she'd felt earlier was completely gone. Though she was covered in sweat, she didn't feel exhausted. On the contrary, she was brimming with strength. She shot to her feet, asking in disbelief, Is this really snake meat? How can it be so magical? Cao Tiolong smiled and explained, Snake meat has always been very nourishing. It doesn't just replenish your energy and blood flow or strengthen your bones, it can also expel cold and restore your stamina. He took out a small glass jar, his voice low and excited. But the snake meat is just a secondary ingredient. The real soul of the dish is this. The girl watched his hand curiously. He sprinkled a few grains on Xiaobai's head, making it sneeze. Without hiding anything, he said frankly, It's fresh ginger and peppercorns. A large question mark appeared in the girl's mind. Peppercorns, he continued enthusiastically. When I was a kid, every time I caught a cold, my grandma would force me to drink a whole bowl of hot, spicy soup. I'd feel better right after drinking it. It was more effective than medicine, all thanks to the peppercorns. The girl smiled, faintly, secretly pleased. I never thought this naive-looking kid would know so much. Cao Tiolong took out a tablet and said, So, do you believe I'm a chef now? If you're satisfied, why not leave a good review? The screen displayed 5 rating levels with corresponding stars. The girl decisively tapped the screen, giving him his first 5-star review. She was more open now, but still reminded him, I acknowledge your skill, but being the base's chef isn't that simple. You don't just have to know how to cook. You also have to be able to feed hundreds of people at once. For now, we'll just say you've passed the preliminary screening. Whether you're hired or not will depend on you coming back with me for further evaluation. Hearing this, anger flared up inside Cao Tioluang. He muttered, Unbelievable. They're looking for a chef, but the process is like hiring for a major corporation. Just to get a meal, I have to pass a screening and then an interview. This is more exploitative than capitalism. Cao Tiolong took a deep breath, telling himself, I'll endure this for the mission. He continued driving towards a massive base, a place where structures and pipes intertwined and connected. Guyue looked through the window, pointing inside. That's my base. Cao Tiolong drove on, exclaiming in awe, wow, those walls are so high. They were cruising along a highway that was once the largest steel factory. Towering reinforced concrete walls stood in a strategic location, easy to defend and hard to attack. Guyue gazed pensively at the scenery outside and slowly began to speak. We survivors, we've wandered through so many places before we finally found this place to settle down. Her words, however, sparked Cao Tiolong's curiosity. This really is an amazing shelter. No wonder those other guys keep trying to fight her for this territory. Speaking of which, a flash of anger appeared in Kong Wet's eyes. That bastard Hash Kien. At first I felt sorry for him when I saw him cornered by a horde of zombies, so I let him stay. Who knew he'd turn out to be such disgusting scum? She recounted the unpleasant events through gritted teeth. He harassed me constantly and even spread rumors that I liked him. That bastard Hachkian went even further. He secretly brought his cronies in from outside, planning to take over the entire base. Luckily, the patrol team discovered it in time. She held her head and sighed. I really regret just chasing him away back then instead of killing him. Suddenly, she pulled out a dagger and held it to Cao Tiolong's throat. Her voice was cold, but falling once is a lesson learned. If you dare act like him. He turned pale with fear and quickly tried to explain himself. Don't worry. I'd rather like a zombie than like you. At that moment, the base's gate was still shut tight and silent. Two girls on the wall aimed their guns down and shouted, "Stop the vehicle!" Kong Nguyet stepped out of the driver's cabin and waved at them. The two girls immediately cheered with joy. It's Sister Nguyet. Open the gate. Sister Nguyet is back. The base gate slowly opened, revealing a built-in entrance. Cao Tiolong's truck rolled in. As soon as Kong Nguyet stepped down, a crowd of people rushed over to ask, "Sister Nguyet, why did you change vehicles? We didn't recognize you just now." One person frowned, looking at her torn clothes. With a hostile voice, they pointed their gun at Cao Tiolong. What happened to your clothes? Hey you, are you the one who did this to Sister Nguyet? He quickly raised both hands to defend himself. You can eat the wrong thing, but you can't just say things like that. If it weren't for me, she wouldn't have any clothes on at all. Kong Nguyet quickly pinched Cao Tiolong's mouth shut and yelled, "Shut up!" Calming herself, she turned to the two girls and explained, "It has nothing to do with him." On the way back, I was ambushed by Hachkian's group. Although I managed to shake them off, I couldn't bring back the vehicle or the supplies. After hearing this, the two girls exclaimed angrily, "Hachkian, it's that bastard again!" If Sister Nguyet hadn't saved his life, he would have been eaten by zombies long ago. One of them gritted her teeth. That ungrateful traitor! Don't let me see him or I'll blow his head off. Their attention suddenly shifted to Cao Tiolong and Tiobak. Sister Nguyet, who are they? Kong Nguyet smiled cheerfully and introduced them. These two are the new cooks I just hired. We've been eating nothing but biscuits lately. I know it's been tough on everyone. Today we're going to have a better meal. Something hot. She continued enthusiastically. I remember we caught a wild boar before, but ever since the last cook died, no one knew how to cook it, so it's still in the storage. Where's old Lu? Tell him to bring that meat out. She waved Cao Tiolong over. Whip up a few tasty dishes. This is also a test of your skills. He pouted and muttered, I haven't even had a sip of water, and you're already putting me to work. You're a real slave driver, you know that. The two girls hesitated, looking uneasy. About that, old Lu was called away by Brother Than. Ko Nguyet was surprised to hear that name. Ko Tan. The scene shifts to the base's warehouse, a place few people visited. A piece of meat was thrown mercilessly onto the ground. A girl with a disgusted look on her face yelled, What is this? It's dirty and it smells weird. There's no way. I'm eating it. Ko Tan walked over and comforted her. Hong Hong, don't be angry. Don't worry. How could I let you eat something like this? Two other young men turned to yell at a middle-aged man. Old Lu, are you deaf? Brother Than said to get the most nutritious food and you bring us this garbage. Old Lu hurriedly explained, This isn't garbage, it's wild boar meat. But it's very high in nutritional value, Ko Tan retorted impatiently. Stop trying to fool us. This thing is just a dark lump. What's so nutritious about it? He turned and walked straight towards the warehouse. You don't understand plain language, do you, fine? I'll go find it myself. Old Lu reached out to stop him, his voice worried. Mr. Ko, please don't make things difficult for me. The warehouse is a critical area of the base. Unless we have Miss Ko's order. No one else can just enter as they please. The two young men immediately rushed forward and grabbed him. Brother Than is Sister Nguet's biological brother. How can you call him someone else? And you're just the key keeper. Don't abuse your minor authority. Ko Tan roared in anger. That's right, my word is my sister's word. Let me in now. Or else I'll make you regret it. Just then, a cold, angry voice rang out. Ko Tan, what do you think you're doing? Ko Nguyet walked over with the two girls, her face stern. Seeing his sister Ko Tan, who was still restraining the man, quickly put on an expression of immense joy. Sister, you're back. But Ko Nguyet wasn't letting it go that easily. She questioned him. You still haven't answered my question. Aren't you all supposed to be out looking for supplies right now? Why are you back at the base? And what are you doing trying to get into the warehouse? Ko Tan scratched his chin, avoiding her gaze. We ran into an unexpected situation, so we came back early. He pointed at old Lu. He tattled, "Sister, I told him to open the warehouse to get some food, and he brought out this garbage to trick me. He clearly has no respect for you." Old Lou quickly tried to clarify. "Miss Ko, it's not like that. It was Mr. Ko. He..." Ko Nguyet raised her hand, signaling for him to stop. She looked down at the piece of wild boar meat thrown on the ground, her gaze growing cold, exuding the authority of a leader. "Pick it up," she ordered, her voice firm. Ko Than looked bewildered, not understanding. "What?" Ko Nguyet glared at him and repeated, "I said pick it up." Seeing him still hesitate, her voice turned severe. "To bring that wild boar back to the base." 3 people were injured. The most seriously injured one still can't get out of bed. Her sharp words made everyone lower their heads, not daring to look up. "Every single grain of food, every drop of water in this base, model. Everyone risked their lives for this food. Who gave you permission to waste it like that?" Gu Chen clenched his fists, a sad look on his face as he silently picked up the piece of meat. Cao Xiaoliang, standing to the side, observed silently, sizing up this woman. When she's serious, she really gives off the aura of a leader, a complete change from her gentle demeanor earlier. He glanced at Gu Cheng and muttered, "But that younger brother of hers..." The gap between these 2 siblings is just too wide. Hong Hong peeked out from behind Gu Cheng to take the blame. "Sister Gu Yue, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Please don't blame Ah Cheng." Gu Yue's cold eyes immediately fixed on the girl. Hong Hong put on a weak facade, quickly hiding behind Gu Cheng for protection. Gu Yue frowned and asked, "Who are you?" Annoyed, Gu Yue turned to her brother and yelled, "Who is she?" The girl behind Gu Cheng spoke up timidly. Seeing this Ah Cheng, Gu Keng gallantly shielded the girl, saying, "Sis, Hong Hong is timid, don't scare her." Hearing this, Gu Yue was bewildered, thinking, "I haven't done anything to her. How could I possibly have scared her?" Seeing her clueless brother, Gu Yue helplessly crossed her arms and said, "So it seems she's the unexpected situation that made you all return early." Hearing this, Gu Cheng turned to look at Yin Hong. He said, "Her name is Yin Hong. We ran into her while we were out looking for supplies." At that moment, Yin Hong was cowering in a corner, covering her face in fear. She was hiding all alone in a small empty supermarket with swarms of zombies surrounding it. Gu Cheng looked at the sobbing Yin Hong behind him and continued, "By the time we got her out, she hadn't eaten in several days. It was really pitiful, so I brought her back." After hearing that, Chao Xiaoliang was startled. "Starving for several days, you say?" Then he perked up. As the saying goes, hunger is the best sauce. A 5-star rating with practically 0 difficulty. This is my favorite kind of customer. Hearing this, Gu Yue roared in anger. "Have you forgotten the rules of this base? How could you just bring a complete stranger back here?" Gu Cheng didn't back down, retorting, "Hong Hong is not some stranger with no background." Gu Cheng hurriedly explained Yin Hong's background. Her father is the richest man in the city. Her mother is a famous pianist. She's a true blue-blooded lady, Gu Cheng said excitedly to Gu Yue. "Sis, I know you're still traumatized by what happened with He Jian, but Hong Hong is not like him. She's the purest, kindest girl I've ever met. I couldn't just leave her to die." Hearing this, Gu Yue clicked her tongue in annoyance. The 2 who had earlier and opened the door for Gu Yue spoke up indignantly. "Ah Cheng, how can you say that? Taking in He Jian wasn't just Sister Yue's decision. We can only blame that bastard for being such a good actor that he fooled all of us. Besides, just because He Jian was a bad guy, does that automatically make her a good one? Pure and kind isn't written on her face, you know." Hearing this, Gu Cheng's followers stood up and shot back defensively. "Don't judge a noble heart by your own petty standards. She's a rich young lady who's fallen on hard times. That's pitiful enough as it is. Can't you people show a little compassion?" The other 2 girls didn't hold back in their reply. "So being rich automatically makes her a good person. The rich are often cruel. Ever heard that saying? I think you're the ones who are so smitten by her pretty face that you won't even listen to Sister Yue anymore." Hearing this, Chao Xiaoliang was completely baffled. He wondered, what's going on here? How did they start arguing? But then it was as if he realized something. Cao Xiaoliang cheered up. "But the more they argue, the hungrier they'll get. That means my mission is almost complete." Seeing their argument grow more heated, Chao Xiaoliang and Xiaobai happily cheered them on from the sidelines. "Keep going. Don't stop. Keep it up. Don't stop." Hearing this, Gu Cheng yelled in annoyance, "What's all the racket?" He then noticed the 2 of them and asked, "Who are these 2? I've never seen them before." Gu Yue rubbed her temples helplessly and said, "They're the new chefs I hired from outside." Hearing his sister's reply, Gu Cheng looked like she'd hit a nerve. He immediately roared, "You won't let me rescue and bring back Hong Hong. But you can just bring back random people yourself, sis. How can you have such a double standard?" Then he angrily turned and pointed at Chao Yaoliang and his companion, shouting, "Besides, look at them. They don't look like proper chefs at all. I'm sure they're just con artists like He Jian was." The moment he finished speaking, Gu Cheng ordered his men, "Get them out of here." His followers immediately advanced on Chao Xiaoliang and Xiaobai, barking, "You hear him? Now get the hell out." Hearing their aggressive shouts, an enraged Xiaobai rushed forward. With a single punch and a kick, she sent them sprawling to the ground, crying out in pain. My arm, it hurt so much." Seeing Xiaobai leap so nimbly to his defense, Chao Xiaoliang said cheerfully, "Xiaobai, let them go. We can't afford to be at a loss with our customers now, can we?" The 2 of them began to whisper, "If you're going to hit them, aim for the legs. If their arms are broken, how are they supposed to eat? Xiao Xiaoliang then gently approached Gu Cheng's two men. He said in a soft voice, "So sorry about that. My employee has a bit of a short fuse. As a token of my apology, you two can receive one free side dish when you dine at our establishment. Please be sure to give us a good review, okay?" The two fallen men clutched their shoulders in annoyance and said, "What, you beat us up and now you want a good review? Are you out of your mind?" The treacherous Jian Hong stood behind Gu Cheng, who completely unaware pulled out his gun and threatened them. "You still dare to make a move? So you two really aren't good people after all." Seeing that things were going south, Gu Yue rushed towards Gu Cheng, who had his gun aimed at Gao Xiaoliang. She yelled loudly, "Gu Cheng, stop!" A gunshot rang out, killing Gao Xiaoliang. Everyone who saw this was horrified. Gao Xiaoliang fell lying still in the courtyard. Seeing Gao Xiaoliang dead, Xiaobai went berserk, roared, and charged at Gu Cheng. Quick as the wind, she kicked the gun out of his hand. Startled by the scene before him, Gu Cheng panicked and screamed, "What the hell is this thing?" Then a series of relentless punches rained down on Gu Cheng, forcing him back in pain. "Please spare me. Stop hitting me." Xiaobai roared and lunged straight for Gu Cheng. She bit down hard on his arm, making him scream in pain. Seeing no way to escape, Gu Cheng turned to the two girls and begged for help. "Are you two blind? Can't you see I'm being attacked? Hurry up and shoot her, kill her." Seeing Gu Cheng like this, the two girls remembered his earlier attitude and simply ignored him. Seeing the situation was bad, Jian Hong approached the two guys who were beaten by Xiaobai earlier and pleaded, "You two hurry up and help him." Hearing this, the two young men replied in fear, No way. That girl is a really good fighter. We're no match for her. My arm is already broken from her attack." Hearing this, Jian Hong clicked her tongue in frustration and muttered to herself, "Ugh, so useless." Meanwhile, Xiaobai, her eyes bloodshot, was still frantically biting Gu Cheng's arm. Feeling like he couldn't take it anymore, Gu Cheng reached out to his sister, begging for help. "Sis, help me, this crazy woman is trying to bite me to death." But Gu Yue ignored his pleas, turned sharply, and walked away. Gu Cheng cried out in panic, sis, don't go." Gu Yuke sadly walked over to Gao Xiaoliang's body. She gently closed his eyes and said mournfully, "I'm sorry. If I had known this would happen, I never would have brought you back with us. I never thought it would get you killed." Just as Gu Yue finished speaking, Gao Xiaoliang's eyes flew open, and he sat up, startling her. She screamed, "Oh my god!" Gao Xiaoliang stood up. He calmly stretched his body to relieve the stiffness. Everyone was stunned and shocked to see this, seeing Gao Xiaoliang awake. Xiaobai, as if this was normal, turned around cheerfully. Then she jumped up and rushed straight towards Gao Xiaoliang. He opened his arms to catch her. "Silly girl, don't worry. Did you really think your boss here would die so easily?" As soon as he finished speaking, Gao Xiaoliang shot a razor-sharp glare at Gu Cheng, causing him to panic, his mouth agape as he stammered, "No, this can't be. How could you not be dead?" Ignoring Gu Cheng's confusion, Gao Xiaoliang angrily grabbed him by the collar, raised his fist and cursed, "You bastard! You shot without saying a single word." Then he fiercely punched Gu Cheng in the face. If I hadn't reacted so quickly, this handsome face of mine would have been ruined. A moment before Gu Cheng fired that shot, Gao Xiaoliang had quickly summoned the system. Damn it, Lauer used the show-off skill card. Around Gao Xiaoliang, a great stream of light appeared surrounding him and granting him super speed. And in that life-or-death moment, Gao Xiaoliang successfully dodged the bullet. So this is what super speed enhancement feels like. Everything around me has slowed down. I can clearly predict everyone's next move. It's like an Olympic champion racing against an old person. Man, showing off feels so good. Seeing Gao Xiaoliang so pleased with his own ability, the system explained disdainfully, "Show off skill card usage complete. Total usage time, 3.38 seconds. Time remaining 2 minutes 56.62 seconds. Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang thought with annoyance, "It even calculates the decimals, so damn stingy." Seeing Gao Xiaoliang suddenly come back to life, Gu Yue asked doubtfully, "Are you really okay?" Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang crossed his arms and explained, "Physically, I'm fine. But my spirit has been seriously wounded. I haven't even gotten paid yet, and I've already taken a bullet. Looks like I'll have to reconsider whether I should stay or not." Seeing all this, Gu Cheng roared in anger, "Sis, you can't let them stay. Can't you see there's something seriously wrong with these two? That shot just now. I know I hit him. How could he be completely unharmed? And this woman too. She gives off a strange vibe. Her face is pale as a ghost. She doesn't say a word, and she bites people. The two of them are definitely not normal people." After hearing this, Gu Yue turned doubtfully to Gao Xiaoliang and said, "Could it be?" Hearing her question, Gao Xiaoliang thought worriedly, "Oh no, oh." The other two girls standing behind them chimed in with surprise. "You two are?" Gao Xiaoliang panicked. They couldn't have figured out that Xiaobai is at this moment, all three of them, Gu Yue included, said in unison, "Ability users?" Gao Xiaoliang closed his eyes, thinking zombies. But when he heard their answer, he was dumbfounded. "Huh?" The green-haired girl with a high ponytail walked up to Gao Xiaoliang and asked slyly, "You're definitely an ability user, right? Otherwise, how could you get shot and be completely uninjured?" The other girl also said excitedly to Gu Yue, "This is great, Sister Yue. Our base has an ability user now." Hearing this, Gu Yue couldn't help but get excited too. She patted Gao Xiaoliang on the shoulder. "I couldn't tell. You really know how to hide your talents. Or seeing the scene before him, Gao Xiaoliang let out a sigh of relief. Phew, I thought my cover was blown. Luckily, these people are also smart. Seeing that Gao Xiaoliang didn't answer, the two girls eagerly rushed over to ask, "That's right. What's your ability? Fire type, water type. You can dodge bullets. Could it be a metal type ability?" Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang started sweating and stammered, "Well, about that." Seeing him hesitate and not wanting to talk, Gu Yue stepped in to smooth things over. "It's okay if you don't want to say. Anyway, time will tell. We'll find out eventually." Doan Hong stood in the distance silently observing as everyone made a fuss over a stranger. Gu Thang roared in anger. "He's an ability user. How can that be? Isn't he a cook? Have any of you ever met an ability user who works as a cook?" Hearing this, Chao Tiuluang proudly flipped his hair and replied, "Becoming one of the chosen is my destiny. But is it so wrong to be born with a passion for cooking?" Gu Thang was speechless. This guy? Hearing this, Gu Thang's two henchmen whispered to each other doubtfully, "I told you so. An ordinary girl couldn't possibly fight like that." In that case, including Brother Than, our base now has 3 ability users. Cao Tiolong's jaw dropped as he asked, "You're an ability user too?" Then he rushed over to Guthan, circling him and taunting, "What kind of useless ability do you have?" Getting beaten up by Xiaobai like this. Annoyed by him flitting around and teasing him, Guthan snapped, "Is that any of your business?" Gu Yue stepped in to explain, Guthan is an ability seed, but he hasn't awakened yet. Hearing this, Chao Tiolong was surprised. "Oh!" Seeing that Chao Tiolong still didn't get it, Gu Yue crossed her arms and explained, "Before an ability user awakens, there are always signs like high fevers, hallucinations, or special marks appearing on the body. People like that are considered ability seeds." Seeing his reputation slipping, Gutan immediately turned to Don Hong and declared, "Hong Hong, don't worry. I've been getting fevers more and more often lately. I'm sure I'll awaken very soon." He glanced provocatively at Chao Tioluang. "When that happens, we'll see how arrogant those who won't even say what their own abilities can be." Hearing this, Don Hong played the part and replied, Ah Cheng, I've always believed you're the strongest." Standing nearby, Xiaobai heard his bragging and angrily started to lunge at Guthan. This startled him, and he yelped, "Hey, don't you come over here." Seeing that they were about to clash again, Gu Yue stepped forward. "All right, that's enough for today. This ends here." Then Gu Yue turned to Don Hong and laid out the rules. "You can stay, but our base is very fair. It doesn't matter who you are, everyone has to work for their food. Also, the supplies in the warehouse are communal property. You can't just take things as you please. If anyone doesn't follow the rules, they are to leave immediately. Understood?" Frightened, Doan Hong grabbed Guthan's shirt and replied, "Understood." Hearing this, an indignant Guthan roared, "Sis, I was the one who wanted to get food. It has nothing to do with Hong Hong. Don't you target her." Seeing her brother refuse to listen and even yell back, Gu Yue shot him a cold glance, making Guthan shudder and shut his mouth. She paid her foolish little brother no mind. Gu Yue cheerfully called out, "Old Liu, check what ingredients are left in the warehouse. Then go pick some fresh vegetables from the field. To welcome our new member, we're having an extra meal today." Old Liu heard this and gloomily replied, "Got it." Gu Yue patted Chao Tiolong's shoulder with a cheerful smile and said, "Do a good job. I'm the one who brought you here, so don't embarrass me." Hearing this, Chao Tiolong thought indifferently, "And you call this a welcome? This is just forcing me to cook." Sensing that something was off, Gutang slowly began to realize what was happening. He approached his sister and offered, "Sis, I was out of line earlier. I've caused enough trouble for old Liu. Why don't you let me prepare the food instead?" Meanwhile, in the dining hall, everyone was gathered around gossiping. "I heard there's a new cook in the base, and he's an ability user. Aren't all ability users supposed to be high and mighty? If they went to any other base, wouldn't they be worshipped like gods? So why would one be cooking? It means this guy must be really approachable. He must be a good person. Ever since the last cook died, I've been eating biscuits until I'm sick of them. We can finally eat real food again. A meal made by an ability user has to be extraordinary. I'm really looking forward to it." At that moment, laid out in front of Chao Diolong were various foods that were on the verge of expiring. Wilted vegetable leaves, rotten eggs, sprouted potatoes. Looking at the scene, Chao Diolong said wearily, "You want me to make 8 dishes and 3 soups with just this?" Seeing the spoiled food, Gu Yue turned and asked, "What happened here?" Guthan replied nonchalantly, "Can't be helped. It rained a few days ago and all the vegetables in the fields got flooded. The only things left in the warehouse are rice and flour. I had a tough time finding even these few eggs." His 2 henchmen chimed in, "Plus, all the spices in the kitchen are gone. Sister Yue actually went out this time to find salt, but who would have thought she'd come back empty-handed?" Guthan didn't believe he could cook with such awful ingredients. The simpler the ingredients, the greater the test of a chef's skill. I'm sure that you, of all people, can turn something ordinary into an absolute masterpiece. A dish that will make everyone drool, right? Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang felt helpless and just gave a thumbs up. "Well, in that case, I really appreciate the vote of confidence." Afterward, Gao Xiaoliang thought to himself, no wonder that kid's attitude changed so suddenly. Turns out, he wanted to put me in a tough spot to show me who's boss. What a joke. I'm a guy with a system. What kind of ingredients could I possibly not have? As if I'd ever let you get one over on me. Suddenly the system appeared. System reminder. The dimensional storage can only be used for items inside the food cart. They cannot be removed from the cart. Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang's face went pale as he asked again. There's a rule like that. Behind Gao Xiaoliang and Gu Yue Gu Cheng and his group were whispering excitedly amongst themselves. Don't worry, Brother Cheng. I already hid all the ingredients in the base. Let's see what he can make with that junk. And thanks to me hyping it up, that crowd outside has some pretty high expectations. If he can't make a single decent dish in a little while, not only him, but even Sister Yue will completely lose face. Hearing his two efficient henchmen, Gu Cheng turned back and praised, well done. Suddenly from behind, Don Hong spoke shyly. Cheng Gu Yue is your biological sister after all. Don't you think what we're doing is a bit too much? Hearing this, the two henchmen immediately spoke up to defend their boss. They were targeting you like that just now, and you're still worried about her Hong Hong. You're too kind-hearted. Gu Cheng turned back with a sinister look and explained, those two are not good people. Only by driving them out of here will this base be truly safe. This base only needs one ability user, and that's enough. I will absolutely not allow this kind of person. I'm about to threaten my position. Outside, everyone was starving and complaining, why isn't the food served yet? How much longer do we have to wait? I'm so hungry. My stomach is caving in. Suddenly, Sister Yue's two followers burst through the door, yelling, Sister Yue, what's wrong? Everyone's getting impatient waiting. Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang also scratched his head in frustration. The eggs are all ruined and the vegetables are rotten. They're basically unusable. Only the rice is still intact. Then he turned to Gu Yue and said, if there's really no other way, we can only make congee. After hearing this, Gu Cheng thought excitedly, oh, making congee, huh? Then he swiftly threw open the door to the dining hall and yelled, everyone calm down. The chef says he'll be making plain white congee for the group today. Everyone was surprised and annoyed to hear this. What weren't we told there would be 8 dishes, 3 soups, and even meat? Why is it plain congee? If I knew it was just plain congee, I'd rather have eaten instant noodles. Seeing everyone shouting and cursing, Gu Cheng's two henchmen also chimed in. He's an ability user that Sister Yue worked so hard to invite back. Of course he has to keep the good stuff for himself. Getting plain congee is already a good deal. If you all keep demanding more, be careful, or he'll get angry and leave for another base. Hearing this, the crowd cursed in anger. I knew it. Why would an ability user work as a cook? Turns out it's so he can eat by himself. Everyone in our base is equal. What right does he have to get special treatment? He's even hoarding everyone's food supplies. We don't dare to keep someone like that. It's best if he just goes somewhere else. When Xiaobai heard everyone mocking Gao Xiaoliang, she became furious and gritted her teeth. Seeing this, Gao Xiaoliang calmly thought, this kid is really good at stirring up hatred. Meanwhile, Gu Cheng thought smugly, causing such a commotion right after arriving. Let's see how you manage to stay this time. Seeing that the situation was getting out of hand, Gu Yue yelled to explain. Everyone listen to me. Today the responsibility lies with me. I ran into some trouble on the road and couldn't bring back the ingredients. That's why it's difficult for Chef Gao to cook a proper feast. I promise everyone I'll find enough ingredients soon. Next time I definitely won't let you down. Hearing this, the crowd's tone softened and they reassured Yue. How could this be your fault? Finding supplies is already hard. The most important thing is that you return safely. Without Sister Yue, our base wouldn't be here today. Anyone who dares to complain is just plain ungrateful. This is much better than those who are struggling to survive outside. If we could eat plain congee every day, that would be an incredible blessing. What more could we be dissatisfied with? Hearing this, Gu Yue cried out happily, thank you all for your understanding. Don Hong saw that Gu Yue had turned the situation around with just a few words and sneered. The moment Sister Gu Yue spoke, the whole group's attitude immediately changed. It seems she holds a very high position in everyone's hearts. Hearing this, Gu Cheng and thought with annoyance, she actually took the blame for him. Damn it. Don Hong glanced sideways at Gu Cheng with a venomous smile. Ha! One of the guests looked inside. He and said, you must be Chef Gao, right? This old lady's teeth aren't what they used to be. I love plain congee. Others also chimed in. Everyone was being unreasonable just now and said some harsh things. Please don't take it to heart. As it happens, my family has a few packets of pickled vegetables. I'll bring them out for everyone to eat with the congee. Gao Xiaoliang rubbed his chin and thought to himself, this woman is so young and is already so well loved by so many. She will definitely become a formidable figure in the future. His face suddenly turned grim. With the scale of this base, Xia's plus her leadership, it should have developed very well. But why is it that in my 9 previous lives, I have absolutely no memory of this person? Sister Yue's female follower shouted, today's incident is not Chef Gao's fault at all. And it's certainly not Sister Yue's fault if it weren't for the pork in the warehouse. But yeah, being ruined by someone, everyone wouldn't be stuck eating only plain congee. After hearing that, the crowd got upset and protested one after another. What are you talking about, that wild boar? That's the one everyone worked so hard to catch. Who did this? That's what I heard. The other woman then pointed at Don Hong and said, well, you'll have to ask this young lady about that. She complained the pork was dirty and refused to eat it, so she threw it away. Hearing this, Don Hong glared and scoffed in annoyance. Everyone else indignant started scolding her. Aren't you the girl Gu Cheng brought back? Why are you wasting our food? Seeing Don Hong under attack, Gu Cheng stepped forward to defend her. Hong Hong didn't do it on purpose. She's only ever eaten the finest delicacies. She's never seen this kind of stuff before, so it's perfectly normal for her to not be used to it. His two cronies also chimed in to defend her. That's right. You women shouldn't be so petty. Enraged, one of Gu Yue's subordinates shot back. Fine. Fine. We're the petty ones and you're all so generous. According to the rules, wasting food gets deducted from your rations. If you're all so generous, then just deduct it from your portions. Hearing this, the two men stammered. Seeing the situation turning against her, Do and Hong put on a teary, innocent act. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't mean to waste the food. I just didn't want to harm anyone. Gu Yue heard this and asked suspiciously, what do you mean? Just then a group of people brought out a large piece of meat. At the sight of it, everyone rushed over. It's the wild boar meat. Seeing this, Gu Yue angrily questioned Gu Cheng, didn't you say this meat had already been thrown away? Gu Chen, seeing the situation unfold, grew suspicious himself and turned to Don Hong whispering, Hong, what's going on? Seeing this, Gu Yue's two subordinates chimed in. Oh, so it turns out someone else wanted to eat it all by themselves, acting like some noble lady on the outside. But stealing behind everyone's back. Some people really want to act righteous while using dirty tricks. Seeing everyone's words getting harsher, Gu Cheng stepped in front of her to shield her. Hey, stop talking nonsense. Weren't you all just heartbroken over this meat a minute ago? Now you found it again. We're giving it back to you, isn't that enough? Suddenly, Don Hong shrieked in panic. No! This meat is infected with a virus. Hearing this, everyone asked frantically, what a virus? Are you talking about the zombie virus? Don Hong raised her hands to cover her nose and whimpered, this meat is dark black, and it has a very strange smell. I'm very familiar with this smell. It's the stench that comes from zombies. Don Hong covered her mouth and pointed at the meat, saying, the color of these pieces has turned black, and it has a bizarre odor. A smell I know all too well. It's the stench of a zombie. Then she continued insisting, I was just afraid someone might not know and eat it by mistake. That's why I told Cheng Nan and Cheng Bei to collect it. I was going to find a place to burn it. Hearing this, everyone began whispering. It's true. Looking at the color, it's definitely not fresh meat, but that doesn't prove it's the zombie virus. Could it have just gone bad from being stored improperly? Seeing the crowd of questions, Old Mo quickly spoke up to clear his name. It has nothing to do with me. When the cook gave me the meat, it was already like this. But Don Hong, maintaining her horrified expression, said, if it was from improper storage, it should be covered in mold. But the surface of this meat is completely smooth. It's dry with no signs of rot. Hearing this, everyone grew suspicious. This wrinkled hide. It looks a lot like a zombie skin. Could that wild boar have been a mutated creature? Hearing this, Cheng Nan and Cheng Bei quickly chimed in. It's a good thing Hong Hong discovered it in time. If this had actually been cooked for everyone today, the entire base would have been infected. Hearing this, the crowd enthusiastically agreed. She's truly our great benefactor. That was so scary, so dangerous. We really have to thank this girl. Hearing this, Don Hong blushed and said, there's no need to thank me. As long as everyone is safe, that's all that matters. Seeing that the crowd was now on his side, Gu Cheng turned to Gu Yue and said, all right then. Now the truth is out. Sister, I think you owe Hong Hong and everyone else an apology. Gu Yue exploded with rage. An apology? Are you saying it's my fault for not checking carefully and bringing a virus back here? Gu Cheng replied irritably. Well, isn't it? I know you like being recognized, sister. You love the feeling of being worshipped, but you can't just do it to show off and risk everyone's lives in the process. Gu Yue's two friends spoke up indignantly. Cheng, how can you say that? Sister Yue would never be that kind of person. Seeing her own brother's insolence, Gu Yue spoke up to defend herself. Gu Cheng, you are my little brother. You of all people know exactly what kind of person I am. Do you really think I would do something like that? Hearing this, Gu Cheng brooded in silence. Suddenly, Duan Hong spoke up to reassure him. Cheng, just forget about it. I don't think Miss Gu Yue did it on purpose. Finding food is already so hard. A moment of carelessness is unavoidable. Hearing this, Gu Cheng replied gently to Hong Hong. It's because you're too forgiving that you always get bullied by others. Hearing this, Gu Yue's two sisters. Fanny spoke up indignantly for Gu Yue. What is she trying to say? By talking like that, isn't she indirectly admitting guilt for Ms. Yue? Everyone heard what Gu Cheng's group said. They began to whisper among themselves, making the girl with Gu Yue worried sick. Oh no. It looks like everyone is starting to believe them. Just then, people started speaking softly in thanks. It's a good thing no one ate any of that meat. It's great that we found it in time. Let's destroy it before the virus can spread. Suddenly, Gao Xiaoliang walked over to the pile of meat, leaned down, and sniffed it, shocking everyone. What are you doing? Then, to everyone's shock, Gao Xiaoliang excitedly picked up a piece of meat. Put it down now. That meat is infected with the virus. Suddenly, Gao Xiaoliang took a piece of meat, popped it into his mouth, and began to chew greedily. This is the flavor. Everyone was stunned by the sight, but Gao Xiaoliang calmly said, we have perfectly good food right here, don't we? Gao Xiaoliang eagerly called out, Xiaobai, take this meat over there. Hearing this, Xiaobai immediately obeyed, picking up the crate of meat and heading straight for the kitchen. Inside, the wok was already sizzling on a hot stove. Gao Xiaoliang said enthusiastically, good thing I already put the rice on the steam. The timing is perfect. Gao Xiaoliang skillfully twirled his knife, swiftly slicing the meat, and then prepared a bowl of meat over rice. Perfect. Seeing this, Gu Cheng's group angrily cursed at him. What are you so calm about? You know, this meat is infected and you still want to feed it to everyone. I knew it, this guy is no good. Is he trying to kill us all? Hearing this, the others also poked their heads in, taking turns asking questions. Chef Gao, you can't be serious, can you? I don't want to turn into a zombie. Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang calmly explained, who says you can't eat meat from mutated creatures? As long as you handle it correctly and remove the contaminated parts. Ooh. Not only is it edible, but it's a rare delicacy. Besides, this isn't even from a mutated pig. Everyone was surprised. It's not. Guyate, also surprised, asked, are you sure? Gao Xiaoliang replied firmly, of course. After hearing this, Duan Hong said unhappily, Chef Gao, even if you want to protect Miss Gu Yue, see, you can't just gamble with everyone's lives. Seeing this, Chengnan and Chengbei also flew into a rage, placing blame. Everyone don't believe a word he says. If it isn't a mutated pig, then why did this meat turn black? And it smells, it's obviously infected with the virus. Hearing this, Gao Xiaoliang calmly explained, you really are clueless. This is air-dried cured meat. Everyone was stunned. Air-dried cured meat. Gao Xiaoliang continued, if I'm not mistaken, the previous chef was a man, right? Gu Yue, surprised, asked, how did you know? Gu Yue's younger sister realized something and spoke up. That's right. That chef, he had a southern accent. Everyone was surprised. He told me he was from Guishan and came here to work. Gao Xiaoliang picked up a piece of the meat. He explained softly, this type of air-dried meat is a specialty of the Guishan region in the south. His hand gently touched the meat as he continued. The air there is very humid. Food spoils easily. To preserve meat, the locals cut large pieces into smaller ones, sprinkle them with salt, soy sauce, and sugar, and then hang them in a cool ventilated place to dry. An image of hanging meat pieces appeared through his explanation. Until the outside turns black. This method preserves it and locks in the moisture. Even after several months, it won't spoil. Gao Xiaoliang held a piece of meat towards the crowd and stated firmly, as for the smell, that's because after it's been air-dried, a protective film forms on the outside. It might smell unpleasant to some, but as soon as you heat it, something magical happens, and its unique flavor is restored. Gao Xiaoliang excitedly continued to cook. He explained, because the meat is already cured, cooking, it is very simple. An image appeared of the dish with a hot, golden brown piece of meat over rice. You just need to use the steam from the rice to cook it through. Let the fat and flavor from the meat seep into the rice, sprinkle some scallions on top before taking it off the heat. And then a fragrant pan of rice appeared, the grains glistening. Everyone saw the food, and their mouths dropped open, drooling. The meat had turned pink and looked so appetizing. It smells so good. Seeing that everyone was ignoring what Gucheng had said earlier, he panicked. Everyone don't listen to him. So what if that chef was from the south? He's dead now too. Who can prove this is cured meat? Hearing this, Duan Hong, feigning grievance, spoke up. Miss Gu Yue, we already forgave you. Why did you have to get Chef Gao to make up lies? You're just making one mistake after another. Gao Xiaoliang held a plate of rice, making even Xiaobai's mouth water. Is it cured meat, or is it virus-infected meat? Cao Tiolong quickly fed Duan Hong a spoonful of rice, catching her off guard. Once she tasted it, she would know. Seeing Cao Tiolong act this way with a girl, bah! The man she had a crush on Gucheng jumped up and cried out, Hong Hong! But Don Hong, with a mouthful of rice, began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone was startled. Don Hong, at this moment, had a full mouth, and her eyes were already wet with tears. As she chewed, she thought about spitting it out. Cao Tiolong waved his hands excitedly and said, customers can't waste food. Seeing that Don Hong was about to spit it out, Xiaobai rushed towards her like the wind and grabbed her cheeks tightly, not letting go. But as her saliva mixed with a succulent piece of meat, Duan Hong was taken by surprise. The meat was firm and chewy. She could clearly feel every single fiber. Coarse sea salt rubbed aggressively against the tender meat inside her mouth. Pain mixed with a wondrous sense of pleasure. The soft, sticky rice soaked in the essence of the meat juices was like a kind of lubricant, constantly flowing as friction and sensation exploded in her mouth. Because of the ultimate deliciousness of the dish, an image formed in Don Hong's mind of her riding a giant wild boar as it ran frantically, making her feel as ecstatic as if she'd reached a peak, as if she were escaping. Through a primeval forest, it was truly too wild. After swallowing, she collapsed to her knees in exhaustion. Seeing the girl he loved kneeling tiredly before him, Gucheng asked worriedly, Hong Hong, are you okay? The two men, Chengnan and Chengbei, also spoke up asking, are you feeling really sick? You have to stay with us, Duan Hong blushed. Damn it, this meat is insanely delicious. Finding her expression amusing, Chao Tioluang chuckled softly. Haha. Seeing her reaction, everyone began to whisper. Her complexion was much better than before. Aside from her face being a little flushed, she looked fine. A zombie transformation isn't like this. An old woman from the crowd approached Gu Yue. She said, Yue, this old woman was a bit confused just now. I almost thought there was something wrong with this meat. Please, you mustn't take it to heart. Hearing this, Gu Yue didn't hold a grudge and replied, please don't say that. It's good that the misunderstanding is cleared up. Hearing this, everyone else chimed in. I told you so. Only Sister Yue would never bring back something with problems. My brother was injured catching the pig. If it really had a virus, he would have turned a long time ago. Then Cao Tiolong turned to the crowd and said, since there are no problems, everyone can eat now, right? After that, Chao Tiuluong returned to the kitchen to continue cooking. Of course, if you like it, don't forget to give me a 5-star review. Everyone picked up their plate of rice, still hesitant before taking a spoonful. Suddenly someone shouted, "This is delicious, one bite, and the aroma of the meat fills your whole mouth. It's a true feast for the senses." Then a series of people followed, exclaiming emotionally, "This rice is so soft and fragrant. Mixed with the meat juice, it's just perfect. So good. Every single bite is so satisfying." As expected, people need to eat meat. Gu Yue's close, short-haired friend spoke with contempt. "The great young miss doesn't even know what jerky is. Is your father some kind of fake millionaire?" Hearing this, everyone else chimed in. "So ignorant, yet she likes to put on airs. What kind of person is she? She's so young. How can she speak so carelessly?" If it weren't for Chef Chao, Sister Yue would have been wrongly accused. Gu Yue's other close friend, the one with her hair tied up, turned to remind them, "You all should be the ones apologizing." At this, everyone ganged up on Gu Cheng's group. "That's right, apologize, 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 apologize." Duan Hong looked up in surprise and saw the image of Gu Yue and Chao Tiuluong, standing proudly before the crowd looking at her. It made her feel wronged, like some kind of tragic victim. With tears welling in her eyes, she ran away. "You people are horrible." Duan Hong covered her face and ran off sobbing. "Sob, sob, sob." Seeing Duan Hong run away, Gu Cheng called out worriedly, "Hong Hong." Then he turned and pointed at Chao Tiuluong, accusing him. "You damn bastard, you must have done something to the meat, didn't you?" Hearing this, Chao Tiuluong just waved his hands and asserted, "I only do the cooking, I don't take the blame." Gu Cheng's blood boiled at that, and he roared, "Cut the crap, I'm challenging you to a one-on-one fight. No one is allowed to help, especially you, Xiaobai." Hearing this, Xiaobai looked confused. "Huh." Chao Tiuluong glanced at Xiaobai and thought to himself, "What's this about fighting one-on-one? Isn't he just afraid of Xiaobai and wants to pick on someone weaker? What a coward." Suddenly, the system's voice rang out at the perfect moment. "Ding, congratulations, host, for obtaining a rare ingredient. New skill reward, culinary massage." Seeing the notification, Chao Tiuluong thought excitedly, "There's a bonus like this." But then Chao Tiuluong rubbed his chin, pondering, "But what the heck is culinary massage?" Suddenly, Chao Tiuluong's arms were grabbed by Chengnan and Chengbei. The two of them sneered despicably. "Some ability user. I think it's all just a bluff, so you really just hide behind a woman. Without her help, let's see what you've got. Brother Cheng, get him." Seeing their despicable tactics, Chao Tiuluong yelled in frustration, "Damn it, I thought we agreed on no help." "This brat has no honor," Gu Cheng charged forward furiously. "Who needs honor to deal with a swindler like you?" He grabbed a knife and pointed it straight at Chao Tiuluong. He yelled, "You fool, go to hell." Seeing this, Gu Yue shouted loudly, "Gu Cheng, stop." The two girls also cried out a warning, "Chef Chao, be careful." Xiaobai also got into position ready to charge. Suddenly, Chao Tiuluong turned and instructed Xiaobai, "Don't move." Hearing this, Xiaobai froze. Chao Tiuluong leaped up arrogantly and said, "Since you've delivered yourself to my doorstep, then don't blame me for being impolite. Perfect time to test out my new skill." Chao Tiuluong jumped, escaping the grasp of the two henchmen, and at the same time kicked Gu Cheng's knife away. As Chao Tiuluong landed, he called out, "Culinary massage." He struck Gu Cheng's vital points forcefully, causing him immense pain before kicking him away. Gu Cheng, still arrogant, cursed, "Damn you. How dare you?" Suddenly his body began to tremble and he slowly crumpled to the ground. "How can this be? My body won't listen. My arms and legs are completely restrained." Realizing things were not right, Gu Cheng, lying on the ground in pain, cried out, "Sister, sister, quick, save me." Hearing this, Gu Yue couldn't bear it and rushed to him. "Gu Cheng, what's wrong? Why are you so rough?" Hearing that, Kothan played innocent and cried for help from his sister. "I can't feel anything. Am I going to die?" Hearing this, Konwiet replied gravely, "You're not going to die. It's just that the strong impact temporarily paralyzed your muscles. You'll probably recover after a while." Seeing all this, Chao Tiuluong seemed to realize something. "I get it now. When preparing meat, chefs often use a tenderizing mallet to lightly pound it first. This tenses up the muscles and nerves completely, and meat treated this way becomes more tender. It also absorbs seasoning better. It's often called a culinary massage. So that's what a culinary massage is." The two of them, Trin Nam and Trin Bak, cried out in alarm. "So this guy is that strong. He's even scarier than that woman." Chao Tiuluong saw how scared they were. He taunted them, "You're next." Hearing that, the two of them ran for their lives. "We were wrong. Please spare us." Seeing that her brother wasn't doing well, Konwiet stood up to mediate. "What happened today was Kotan's fault. I apologize on his behalf. My friend, could you do me a favor and let this go?" Chao Tiuluong heard this and decided not to pursue it. "It's fine as long as he doesn't mess with me again." Then some people with a medical stretcher came in and carried Kotan away. Lying on the stretcher, Kotan thought viciously, "You just wait, Chao. I will absolutely not let you get away with this." Meanwhile, while everyone else was eating, Chao Tiuluong stood off to the side, lost in thought. He held a tablet looking at the reviews. "Good review. Good review. Good review. Good review." Seeing the review bar going up, Chao Tiuluong's eyes lit up. "This is great. I can get 30 good reviews from just one meal. If this keeps up, I'll probably complete the mission soon. Suddenly the bar stopped, leaving Chao Tiolong baffled. What's going on? Why did the progress bar suddenly shrink? Seeing Chao Tiolong's soul about to leave his body, the system frantically appeared. Host, don't worry, let me go check. The system then said confidently, found it. Someone gave a 0-point review. According to the system's rules, if the host receives a bad review, the number of good reviews for that day will be cut in half. If you accumulate 3 bad reviews, the system will issue a penalty. Your score will be wiped to 0. Hearing that, Chao Tiolong yelled, "What?" And then Chao Tiolong gritted his teeth, thinking, what a vicious rule. At this rate, if someone intentionally gives bad reviews, won't it be impossible to ever complete the mission? Chao Tiolong pulled at his hair and screamed, "Just who the hell is it?" Meanwhile, in a small room, Don Hong was gritting her teeth, furiously tapping the screen. Bad review, bad review, bad review, bad review, bad review. She trembled as she spoke. In my entire life, I'm the only one who gets to play with men. No one has ever dared to play me. But then Don Hong shivered, remembering the exhilarating feeling of tasting that piece of meat. That taste. Thinking about it now, my body can't help but tremble and go limp. She angrily threw the pen in her hand. How disgusting. Suddenly, from where the pen landed, the 2 men, Trin Nam and Trin Bak, were like hypnotized dogs. They slowly crawled towards Don Hong. Mistress. Mistress, mistress. We like mistress. We want to be loved. Seeing them, Don Hong seemed to get an idea. She turned to them gracefully. This mistress here only likes obedient dogs. Only those who work hard can receive my affection. After that, a hypnotic sound wave emanated from her eyes, entrancing Trin Nam and Trin Bak even more. Seeing that the 2 of them had fallen for her trick, she offered her food for them to lick. She sat on her chair like a victor. She said sinisterly, men are nothing but animals whose brains are in their lower bodies. The Chao Tiolong is no exception. But then the scheming woman clutched a piece of paper and said proudly, how dare you ruin this young lady's plans? I'll make you pay dearly for this scene change. Right now, Chao Tiolong was sitting by the lake, enthusiastically fishing. Got one. Seeing the size of the fish, Chao Tiolong exclaimed excitedly, whoa, such a big fish. Should I grill it or steam it? But suddenly the fish spat out the bait, revealing sharp iron-like fangs, and flew like a bird chasing after Chao Tiolong. It was a mutant fish. Chao Tiolong panicked, yelling as he ran, this damn apocalypse. Can't a guy even catch a break if you're going to mutate? Fine. But why are you crossing species too? Chao Tiolong rushed into his car, intending to jump in. But then he realized, why won't it open? Panicked Chao Tiolong banged on the door, yelling, Xiao Bai, open up. But then the system suddenly made an announcement that made Chao Tiolong's face turn pale. Host has received a total of 3 bad reviews. Score wiped to 0. Host status revoked. Penalty deletion. Chao Tiolong panicked. Not only was he in danger, but he was also locked out. Host has received a total of 3 negative reviews. Score wiped. Host status revoked. Penalty deletion. Standing outside, Chao Tiolong pointed at a bright spot in the sky and yelled, God, you're so unreasonable. Suddenly the fish lunged at him and bit down hard on his sensitive spot. Oof! Then it used its tail to slap him repeatedly across the face. Ooh. In agony, Chao Tiolong's face turned green as he collapsed to the ground. It hurt so much. I can't breathe. But when he passed out and woke up again, Chao Tiolong opened his eyes in shock. Was it a dream few that scared the life out of me? Tiobak was sleeping soundly on top of Chao Tiolong. Shiver, shiver, shiver. Seeing her, Chao Tiolong angrily sat up and yelled, Tiobak, why are you here again? Tiobak rubbed her sleepy eyes while Chao Tiolong continued to shout, how many times have I told you? Your bed is downstairs if you make me have dreams like that again. I'll take away all your snacks. Hearing a commotion outside, Chao Tiolong asked wearily, who is it now? Don't they need to sleep this early in the morning? Chao Tiolong opened the sunshade on his vehicle and looked outside, seeing everyone bustling about preparing for something. Not understanding what was happening, Chao Tiolong put on a shirt and went out with Tiobak to greet them. Good morning, the 2 girls heard him and cheerfully replied, Good morning. Chef Cao, did you sleep well last night? Noticing the dark circles under Chao Tiolong's eyes, Kong Wei asked with concern, You have such heavy dark circles. Didn't you sleep well last night? Hearing this, Chao Tiolong's face turned pale as he thought, I had nightmares all night. It'd be strange if I didn't have dark circles. Seeing everyone so busy, Chao Tiolong turned and asked, Are you all planning to go out? Kong Wei explained. Doan Hong said her father stockpiled a lot of supplies at the foot of Mount Wanda. There are daily necessities, food, and even weapons. We're preparing to drive there and bring them back. Don Hong replied shyly. In this apocalypse, these supplies are more precious than life itself. Kothan looked proudly at Don Hong and said, Hong, you're willing to share these things with everyone. You're too kind. Don Hong spoke as if she were deeply apologetic while slowly stepping out of the car. When the apocalypse first started, my father stockpiled a lot of supplies in various places. Unfortunately, he never got to use them. Yesterday, my mistake almost cost the base its vital food source. So I want to use these things as compensation to atone for my mistake. The 2 guys, Trin Nam and Trin Bak, chimed in like a pair of loyal dogs defending their master. Hong, why would you say that? It clearly wasn't your fault. That's right. You didn't do it on purpose. That kind of smoked meat is rare in the north anyway. No one else would have recognized it. The two girls Nguyen's followers said indignantly, she's already acting heartbroken before a single tear has been shed. A leopard never changes its spots. After hearing this, Chao Tiuluang was surprised. Mount Wanda. As far as I know, that place used to be a resort for tourists. There were quite a few convenience stores at the foot of the mountain, but the survivors must have looted them more than once. If there really were any supplies, they would have been found long ago. Hearing this, Trin Nam and Trin Bak retorted indignantly, what's that supposed to mean? You don't trust Hong Hong. Kothan, also annoyed, chimed in, what did Hong Hong ever do to be treated like this by you? Why are you bullying a girl like that? Are you even a man? Oh. Chao Tiuluang didn't get angry at all, but replied with cool sarcasm, oh, such a strong voice. Looks like you've recovered quite well, huh? Do you need my help with a little muscle-relaxing massage? Hearing this, Kothan wanted to rush forward and give Chao Tiuluang a beating. You bastard. Seeing that things were about to get out of hand, Don Hong stepped forward. Chef Chow, I know you have a misunderstanding with me. If you're not at ease, you can come with us on this trip. Hearing this, Chao Tiuluang thought for a moment, then turned to Kong Wiet and asked, do you really trust her? Kong Wiet Ten shared her own thoughts. We can't live on that smoked meat forever. Some people in the base are already showing signs of sodium deficiency. If we don't find any seasoning soon, the adults might manage, but the elderly and children won't be able to handle it. So whether she's telling the truth or not, as long as there's hope, I have to try. After hearing her, Chao Tiuluang rubbed his temples. What a fool! Chao Tiuluang looked up at Kong Wiet and said seriously, anyway, it's not time to eat yet. I'll go with you. Seeing that the fish had taken the bait, Don Hong smiled sweetly. That's right. There are so many things there, we definitely can't carry everything in one trip. Chef Kao is an expert. With him there, he can help select the necessary ingredients. She was all smiles on the outside, but her inner thoughts were sinister. As expected, what an easy fool to trick. The two girls with Nguyet heard this and said with determination, Sister Nguyet, we'll go with you too. Tonight is a full moon, and that's when the zombies are most active. It'll be a little safer with more people. Ko Nguyet was touched by their concern and replied happily, there's no need. I'll try to be back before dark. Remember to lock the doors tight before we return, and don't let anyone in. Two girls heard this. They cried out in unison, disappointed. But, seeing Ko Nguyet looking lonely, Chao Tiuluang put a hand on her shoulder and said playfully, don't worry. You girls stay here and take care of Grandma and everyone else. As for Sister Nguyet, just leave her protection to me. The two girls heard this. They were reassured and said, with Chef Chow here, we can rest easy. Ko Nguyet, embarrassed, waved her hands. What are you talking about? Don't forget that. Who was it that bowed their head in front of me begging for forgiveness? Hearing this, Chao Tiuluang calmly replied, I had no choice. If I had looked up, then I would have seen something I wasn't supposed to see. Hearing this, the two girls' eyes went wide as they asked, whoa, what was it that you weren't supposed to see? Ignoring Gu Yue's blushing face, Chao Tiuluang continued calmly. It was... Gu Yue frantically clamped her hand over Chao Tiuluang's mouth and yelled, shut up, you are not allowed to say it. Hearing this, the two girls got even more excited. Oh my god, what was it? We're so curious now. It seems like you two have a secret, don't you? Being choked and lifted off the ground by Gu Yue, Chao Tiuluang was on the verge of death. Don't shake me anymore. I'm gonna die. Seeing them having fun, Don Hong stood to the side, thinking sinisterly, let's see how long you all can stay happy. Gu Yue's group's two cars sped along the mountainside, while below them, a horde of zombies was devouring human flesh. Looking down from above, Chao Tiuluang thought, the zombies' activity follows a cyclical pattern. They become extremely agitated during the full moon. Today is the 15th, the zombies. As expected, there are quite a few of them around. How strange. It seems like Xiaobai isn't affected at all. Suddenly, Xiaobai pointed outside as if she had seen something. Chao Tiuluang slammed on the brakes, stopping the car abruptly. Seeing this, Gu Yue called out from behind, what happened? Why did you suddenly stop? Chao Tiuluang got out of the car, looked at the watery mess ahead and said, the road's been washed out by the rain. Looks like we can only park the cars here. Seeing everyone confused and looking for a path, Duan Hong pointed towards the forest and said, from here it's not far from our destination. If we walk through it'll only take half an hour. Hearing this, Gu Yue turned back and gave an order. Grab your weapons. Remember, don't make a sound. Be careful not to attract the zombies' attention. At this, everyone cautiously stepped into the forest. Suddenly, a small bee landed on Don Hong's cheek. With her princess-like personality, she shrieked, ah, ah. Knowing her screams could attract zombies, Gu Yue angrily whispered, what are you doing? Are you trying to lead the zombies right to us? Gu Yue angrily swatted the bee away, but the princess just kept on screaming, ah. The bee was knocked away by Gu Yue. She turned to look at Chao Tiuluang and said, it was just a honeybee. What's there to be so scared of? The three cowardly guys turned pale. Looking utterly unmanly, Gu Cheng immediately hugged Don Hong. Don Hong ran to Gu Cheng, putting on an aggrieved expression and said, I'm sorry, sir. I was just so scared. Gu Cheng hugged Don Hong and spoke for her. Sis, don't blame Hong Hong. What girl isn't scared of bugs? Hearing her brother's ridiculous excuse, Gu Yue retorted, annoyed. I'm a girl too, so why am I not scared? Trin Nam and Trin Bak, as if they had no brains, answered, Sister Yue, you're different. You're more aggressive than a man. Of course you're not scared. Seeing Don Hong so frightened, Gucheng turned to reassure everyone. You guys don't know, but my sister has looked like a little rascal since she was a kid. A buzz cut wearing shorts. Everyone thought she was a boy. One time she went into the girls' bathroom and all the girls inside were scared to tears. After hearing this, Gu Yue blushed with embarrassment. Suddenly someone sprayed insect repellent towards them. Ugh, what is that stuff? Hearing them ask, Chao Tiulong didn't hide it, replying, It's insect repellent. There are a lot of mosquitoes on the mountain this season, so I brought a can. Chao Tiulong mischievously aimed the spray can at the other two. Spraying this is very effective. Not only does it repel insects, but it can also prevent bad breath. You guys should spray some too. Seeing this, they ran away in fear. I'll run its stinks to high heaven. Seeing this, Gu Yue smiled to herself happily. Suddenly, Chao Tiulong felt that something was wrong. It feels like something's missing. He turned back and forth, asking, Where's Xiaobai? Suddenly, from a tree, Xiaobai leaped down, holding a huge beehive. When they saw it, Gu Yue was stunned. Is that? Everyone else screamed in panic. A beehive! Xiaobai held the beehive, laughing cheerfully. He he. Looking at it, Xiaobai's eyes shone like stars. Her mouth started watering. Ha! Seeing Xiaobai's face, the other four were horrified. What is she trying to do? Don't tell me she's going to eat that thing. Ignoring everything, Xiaobai opened her mouth wide, making everyone's faces turn green as they screamed, Quick, stop her. Chao Tiulong also yelled, Xiaobai, stop. Xiaobai took a huge bite, making the whole group scream, Ah! Standing before a tunnel, the group was skeptical. Gu Yue asked, You're saying this is the place? Hearing this, Don Hong replied confidently, That's right. This tunnel collapsed halfway through construction. It's been abandoned for years. Dad said that the more dangerous a place is, the safer it is. No one would dare to enter a place like this, and even fewer would think there would be supplies inside. As Don Hong spoke, she rubbed her cheek in pain. Ow, that hurts. Trin Nam and Trin Bak, their eyes red from bee stings, glared at Xiaobai, who still had honey on her mouth. They thought, this is all her fault. If only we could actually beat her in a fight. Yes, we'd totally make her pay for this. Gu Yue, holding a gun, commanded, Let's go. Suddenly, Chao Tiulong's voice stopped them. Wait a minute. Seeing Chao Tiulong holding up their progress, Gu Cheng said annoyed, What are you trying to pull now? Chao Tiulong looked at their amateurish level of caution. Calm down and explain why it's so dark in here. We don't know what we'll find. It's too risky to just go in like this. Chao Tiulong threw a flare inside to check things out. Suddenly a noise came from within. Seeing this, he warned, Be careful, something's coming out. Hearing that, everyone became vigilant. Suddenly a swarm of butterflies flew out from inside. They were butterflies. Seeing them, Tiobak got scared and ran away. Ah! She immediately hid in the bushes. Seeing Tiobak like that, Chao Tiulong was also confused. They're just butterflies. What's so scary? He went over and tried to pull Tiobak out. Come on out. But Tiobak resisted, clinging tightly to the tree trunk. Seeing the strongest person now hugging a tree in fear, Don Hong thought smugly, even though this girl's a bit crazy. Yeah, she's a good fighter. If we leave her behind, there will only be two of them left, which will be even easier to deal with. Seeing her chance, she spoke up to stop him. Tiobak is terrified. It's probably because of the after effects from the bees earlier. We should probably not force her to go in. Gu Yue looked up at the sky to check the time, thinking that it was getting late. Gu Yue turned and said, We can't delay any longer. If we don't, the zombies will get even more frenzied at night. Tiobak was still trembling in fear. Hearing that Chao Tiulong had no other choice. All right then, he said. Just don't run off. Wait here for us. Tiobak curled up into a ball, shivering. Chao Tiulong held the flashlight and slowly walked inside, thinking to himself, I didn't realize. It was this deep in here. Gu Yue turned back and asked impatiently, How much longer until we get to where the supplies are hidden? Hearing this, Don Hong replied, Not far. Now we'll be there in a moment. Suddenly, Chao Tiulong noticed something. Then he shouted a warning. There's someone over there. Chao Tiulong yelled to warn them that there was someone inside. Gu Cheng heard him and immediately pointed his gun forward, saying, Who is it? Is it a zombie? From the flickering light, Hachkian and his cronies appeared. Ha 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 ha, what a coincidence. We meet again. The beautiful Miss Gu. Gu Yue, holding her gun, was stunned and yelled, Hachkian, why are you all here? Suddenly from behind, one of Gu Cheng's underlings smashed the butt of his rifle into the back of Gu Yue's head. Ah! One of them forcefully snatched her gun and rushed to restrain her. Gu Yue! Trin Nam! Trin Bak! What are you two doing? Chao Tiulong turned back to see what was happening when he heard someone yell, Don't move! One of them pointed a gun at Gu Yue's head, leaving her helpless, as she thought, Damn it, to think they'd launch a sneak attack. Seeing the person she hated being restrained, Don Hong crossed her arms with amusement and taunted, Oh great, Chef Chao. Even though you have a special ability, Sister Yue is just a normal person. If you don't want her to get hurt, you'd better not try anything funny, okay? Seeing her own precious younger brother pointing a gun at her, Gu Yue was horrified. Gu Cheng saw everything unfold before him. Chao Tiolong thought, it's this woman again. You'd better let her go, or else. Suddenly a large cage dropped from above, trapping Chao Tiolong inside. Gu Chen said smugly, or else what? This cage is rigged with powerful explosives. With just the press of a button, it'll blow up. If bullets can't kill you, I refuse to believe explosives can't kill you either. Hach Kian slowly walked towards Gu Cheng, praising him excitedly. You were the one who drove the car into me. Last time, weren't you? I can't believe you fell into my hands so quickly. Well done. You're truly the partner I chose. Hearing this, Gu Cheng, still smitten, turned to Don Hong and thanked her. Thanks to Hong Hong's great idea. Inside the cage, Chao Tiolong's face was dark as he thought, this damn system really has its flaws. The stealth function can't be carried on my person. If it could right now, the image of pressing a button, transforming, escaping, and beating Gu Cheng to a pulp flashed through Chao Tiolong's mind. But sometimes, a dream is just a dream. Chao Tiolong screamed in his head, frustrated. Damn it! Unable to believe what was happening, Gu Yue roared at Gu Cheng. Are you insane? How could you listen to what this bastard says? Hearing that, Gu Cheng couldn't take it anymore and screamed back, I'm not insane, I'm just sick and tired of you. Gu Yue was stunned. What? What did you say? Gu Cheng's eyes were red with fury as he poured out his feelings. When we were kids at the orphanage, you were always fighting with the other kids, so that we wouldn't get bullied, even though you gave me the food you managed to snatch. That was so tall. They all called you Big Sis, but they made fun of me for being a nobody. Even when the apocalypse happened, everyone at the base only listened to you. No one ever paid any attention to me. Do you have any idea how much I hate you? I'm clearly the one with the potential for abilities. I should be the one everyone respects and admires. But as long as you're here, I'll always be living in your shadow. Gu Yue's eyes filled with tears as she stammered, Gu Cheng, how could you? We grew up without parents. I always saw you as my most important family. I just wanted to protect you to keep you from getting hurt. I never thought you would hate me so much for it. Witnessing the scene before him, Chao Xiaoliang said in disgust, what an ungrateful bastard. After living off your sister all this time, you still have the nerve to blame her. Feeling mocked, Gu Cheng roared in frustration. Shut your damn mouth, you bastard. I'm disgusted by you, you stinky cook. How dare you oppose me? Hearing this, Chao Xiaoliang just smirked and said, yeah, this guy must have some serious issues. Gu Cheng said darkly, you were willing to find an ability user from the outside, but wouldn't wait for me to awaken. Seeing that everything was going according to plan, Yin Hong laughed scornfully. Ha ha. Without a hint of pity, Gu Cheng pointed the gun straight at his sister and said with disgust, you don't deserve to be my sister. I saw a brother betraying his own sister and a girl being held down by his own men. Jian cheerfully exclaimed, not seeing your potential was her loss, but I'll stand by you. When we get back, you'll easily be able to take over the steel mill. You'll become the real boss with my men and weapons, plus the help of an ability user like you. With our strong alliance, we'll definitely build a base. The strongest base in the apocalypse. Hearing this, Gu Cheng's interest was piqued. Thank you, Brother Jian. Gu Yue, horrified, asked, what you're planning to lead them into the steel mill. Hearing this, Gu Yue yelled angrily, don't you know what kind of person He Jian is? Bringing them back is like letting a wolf into our home. You'll get everyone killed. Hearing the woman he'd captured still yelling, He Jian got angry and slapped her hard across the face. Like, shut your mouth, I haven't even settled the score with you for last time. So, how does it feel to be betrayed by your own little brother? Sucks, doesn't it? Women should know their place. Daring to walk all over men. You really don't know your own limits. Even though she was restrained, Gu Yue still glared fiercely at Yin Hong. He Jian leaned down, grabbed her cheeks, and said, but making a strong woman like you cry and beg beneath me would feel incredible. Hearing this, Yin Hong, she spoke up to stop him making a cunning suggestion. Wait, seeing as you're Ah Cheng's sister, I'm willing to give you a chance. I know there's a lockbox in the steel mill. You've always kept it hidden. If you hand it over, I'll have Brother Jian spare you, and I won't harm anyone in the steel mill. How about it? After hearing this, Gu Yue asked suspiciously, a lockbox? Then she thought, I remember now. When we first arrived at the steel mill, we did find a lockbox, but someone realized the lock had a special mechanism. If you fail to unlock it 3 times, it explodes. I thought it was dangerous, so I threw it out, so this is what she's after. Gu Yue said angrily, and you think I can trust you? Seeing his sister still talking back to Yin Hong, even while captured, Gu Cheng angrily yelled, don't waste time with her. Once we take the steel mill, everything inside will be ours. Finding the lockbox is just a matter of time. Hearing this, Yin Hong thought in annoyance, what an idiot. I've already searched the entire steel mill. If it were there, why would I need to trick her into coming here? Then Gu Yue shouted at Yin Hong, even though you tricked me as one woman to another, I have to give you a piece of advice in this world. A woman like you, who only relies on men, will meet a miserable end once you're thrown away. Especially by the kind of man who would sell out even his own flesh and blood sister. Is a man like that really trustworthy? Gu Chen heard this, BT, and immediately retorted, my feelings for Hong Hong are true. Don't think you can drive a wedge between us. But despite what Gu Yue said, Yin Hong still cunningly leaned close to Gu Yue's ear and whispered, I'm not the type to depend on anyone. To me, men are just tools. The one who's truly pitiful is you. You act all tough and unbreakable on the outside, but you're incredibly soft-hearted. You give your all for your little brother. You work so hard for the base. but you're blind to their selfishness and greed. The moment they feel even a little bit dissatisfied, they'll turn on you and treat you like the enemy. She glanced over at Chao Xiaoliang and added, "And you're really in love with him, aren't you?" Seeing the look on Gu Yue's face, Yin Hong knew she'd guessed right. She laughed softly. "Believe it or not, all I have to do is beckon, and even he will immediately be kneeling at my feet. Everything you like and care about will eventually belong to me." Hearing this, Gu Yue yelled furiously, "I don't believe you. Not everyone would throw away their conscience for personal gain." Yin Hong heard this and arrogantly turned, walking straight towards Chao Xiaoliang. "Is that so? Then let's make a bet. If you lose, you'll give me the lockbox." Seeing Yin Hong head straight for Chao Xiaoliang, Gu Cheng asked worriedly, "Hong Hong, what are you doing?" Chao Xiaoliang panicked when he saw her approaching. Yin Hong spoke to Chao Xiaoliang with feigned sweetness. "Chef Chao, that cured meat you made last time was truly unforgettable. I really hope I get a chance to eat it again." Hearing this, Chao Xiaoliang scratched his head and said, "Really? I thought you didn't like it." Yin Hong replied arrogantly, "How could that be? As long as you're willing to leave Sister Yue and join us, I can let you stay at the base as a cook." Then she used her ability to create a pink sound wave. It left Chao Xiaoliang looking dazed. Seeing this, Yin Hong smirked to herself. Even an ability user will show their weakness in a desperate situation. As long as there's a crack in his willpower, I can immediately invade with my psychic powers and make him my prisoner. But Chao Xiaoliang has plot armor, so how could he be hypnotized so easily? Stop your tricks. Yin Hong was stunned by the scene, while Gu Yue was overjoyed. At that moment, Chao Xiaoliang angrily grabbed an iron bar and cursed, "Did you really think I wouldn't know what you were up to? You're the one who wrote that 1-star review last time. This review slip. I found it right in front of your door." Hearing this, Dan Hong thought angrily, "This guy, how is he not under my control? He looks like an idiot, but his willpower is unbelievably strong." At that moment, seeing his goddess being humiliated, Gu Cheng roared in fury, "Nah, we absolutely cannot let him live. This guy has to die today." Gu Cheng shouted angrily, "We still don't even know what his special ability is. This guy is so damn manipulative. If we let him live, he'll be in immense danger later on." He thought angrily, "What a joke. There can only be one ability user in this base, and that's me." Seeing Gu Cheng's guard was down, Gu Yue swiftly broke free from Cheng Bei and Cheng Nan. She then rushed towards Gu Cheng, hitting him hard and making him drop the controller. Seeing this, Dan Hong angrily warned, "Don't let her get the remote control." After that, the two of them lunged for the controller. Seeing that she wasn't going to get it, Gu Yue elbowed Gu Cheng in the face and then kicked him away. She pinned him down and pulled out a knife, holding it to his throat as the tables turned. Gu Yue shouted a warning, "Everyone drop your guns or I'll kill him." Seeing how masterfully Gu Yue had turned the situation around, Gou Xiaoliang snapped at his fingers in approval. "Beautifully done. The bloodline suppression is the real deal. Looks like I can win this one without lifting a finger." Gu Cheng knew his sister had a soft spot and remained arrogant. "Sis, you can't kill me. I'm your little brother." Hearing this, Gu Yue decisively cut ties with this ungrateful wolf. "From this day forward, I am no longer your sister." Hearing this, a panicked Gu Cheng pleaded for help. "Brother Jian Hong Hong, save me." Seeing what a useless piece of trash she was, Dan Hong bit her finger and thought, "Can't do anything right, only good at ruining things. What a waste." Seeing that he was expendable, she said calmly, "Do you really think you can threaten me like this? He's your little brother, not mine. If you want to kill him, go right ahead." Hearing this, Gu Cheng despaired. Gu Yue was also stunned. You despicable bastard." Suddenly from the cave entrance, something like a spiderweb shot straight at one of Hachqian's subordinates. It wrapped around her tightly and pulled her up. Seeing this, Gou Xiaoliang was bewildered. "What is that?" Everyone else was also stunned, wondering what that was. "What is it?" From the cave entrance, the sounds grew louder and louder. Hachqian's subordinates asked nervously, "It seems there's something over there. Is it a zombie?" "It looks huge." Hachqian, still fearless, loaded his gun. "I don't care what it is. I'll fill it with holes, fire." And so on. Hachqian's command, everyone began firing wildly. When nothing appeared, they grew confused. "There's no sound. Is it already dead?" Suddenly, they were attacked by something. They were frantically slashed to death. As the monster's shape became clear, Hachqian screamed in panic. "It's a mutant spider!" His subordinates saw the spider aghast. "So terrifying. Can a mutant spider get this big?" Seeing the spider, Gou Xiaoliang shouted in alarm, "No, that's not a normal mutated animal. It's a predator." Xiaoliang recalled a memory of a similar creature and shuddered at the thought. Unlike normal mutated animals, predators don't just eat people, they also hunt zombies and other mutated creatures. They grow stronger by absorbing the power of their prey like a twisted form of cultivation. In my past lives at this point in time, the predators hadn't appeared yet. Why is it so much earlier this time? Could this be a chain reaction caused by me linking with the system? The people being eaten by the mutant spider screamed in agony, "Help me!" as they saw the monster closing in. Hachqian's group fled in terror. "Run!" Seeing that Gu Yue was also distracted by the spider, Gu Cheng seized the opportunity to push her away. "Die!" Gu Yue was shoved right in front of the spider's claws, causing her to scream in terror. "Ah!" At that very moment, Gao Xiaoliang immediately used the skill, the show-off card. Then, he grabbed an iron bar from the cage. Activate super strength. Gao Xiaoliang flew swiftly to protect Gu Yue. The spider then turned to attack Hachqian's group. It's spider silk. Oh help save me. Help. At this moment, Hachqian, ignoring his men, rushed forward. The exit is right ahead. But the spider quickly blocked the only path with its silk. Damn it! Seeing the monster had caught up, they screamed in fear. That monster's caught up to us. What do we do now? There's no way out of here, model. Is there another way out? Yin Hong immediately turned to the sewer pipe and said, this drain pipe might lead outside, but we need someone to hold off the spider. Panicked, the two brothers, Chengnan and Chengbei, tried to push the task onto each other. Hold off the spider, isn't that a death sentence? Who wants to go? The two of them immediately turned to Yin Hong and said softly, Hong Hong, we've treated you so well. You wouldn't make us go, would you? Yin Hong replied slyly, of course not. But didn't you two say you were willing to sacrifice your lives for me? Then she used her hypnotic ability, causing them to walk soullessly toward the spider. For Hong Hong, we're willing to do anything. And then they were dragged away and killed by the spider. The spider, its mouth full of blood, was about to charge and finish them off. Seeing this, He Jian ordered, open it, let's run. Suddenly Gu Cheng realized something. He steadfastly thought it's leftover explosives from when the tunnel was built. Then he spoke cruelly. Gu Yue, if you're going to be cruel, then don't blame me for being ruthless. You two burdens can just die here with these monsters. After shooting the fuse, he quickly scrambled into the sewer. The bomb exploded, causing the entire tunnel to roar and shake. Outside, Xiaobai sat trembling. When she heard the loud noise, she jumped in fright. Remembering the earlier scene, Xiaobai wailed sadly, "Wah!" But she quickly shook her head, remembering the moments Gu Yue had helped and worried about her. Xiaobai shouted with determination and charged inside. Ugh! Inside, the flames blazed fiercely. Gao Xiaoliang, his face injured, thought, my head is ringing. What just happened was that an explosion. But then he stood up, shaking his head to clear it. Why can't I move my body? Gao Xiaoliang was now stuck on a large spiderweb. So sticky, but that wasn't enough to stop our protagonist. A mere spiderweb can't hold me. He nimbly broke free from the web and landed lightly on the ground. The old cicada shedding its shell trick. Gao Xiaoliang looked around and marveled. There are so many spiderwebs up here. Seeing the corpses wrapped in spiderwebs, Gao Xiaoliang mused, these must be He Jian's men who were captured. The tightly wrapped corpses were hanging in the air, sending a shiver down Gao Xiaoliang's spine. That mutated beast must see these people as stored food. But thanks to these webs, the force of the explosion was reduced. Turning back and seeing Gu Yue unconscious, Gao Xiaoliang ran over worriedly. Gu Yue, how are you? Wake up, wake up. He saw the fire gradually dying down. Gao Xiaoliang thought with fear, as the fire burns, the air is starting to run out. If this continues, the tunnel will run out of oxygen soon. We have to get out of here quickly. Seeing that things were looking bad, Gao Xiaoliang picked up his sword and charged, trying to cut through the spiderweb, but failed. It's too tough. I can't cut through it at all. But when he looked over at the iron cage, he seemed to realize something. I've got it. Gao Xiaoliang threw the ammunition towards the web, then used the controller to press a button, causing an instant explosion. Seeing it work, Gao Xiaoliang cheered, success. Suddenly something burning fell down, startling Gao Xiaoliang. What's that sound? From within the cocoons, the forms of mutated people gradually appeared. Then they slowly fell closing in on the two of them. Are these people still alive? Then like demons, they rushed forward. Gao Xiaoliang shouted, no, wait! They've been infected by the virus in the cocoons and have turned into zombies. Then the whole horde rushed at him. Gao Xiaoliang immediately used his secret massage technique, taking them down one by one. Done. But even with their bodies twisted and deformed, they kept rolling and chasing after Gao Xiaoliang. Damn it, they've turned into mutants. Then they extended their bodies, shed their old forms, and charged madly. Zombies don't have a nervous system. My massage technique is useless against them. Looking up at the tunnel ceiling, Gao Xiaoliang seemed to realize something. After 2 explosions, this tunnel can't take much more. And there are so many annoying things behind me. Damn it, if only Xiaobai were here right now. Suddenly he stopped looking at the zombie horde. First I'll deal with these zombies. Then I'll find a way out. He put Gu Yue down, then used his spatial storage skill to summon an item. Gao Xiaoliang grabbed a can of gasoline and threw it forcefully towards them. Ha! The zombies slipped on the gasoline, sliding forward and creating a domino effect that knocked the whole group down. Then Gao Xiaoliang jumped up to the ceiling and kicked it hard. Take this. With the powerful kick, the tunnel ceiling broke and rocks rained down on the zombies. A proper burial for each of you. I'm such a good guy. Suddenly water started pouring out from the hole in the ceiling, making Gao Xiaoliang panic. Oh no, you're kidding me. It's already collapsing this quickly. Suddenly a figure fell from the hole above, landing on top of Gao Xiaoliang. Xiaobai shook herself, dusting herself off. Seeing this, Gao Xiaoliang jumped up and yelled, who dares to sneak attack me? When he saw clearly, Gao Xiaoliang exclaimed, Xiaobai! As the sun set, Gao Xiaoliang and the other two were already in the car on the move. Xiaoliang, what happened? Once the full moon is up, the level of danger out in the wild is completely incomparable to a normal day. I have to get to the new place fast. Gao Xiaoliang wondered if Gucheng and his group had returned to the steel mill yet. When he turned to Guyue, Gao Xiaoliang noticed she was her face was flushed. But when he touched her, he panicked. She's burning up. He knew the situation wasn't good. Gao Xiaoliang immediately stopped the car, thinking a rising body temperature is a sign of transformation. Could it be that Guyue is just like the others? Has she been infected? When Gao Xiaoliang turned her over, he was startled. That's a zombie bite mark. But it doesn't look like it was a recent bite. Gao Xiaoliang suddenly realized. Could it be from that other time? Meanwhile, 2 of Guyue's girls were standing on the observation tower worried. It's already gotten dark. Why isn't Sister Yue's group back yet? Don't tell me something happened. Shut that jinxing mouth of yours. She has Chef Gao and the others with her. They wouldn't be scared even if they ran into zombies. But suddenly one of the 2 girls spotted Gucheng's car. Look, what did I tell you? See, they're back. The car stopped at the gate and Gucheng stuck his head out waving. Seeing that it was just them, the 2 girls grew worried. Why are there only 2 cars? Where are Chef Gao and Miss Bai? Hearing this, Gucheng frantically explained, we ran into a mutated creature on the road, Gao Xiaoliang and Bai Feifei. Both of them and their car fell off the mountain. My sister is badly injured too. Quick, open the gate and let us in. Hearing this, the 2 girls rushed over, worried and about to open the gate. What Sister Yue is injured? I'll go open the gate, but then one of them suddenly remembered. Wait, Sister Yue said not to open the gate unless we see her. Brother Cheng, how is Sister Yue right now? Let us just get a look at her. Hearing this, Gu Cheng and Yin Hong panicked. Gu Sheng quickly retorted, what are you 2 implying? Don't you trust me? Yin Hong also leaned out to add, Sister Gu Yue has lost too much blood. She's unconscious. If we delay any longer, her life will be in danger. Hearing this, the 2 girls grew suspicious and drew their guns as a warning. If Sister Yue is really in the car, then why won't you let us see her brother Cheng? This is too suspicious. You stand guard. I'll go get help. Seeing that the 2 girls weren't cooperating, Hejian emerged, slamming his hand on the hood of the car and yelling, what's all this? You're not opening the gate, are you? Fine, I'll open it myself. The 2 girls panicked when they saw their enemy. It's Hejian quick hit the alarm. Seeing that they had no intention of opening up, Hejian aimed his cannon at them. Eat this. Before they could even press the alarm button, they were blown away by the cannon's blast. Hejian's other henchmen who were lying in ambush had already planted a series of bombs at the main gate. And those bombs detonated as well, blowing the gate to pieces. The steel mill is ours. Seeing the devastated scene before him, Gucheng was stunned. Seeing his dazed expression, Hejian sneered. What are you spacing out for? You don't seem very happy about this, do you? Seeing Gucheng hesitate, Yin Hong turned and cooed. How could that be? Cheng just didn't expect everything to go so smoothly, that's all. He's just overjoyed right now, isn't he? Hearing this, Gucheng quickly played along. Right. That's exactly it. Hejian leaned back in his seat and prompted, well then, go and claim your prize. Hearing this, Gucheng obeyed, hitting the gas and driving straight in. All right. Far in the distance, a horde of zombies heard the loud explosion and gathered waiting for a meal. Meanwhile, Hejian's group moved inside, rounding up the residents. Who are you people? Let me go. Seeing that everyone seemed to be gathered, Hejian turned and asked his underling, is everyone here? The subordinate replied, according to the list, no one is missing. Seeing this, the villagers began to resist. Gucheng, you're the traitor. How could you sell us out? Just wait until Sister Yue gets back. She won't let you get away with this. Hearing this, Hejian scoffed. Is that so? Do you people really think Gu Yue can still come back? Hearing this, everyone panicked. What do you mean? Don't tell me Sister Yue is already... How dare you conspire with outsiders to harm your own sister? Are you even human? One of Hejian's men rushed forward and kicked the villager who had shouted. What do you think you're doing? Know your place? Gurung chimed in with them, reminding everyone, Gu Yue is dead from this day forward. In the steel mill, there's only one boss, and that's me. Don't say I'm not merciful. As long as you all kneel down and call me boss, I'll let you stay here. You won't be thrown out. Hearing this, the crowd started murmuring. Suddenly, an old woman leaning on a cane walked toward Gucheng. Seeing this, he thought the old woman was coming to follow his request and smiled gleefully. Not bad. The oldest person here is you, ma'am. So let me be an example for them. Seeing her about to do the unthinkable, the couple cried out in fear, Ma'am! But she immediately spat a mouthful of saliva in Gucheng's face, causing him to curse in anger. You damn old hag! How dare you! But she remained calm as if nothing had happened, saying cheerfully, Oh, don't mind me. Old people just tend to spit up phlegm. This old woman has lived for many years. Compared to living a cowardly life, clinging to life in fear next to an evil man, I'd rather use this old body to feed the zombies. Seeing the old woman slowly turn away, Gucheng was stunned. The townspeople witnessing the scene joined in cursing. That's right. A man like him is even more terrifying than the zombies. If we stay here, who knows when he'll kill us? I don't believe there's nowhere else out there for us to survive. Let's go. Seeing everyone leaving, Gucheng panicked and screamed, Are you all stupid? A bunch of old weak and sick people like you won't last a single day out there. Even though he said that they kept leaving, Gucheng panicked. Wait. Gu Yue is just a normal person. I'm the one with the powers. Anything she could do, I can do too. Stay here and I'll protect you all. Losing his composure, he roared, No one is allowed to leave. None of you are leaving this place. I'm in charge here now. You all have to listen to me, seeing that they intended to leave. Yin Hong didn't bother to stop them. You can leave, but you can't take any of the base's supplies with you. Then she looked over at Old Mo and said sinisterly, I know that every time Gu Yue went out, she put you in charge. Hand over the key. Hearing this, Old Mo stammered, If I give you the key, can I stay? The townspeople were stunned. Old Liu, what are you saying? You have no backbone, and after Gu Yue trusted you so much? Hearing this, Old Liu frantically tried to explain what trust. I'm just the servant who holds the key. I don't have any power to decide anything. Besides, it's a full moon tonight. The outside must be swarming with zombies. I don't want to go out there and die. Then he turned and spoke respectfully to Yin Hong. I've always been the one managing the steel mill supplies. No one knows this place better than I do. I'm willing to hand over the key. I only ask for a safe place to stay. He put his hand in his pocket, his eyes turning fierce as he lunged toward Yin Hong. You bitch. I knew from the start you were no good. I'll kill you and avenge Yue. But as the old man lunged, Yin Hong slashed him violently a few times, sending him sprawling. Seeing him injured, everyone cried out in worry. Old Liu, Uncle Liu, seeing the wounds on his body. Old Liu had to exclaim in fear, You're a demon! Yin Hong used her long claws to pick up the key, saying sinisterly, You treacherous old man. Did you really think I wouldn't be on my guard?